The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order.
Hello, and welcome to the single best review that Art of War will ever put out, at least until the next Eldari Codex comes out.
You're a little biased there, Quentin. I notice.
Okay, we have my favorite codex for my favorite army, and it's really well done. So I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of sick rules in here, and there's a ton of rules generally, right? So this is sit in, strap in, and this is going to be a long one.
Yeah, it's a long one, but also more than that, there's a tremendous amount of love that was poured into this book. I think one thing that's really telling about the amount of effort that was put in is for every single aspect warrior, if the Exarch has 3 or 4 options, all of them are viable to the point that I legitimately cannot tell which one I'd rather have.
Yeah, it's pretty well designed. So, I mean, I'm excited to get right into it. I've flirted with Eldar in the past, played them even.
Yeah, I'm in a long-term committed relationship with Eldar, so
they're
one of my favorites.
I know. So, how about we
just go in? So I think the first thing ever that we should just say right off the bat, the most important thing is that the book is completely different than the index.
Yes.
It is top to bottom, fundamentally a different book. We can set the index aside, and this is new.
And it doesn't even use entirely the same models now that the range refresh is happened, and they look gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're. I've been building them. They're incredible. They're outstanding.
Well, if you get excited by this review and you're like, damn, I want to learn all the sickest new Eldar tech and I want to be as up to date as physically possible, well, you are looking for the War Room at thewarroom.vhx.tv. There is a link down in the description because that's a bit of a mouthful. There's a free 3-day trial. You can check it out. You can watch all of our Eldar videos. You can hop in our Discord with our international community who will be talking nonstop Eldar action, and you can check all of that out down in the link below.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing a bunch of games. You're going to be playing some games. We're going to have a ton of really awesome stuff in there.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about the first part of the book, the new army rule. Fate dice are gone.
Goodbye, Fate dice.
And I know what you're saying. Oh no, my Fate dice. Don't worry, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're doing okay. It's replaced with Battlefocus tokens,
which might be one of the strongest rules in a vacuum that currently exist in 40K.
It is like a Swiss Army knife, but where it has 50 options in one. It's like one of the joke Swiss Army knives.
The utility that this rule gives you is crazy.
Okay. So, if your army faction is a Suriani, at the start of the battle round, you receive a number of Battlefocus tokens equal to the battle size. For 1,000-point games, it's 2. Strike Force, which is standard 2,000 points, is 4. And for 3,000-point games, you get 6. So, for our purposes, you will be receiving 4 of them at the start of the battle round.
Yeah.
Every time a trigger is triggered for one of your agile maneuvers.
Yes, and they all have different triggers. Some are like when you move, some when your opponents move. There's a bunch of them. Then you can spend one of these tokens to do whatever the agile maneuver is.
Yep. At the end of the battle round, you lose any unspent tokens and you re-rack up to 4.
Yeah.
So holding on to them and stacking them up and trying to bank them, that doesn't work. You get 4 per battle round, and that's how many you have. And there are 6 different agile maneuvers.
Yes, and you can't, unless otherwise specified, use the same maneuver more than once. So if you're using...
Per phase.
Per phase, yeah. And then you can't target one unit with more than one agile maneuver.
Yeah, in the same phase?
Yeah.
In the same phase.
In the same phase.
So the first agile maneuver is the only one you can do multiple times in the same phase.
Yep.
It is swift as the wind. Whenever you make a normal, advance, or fallback move, you go 2 inches further.
That's just really good.
Yeah.
That's just really good.
It doesn't count as an advance by itself, so you can move further and still charge, move further and still shoot, move further and still disembark, move further, throw a grenade. All the triggers, it still works. You just move 2 inches further.
Yep. I +2 move when you need it is an incredible rule.
It is really good. You're probably going to be doing this at least once per battle round,
I think
if not more.
Fully half of your tokens will go to this one.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Our next one, we have Flitting Shadows. Also very good. They're all really good. This is when one of your units makes a normal advance or fallback move, or is set up on the table, or declares a charge. 1 token, you cannot be overwatched.
Yep.
Till the end of the turn.
Until the end of the turn. So when you move, no overwatch me, please.
Yep. If someone rapid ingresses to shoot you, no overwatch me, please.
Yeah, because it's in the charge phase as well, if you wanted. This is very strong, because one of the easiest answers to Eldar is bro, just overwatch them.
Yes.
And if you can't bro, just overwatch them, it becomes pretty good.
Now, only 1 unit can't be overwatched, but that's still an incredibly powerful rule on an army like Eldar.
Yeah, that technically 2 can, because you can do 1 in your charge phase, but it has to be a new overwatch that wasn't there in the movement phase, or they'll just shoot you in the movement phase.
Yeah, there's some like gamey shenanigans that you can like spend it, like if you like bait and overwatch out, but broadly speaking, 1 unit can't be overwatched.
Yeah. That's quite good, because usually it's the surgical one that's moving into the flamer range or whatever that you're worried about.
If you like your solitaire or your fire dragons or whatever.
Yeah. Star Engines. When a vehicle unit is selected to make a normal move, it can go d6 plus 1 inches further.
This is incredible.
It is, again, cannot emphasize this enough, not in advance.
So you can disembark after this. You can shoot after this. You can charge after this. You can do anything after this.
Yeah, that's pretty strong. Now, you can't do this with an advance.
Correct.
This is only with a normal move, so you can't go 2d6 plus 1 and like shoot an assault weapon.
Yeah, you also can't do this and then also use the +2 move.
Yes,
but
you can't
d6 plus 1 will always at least be the same as 2, but so, yeah.
Yeah, you can send a vehicle really far and still shoot and disembark and what have you.
A lot of the combos that we're going to talk about are conditional on this token.
Yeah, this one goes quite far.
Yep.
All right. Sudden Strike. When I'm selected to fight, until the end of the phase, every time a model in that unit makes a pile-in or consolidation move, it can move up to 6 instead of up to 3.
This isn't like always good, but is situationally very incredible.
Yeah, situationally, when you need to fight with more people or consolidate more onto an objective,
or
that's
consolidate
a pretty big one.
Backwards onto an objective,
or whatever you need. And it is, it is a can move up to 6.
Yes.
So if you want to pile in 6 but only consolidate 3, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's good Swiss Army knife. Definitely the most niche of the bunch, but it's good to have.
Yeah, it's like some of these you're going to use them every turn. This is like maybe once a game. Yeah. Opportunity seized. Use this when you pick an eligible unit from your army. Some of these, by the way, are excluding Titanic. This one is excluding Titanic, so no Wraith Knights with these. Let's start at an engagement range and use it when an enemy makes a fallback move, and you get to make a reactive move of d6 plus 1 inches.
That is really good, because what you'll notice is it is a normal move, so you can get back into transport with that.
Yeah. Also, if you have like a flyby mortals or something like that, those trigger.
Ugh. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're stuck in combo with like Harlequins or something and you fall back, they can just leave, right?
Yeah.
You just bye-bye.
If you're like up against a wall. So I think I'm just going to say this now because it's really important. All of these are like normal moves except for the piling console one. What that means is if it says d6 plus 1, if you're near a transport, if you're within like 5 inches of that transport, you're guaranteed just back inside.
Yeah. So if they fall back from you, it's like, no, I'm in the transport now.
So if there's a wall and transport's right up against that wall, and you like have Howling Banshees or whatever tagging a tank, and they're like, man, I don't want to stay in combat with the scary melee unit, so I'm going to fall back. So you fall back, and the Banshees just guarantee getting the tank.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. You can also try and game this where they fall back and you just go to the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Or something, and suddenly they're like, I can't shoot you anymore.
Yep.
And this and the next one especially are ones where your opponent is going to have to be worried about this all the time. You only have to spend it when there's an opportunity for you to mess your opponent up. But every time your opponent falls back, they're going to be like, okay, if I fall back and they roll a 6, where do they go? Where do they go? Yeah. How bad is it?
So the last one, Fade Back, I think is the one that will like define how your opponents are going to think about this book, which is you pick an eligible unit that just got shot and that was hit by 1 or more attacks. You don't have to lose any models, just get hit by an attack. And then you make a normal move of d6 plus 1 inches. So like if they shoot a las cannon at your avatar, you move. If they're an army that like is like, I'm going to shoot this mortar at you, get plus 1 AP, well, before they shoot the real guns at you, you move.
And get back into transport again. Yeah. This is so easy to set up.
Yeah. Or like if you have a tank, like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna like get an angle and I'm gonna shoot these 3 things at you. No, I'm just gonna get shot by the first one, then leave.
Yeah, I mean, against something like GSC, right? GSC have like hand flamers, but hand flamers don't crack through like 3-up armor saves on aspect warriors.
They need the +1 AP.
They need that +1 AP, so they have to shoot you first.
Yeah, and then
so
you
if
just
a
leave.
10-man squad like pops out of a transport, they shoot with the Ridge Runner and kill like 2 of them, and you're just like,
but
bye.
like sisters need the wombo combo. They need to set up like like there's a bunch of stuff. Or also just like, oh cool, I'm alive. I guess I'm just not in here anymore.
Yeah, well, you get shot and you're suddenly like, oh, my Phoenix Lord lived on 3. I guess he's on the other side of the wall now, and you will have to deal with this next turn. Don't worry, even if he's on 1, you're not overwatching him to death. I promise you that.
Yeah. These are going to take some getting used to.
Yes.
They are not immediately easy to use, right? If you are just picking up this book for the first time, it will take a couple of games to get used to them. But when you master them, these will be like soul shattering for your opponent because they are very strong.
Critically, there are only 2 of them that you can use in your opponent's turn, and you cannot double them up. So what that means is you only ever need to save 2 Battlefocus tokens for your opponent's turn, ever. And oftentimes you'll know if you need to only save 1.
Yeah.
You almost always want to represent that you can move if they shoot at you, because if you can't move if they shoot at you, it makes your opponent's life a lot easier.
It's also probably worth like not doing it on like the first one sometimes. You might want to like save it for later.
Yeah.
I think the strategy of these is something we're going to talk a lot about in the War Room.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to hear our really in-depth thoughts on like how to maximize usage of these, you can check that out in the War Room.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the detachments. You want to go ahead and read that first roll there?
Absolutely. So the Warhost.
This is the replacement for the index, but don't worry, it is different in basically every way.
Yeah, it is very, very distinct. So they have a completely different detachment rule. The detachment rule before was reroll a hit and a wound. It is not that.
It's not that anymore.
It is maybe better. At the start of the battle round, you receive 1 additional Battlefocus token. So you go to 5. That is very good.
Yeah.
And every time a unit from your army performs the Swift as the Wind agile maneuver, the +2 move, it goes an additional 1 inch. So it goes 3 inches instead.
That's good.
It's pretty good. 50% better. And then anytime a unit from your army performs an agile maneuver that involves rolling a d6, which is a decent amount of them, add 1 to the result. So a vehicle goes d6 +2. When you move and they fall back, it's d6 +2. And when they shoot at you and you move, it's d6 +2. And that is a big difference because if you roll a 1, it's still 3 inches.
Which is you're just good.
Yeah, you're still just
so
good.
One like weird like quasi nerf that we received is that a lot of the new models, as gorgeous as they are on significantly bigger bases than they were.
Not on 25s anymore.
So Phoenix Lords went from 25s to 40s, right? And that means before, if you're like, I'm on a 25, I roll a 1 on this Phantasm, I can still kind of get to the corner of this thin wall. Now you're going to need to roll like a 2 or a 3. So having an extra inch actually means that like either your biggest bases can move to safety, or something really big like a vehicle or an avatar can move much easier to safety, or you can get 2 ranks guaranteed back behind a wall.
Yeah. Or they shoot at you and you roll a 4 and you're like, wow, I just moved 6 inches.
Yep. Yep.
So enhancements, we got Phoenix Gem, which is basically the exact same as it was before, and it was a damn good enhancement before.
Yes.
Now, I don't believe you can put this on any lone operatives. Actually, you can. You can put it on the Death Chester, right?
No, because he's not an Asuryani unit.
Not an Asuryani.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, Harlequins lost the Asuryani faction keyword. They still have Aeldari, but there's a weird, like, eclectic mix of, like, some of the stuff works on them and some of the stuff doesn't. They have Battlefocus, so the Battlefocus Agile tokens work on them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. But do you receive Battlefocus tokens? Because it says if your army faction is Asuryani.
So you pick Asuryani as your faction, and then the traveling player, the disparate paths rule, lets you include Harlequin units in them. But it's like needlessly complicated.
It sounds very complicated.
This is actually, there's like 3 potential factions you can like pick in here. You can pick Ynnead, Harlequins, or Asuryani.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Phoenix Gem, basically exactly the same, but I don't believe you can put on any lone operatives, which is it was like
really
absolutely obnoxious.
Yeah.
Timeless Strategist, Asuryani model only. At the start of the battle round, if the bearer is on the battlefield or any transport is embarked within is on the battlefield, you receive 1 additional Battlefocus token.
This is like mandatory.
Mandatory. So essentially the detach
6.
rule says you have +2.
Yes.
And you have to spend some points on Timeless Strategist.
You put this in on like an Autarch or whatever who's sitting in the back. Or even like a Warlock.
Or one that's in a transport that's like firing fading or sending him yard. Like, if he dies on turn 3, you only lose out on 2 tokens.
Yeah. The Warhost is very good.
Warhost is very good.
It's very good.
You have 6 tokens, and again, you only need to hold 2 for your opponent's turn. So
6 is the point that you can actually spend them on like whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah. That's a lot. All right, Gift of Foresight. Once per battle round, you can target the bear's unit with CP reroll strat for 0 CP.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Psychic Destroyer. A Suriani Psyker model only. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of ranged psychic weapons equipped by the bear. I was kind of expecting more from Psychic Destroyer.
I mean,
but
plus
it's okay.
damage isn't bad.
It's fine. But like Destroyer? Like, come on.
Yeah. This is cute, I guess. I mean, the real winner here is Timeless Strategist.
Yeah, for sure. And Phoenix Gem is also
it's pretty good.
Pretty darn good. Yeah. Timeless Strategist making it so that you have 6 battle focus tokens, and then in addition, every battle focus token is just better.
Yeah.
Not to spoil the lead here, but
we think Warhost is the best one.
We think Warhost is the best one.
Yeah. Because it is a fantastic. Also, the stratagems are like all super good.
Yeah, I promise you that when we get to the Aspect Shrine one, you'll be like, "Oh, are you sure Warhost is the best?"
We're pretty sure. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's the best one.
Yeah.
So we have some stratagems here. Our first one is lightning fast reaction. Any Asuryani unit, but not Wraith constructs. So notably not Harlequins. Yeah. After you get shot or fight, if your opponent shoots or fights at you, it declares you target. Words. You -1 to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Harlequins, as you will see as we go forward. I have a little Harlequin army, and I wanted to play. I played it in 9th, and I'm excited to play it again. So
yes,
Quentin's going to keep referencing that I like Harlequins.
Yes. But it's important to note that, like, in the index, they were just like Eldar units and everything possible affected them. There's a lot more separation in the codex.
Yeah, they are to a significant degree a separate army now.
They function a lot more like they did in 9th edition, where they were like in the same book, but just a different codex. Yeah. 1 CP Skyborn Sanctuary. This is one of the best drafts in the game. At the end of the fight phase, yours or your opponent's, you pick 1 Asuryani unit on the table, and 1 transport is able to be embarked within. You embark on that transport.
That is crazy.
Your unit can do whatever. The transport can do whatever. They can both be in engagement range. They can be, well, you can't be battle shocked because you can't use the strat. But like, this is an insane stratagem.
It's nuts. You drive a transport forward. So, like, if you're thinking about it, like, oh, end of my opponent's fight phase, I'm going to put him back in. No. Yes, sure. But, like, what's going to happen is you motor your Wave Serpent up to the edge of a wall.
Yeah.
You ditch a bunch of guns on the other side of the wall. You blast your opponent into the sun.
Yeah.
And then you go, I'm back in.
Yeah, back inside.
I'm in. This
is actually, like, just a fire and fade.
Yeah.
But, like, it's, like, also got a lot of utility in here.
Yeah. But you can't fire and fade if you're in combat, can you? But
no.
You can definitely get back into the transport.
Sanctuary. Yeah, so you can, like, get out and then, like, fight someone. Like, Jukari can do this with Venoms, but, like, you're like, dang it, I left 1 intercessor alive.
I guess I'm stuck out of my transport.
Not with Skype. No. Yeah, no.
Oh, dude, it is so good. Because it is just get back into transport. And if the transport's on the other side of the wall, your opponent is just sad. So
you're noticing we're on the first detachment, and there's a whole lot of ways to get back in transports and make normal moves.
This is a theme.
This is a theme. Again, not to bury the lead here, but the strongest part of this book is the, like, move back into transports. Yeah. 1 CP Feigned Retreat, Fallback, Shoot, and Charge.
It's useful.
It's just a good strat.
It is useful. Notably, the Aspect host does not have this.
Yeah.
And it is very abusable.
Yeah. I mean, like, Lightning Fast and Feigned Retreat, those are, like, old staples. And neither of those are, like, game-breaking stratagems. They're good to have. Skyborn Sanctuary is crazy.
Skyborn Sanctuary is gross. Listen, if it was for melee armies only, like, okay, fine. But for an army that has good shooting.
Like, incredible shooting.
Good shooting. Getting back in the transports, especially that transport's on the other side of a wall, is going to be pretty nightmarish.
You can also use some Wraith units, which is very funny.
What if they Overwatch you, though?
Oh, no. What a shame.
They can't do that. No, they can't do that.
Blitzing Firepower. 1 CP, 1 Asuryani unit. Notably, this is one of the few things that lets you target a Titanic unit. So you can put this on a Wraith Knight.
Okay.
If you shoot at something within 12, you have sustained hits. If you already had sustained hits, you get crit 5s.
that crit 5s is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Now, the amount of things that already have sustained hits,
It's not crazy big.
not crazy big.
So it's like Dire Avengers and Scatter Lasers are about it.
And you do have to be within 12. Luckily, Fire Dragons.
Fire Dragons.
They like to be within 12. That's kind of a peanut butter and jelly sort of scenario.
I feel like they wrote this stratagem like intending it to be used on Dire Avengers.
And it will be.
It will be. It's Fire Dragons are really where it's at here, though.
Yeah. Especially if you hit them with Lycus first. We'll get to those.
We'll get to
the
Lycus.
data sheets.
Okay, Fire and Fade, 1 CP. This is different than before. So you pick an infantry unit, but not aircraft, Ozerman, or Wraith Construct units. Ozerman will make more sense when you get to his data sheet. And then it moves D6 plus 1. So it's not a full normal move. You can't pick Wraith units. You can only pick infantry, but it's 1 CP.
Okay, so wait, does this detachment have 3 ways to get back to transports?
Well,
Ozerman, which we'll cover.
We'll cover.
Fire and Fade and Skyborn Sanctuary. It has
also
both?
Yes.
And then it has tokens that can get you back.
Correct, yes. Notably, Fire and Fade's important because it can affect the jump pack units, and the jump pack units can't go into transport. So you can use Fire and Fade on Lycus and Friends or on Baharoth and Friends, which is really where it's important. But yes, if you take Warhost, you will have 3 units that will pop out, shoot, and then get back into transport.
Ozerman can do
He does
that.
it for free.
It's part of his
data sheet.
kit. Yeah. Wow, that's I definitely thought those were separate. Those were like the same strat. And
No, they
just
are.
not.
That's what I was saying. You have 2 separate ways to do it.
I thought you meant 2 like Ozerman in 1.
No. Last one, also a
that's
banger.
gross.
Webway Tunnel. End your opponent's fight phase. Pick 1 Austriani infantry unit that is within 9 inches of a battlefield edge and put it into strat reserves.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the movement utility detachment in a movement utility based book.
It's crazy.
This is crazy.
So you have 1 offense boosting strat,
Which is a good offense boosting
and then
strat.
1 defense strat, which is fine.
It was fine.
And then 4
incredible
utility mobility strats.
Yes. Yeah. Like, the problem is that Eldar like don't really need that much help in the damage department.
Not anymore. They used to.
Not anymore. Warhost is very good. It might be one of the best attachments in the game.
I believe so, yeah. It's just fast as hell, man. 6 tokens? 6?
6 tokens plus 2 separate Fire and Fades plus go back into strat reserve is really good.
You have Fire Dragons?
Fire Dragons or like Ozerman and Avengers that can teleport.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's all really good. Yeah.
Pretty good. All right, Ride the Wind. In the Declare Battle Formation step.
This is the Windrider Host detachment.
Windrider Host detachment. So the Windrider Host, Ride the Wind. In the Declare Battle Formation step, you can set up Ozriani mounted and Viper units from your army in reserves.
Ozriani mounted, by the way. Windriders, the Warlock, and Farseer, like all of the characters on bikes. Shroud Runners, and Shining Spears.
Yes. For the purpose of setting up Ozriani mounted or Viper units from your army, treat the current battle round numbers being 1 higher than it actually is. So you can arrive on turn 1.
So if you start start off the table, you just show up turn 1.
And it doesn't say during your turn.
Nope.
So you can rapid ingress turn 1.
Yes.
In addition, at the end of your opponent's turn, you can select number of mounted or Viper units from your army, excluding ones within engagement range, and then remove those units from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserves. And in a 2,000-point game, you can pick 2 units a turn.
That is a good rule.
And Windriders gain battle line.
Also good.
Also pretty good.
This attachment, you're going to run some big units Windriders and then like 4 units of 3.
Yeah. Windriders are pretty good at OC2 with rerolls to hit. It's just solid.
They also like the extra move and stuff like that.
Yeah. First Drawn Blade. This is an enhancement. Striani mounted model. Only models in the Bears unit have Scout 9.
That's a good rule.
It's a good rule. You're up table fast, right? Because you can rapid ingress turn 1, you can Scout 9, you can come in from reserves turn 1.
This attachment also wants to take a lot of bikes, and if you're taking both Shining Spears and Shroud Runners, those bikes are really big.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so
then
Scout to get up into a nook or cranny early is pretty solid.
Shroud Runners also natively Scout, so you have most of your army now Scouts.
And Austriani mounted excludes Skyrunner or Skyweavers.
Skyweavers, yes. Yeah.
Mirage Field. Austriani mounted model only. Each time an attack targets the bearer's unit, -1 to hit.
It's okay.
Fine.
It's okay.
Seer Sight Strike. Austriani mounted Psyker model only. Psychic weapons equipped by the bear have anti-monster, anti-vehicle 2+.
This is actually quite good on a Farseer.
Yeah,
It makes the Farseer like actually like sting into vehicles.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to be a lot of saves. And don't worry, mounted have ways to increase AP or
damage
or a strip cover or lethal hits or whatever you need.
It's also all psychic, and if you give him a singing spear, which you will, it's also psychic, so his spear also gets anti-monster vehicle 2+.
Nice.
Yep.
Echoes of Ulthanesh. Austriani mounted model only. In your command phase, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if the bear is not within your deployment zone, and adding an additional 1 to the result if the bear is within your opponent's deployment zone. On a 5+, you gain his CP. If this is like 5 points, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. If it's 5 points, I'm going to stick it on like a warlock and put him an inch outside my deployment zone, so I sometimes get CP when I sabotage.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
But some of these other ones are pretty damn good.
I really like what is it? Seer Sight Strike?
Seer Sight Strike. I'm also going to say it every time he shoots.
Yeah.
Seer Sight Strike!
And First Round Blade, also quite good.
Yeah. It sounds like...
If Mirage Field is cheap, you take it, I think.
It sounds like a special move in an anime.
It does, yeah. It really does.
All right. Death from on high, your shooting phase or the fight phase. This is the first stratagem.
Yes.
1 CP, 1 mounted or Viper unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield from reserves and has not shot or fought, you reroll wounds.
Notably, if you're taking Windriders, they still reroll hits.
Yeah.
And their reroll hits got better.
That's good.
So you just show up and you have full rerolls.
Yeah, rerolls.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Spoiler alert. Warlocks on bike and Farseer on bike with Seer Sight Strike hits harder, but Warlocks on bike hit
way
significantly harder in shooting.
So there's going to be a running theme where you can make one unit incredible.
Yeah, you just shoot like a complete jerk.
I'll go through the full combo at the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're Overflight, 1 CP, your shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an Austriani mounted unit from your army destroys an enemy unit. You target that mounted unit, and your unit can make a normal move of up to 7 inches.
Yes. So you're going to want to use this in the shooting phase basically every turn on your like incredible Death Star unit so it can be safe. And then you're going to want to use it in the fight phase on a unit of Shining Spears.
Yes. Wind of Blades. And Shining Spears now have old fly. They move through walls. This is way better on them.
Yes.
Wind of Blades. In your movement phase, 1 mounted or Viper unit from your army that has not been selected to move. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back.
That's incredible. Shining Spears with advance and charge? I mean, bikes with advance and shoot?
Yeah, it's pretty good, especially on maybe a super unit that does a lot of damage.
So your super unit can like pop out, shoot, do a ton of damage, go back behind a wall, and then go into reserves and pick up and drop down somewhere else.
Yes. Because of the detachment.
Detachment rule, yeah.
Daring Riders. The reinforcement step of your movement phase, 1 mounted or Viper unit in reserves. It can show up 3 inches away. Now, I would be surprised if this stayed 3 inches away.
I think they just blanket said it's all 6 now.
Yeah. I believe all of them are 6 inches. So if it says it arrives closer,
you cannot. Yeah. So this says arrives 6 inches away. But it also functions as deep strike, so you don't have to strat reserve your unit. So your super unit can come down anywhere on the table 6 inches away, blow 3 things up, and then leave, and then go back into the sky.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Focus Firepower, 1 CP, mounted or Viper unit that has not been selected to shoot yet in your shooting phase gets +1 AP.
That's just a great strat.
Yeah, it is a very good strat, especially if you are pouring a bunch of CP into one combo.
Unit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Spiraling Evasion, 1 CP in your opponent's shooting phase just after they pick to their targets. A mounted or Viper unit gets a 4-up invuln.
Yeah, so if your opponent like draws a bead on like a unit and they shoot at you and you're like, oh, you're going to hand me like 6 saves and I have like 6 dudes. I'm going to pop this 4-up invuln strat. Oh, I lived with 4 of them? I'm going to spend my agile token and leave now.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And they can't... So this is really good at making 1 unit a turn really good. Solid.
Yeah.
The full combo is you have
2 Warlocks and a Farseer. The Farseer has Swift Strike.
Seer Sight Strike.
And then you have 6 cannon bikes. And then you like pop out and you shoot someone, and then you're like lethal 5s, fully rolls to hit and wound, and then you have
some of these are data sheets.
Data sheet buffs,
will buff. Yeah.
And then the Shroud Runners and a Warwalker shoot you, so your cannon bikes are like AP3, ignore cover, lethal 5s, fully rolls to hit and wound, and then you have 3 Singing Spears that are now like AP2 or 3.
AP2, yeah.
AP2. And then your Farseer's guns like AP4 ignore cover with anti-monster vehicle.
2+.
And then there's like 2 flamers in there that are like strength 7 AP like 4 or 5 or something insane.
Yeah,
Like,
the restriction about having to kill something on overflight.
it's not a problem.
That's not the hard part here.
So that unit is like awesome. It does take a lot of CP. And you really just have that one unit.
Now, to be fair,
Yeah.
that could be the only thing that is unduplicatable
Is this
is Seer Strike.
so you could run 3 of these and then have like backups.
Yeah, you could run multiple.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of cheap units like the
Shrouds.
Shroud Runners and regular units of bikes that are now Battleline.
Yes.
And they can also hit hard, not as hard, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Shining Spears also are much faster than they were before.
Shining Spears love this attachment.
Shining Spears love this attachment. I wonder if you could make some kind of MSU army and then in the center of it have like 2 or 3 super units.
Yeah, you
depending on the price of
You
the
also
super
still probably take some Phoenix Lords in this.
Yeah.
Because the Phoenix Lords are like incredible.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that being interesting.
You're going to see a running theme of every one of these detachments is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no bad ones in here, except for maybe the Guardian one.
All right. Well, this one is for you.
It's
You are
definitely.
It is funny that Quentin and I have a pretty clear demarcation of what parts of Eldar each of us like.
Yeah.
He likes the Wraith units, and that is what's up next. I like the bike units.
My hands are currently covered in glue. I spent last night, I built 25 Wraith bodies
Yeah.
because they're battle line now, spoiler alert, in this attachment. So we have the Spirit Conclave. This is the Wraith one. Well, I have a lot of mixed feelings on this. The detachment rule is Shepherds of the Dead. Each time an Asuryani Psyker model, which is your Farseers, your Warlocks, your Spirit Seers, also the Hemlock Wraith Fighter, which will become important in a little bit, is destroyed, then your opponent, that unit that just destroyed it, gains 1 Vengeful token, and all of your Wraith Construct units are +1 to hit and wound against that target.
That's sketchy.
Yes. Also, Psykers have the following ability, all Asuryani Psykers. While a Wraithblade, Wraithguard, or Wraithlord unit is within 12 inches of them, they gain Battlefocus, which is all the Agile tokens, which makes them way better.
Yes.
Also, again, it's any Psyker, so 40, you're going to wait a cheap little solo Warlock, just like 12-inch bubble off him. Really good.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
And then lastly, Wraithblades and Wraithguard gain Battle Line.
And they are a separate data sheet, so
Yes.
you could have 12 units of Wraith on foot.
Points depending.
Depending, but like legally you're allowed to.
Which is crazy. Okay, moving on to the enhancements. We have Light of Clarity. You put it on a Spirit Seer. In your command phase, you select 1 Wraith Construct within 12 inches. I really like that all of these are 12 inches because it means you just like have it.
Yeah. No, you don't have to worry about always keeping your guy
Within
like,
6.
Can't wait for me, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
until you pick a Wraith Construct unit, any Wraith Construct unit, within 12 inches until the end of the command phase, they get all infantry, so the Wraith Guards and Wraith Blades get +1 OC, and then monsters get +3 OC.
that's really good.
Yes.
Because it is in your command phase. So if your opponent attempts to contest your objective, you can just be like, nah, that's mine. Which means they won't attempt to contest it.
Yeah.
Which means you just score primary.
So a few things. Number 1, the army rule and this enhancement, I think, are the only things in here, aside from some of the lesser stratagems, that can affect Titanic units. So a lot of it can go on Wraith Knight.
Yeah, they learned their lesson.
Also, this cannot go in a vehicle, so you cannot put this on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you cannot make the plane OC1.
Correct.
And hold an objective with it.
Yeah.
That's for the best.
Next, Stave of Kurnos. You know who Kurnos is, Jack?
He's got a bow. I know that.
He's the hunter
He's
guy.
the hunt. I did actually know he was a hunter.
Okay. In your command phase, you select 1 Wraith Construct unit within 12, not Titanic. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack on a critical wound, you gain precision. That's not that great.
It's not.
That's not that great.
Just kill them the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
You don't need precision because
Precision's on critical wounds is like, your character takes 3 saves. Oh, you did 2 damage and I didn't kill a guy instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rune of Mists. In your command phase, select 1 Wraith Construct unit within 12 inches. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a ranged attack targets that unit, unless the attacking model is within 12 inches, models in that unit have the benefit of cover this is practically useless because units always have cover in 10th edition.
It's 10th edition. You have cover if one model of your opponent's unit cannot see every part of every model in your unit.
Also, like, if you're within 12, you don't get the benefit of this. Like, this is not good.
Sure. That's the time you need it.
This can go on Titanic, though.
Sure.
Higher duty. Spirit Seer
Listen,
model
if you're
only.
playing a Wraith Knight, just stick the tip of his gun behind a wall and you have cover.
Or he has like 1,000 fins.
Yeah.
Like, just put one fin behind one wall. You're good. Okay, higher duty. Spirit Seer model only. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches of the bear's unit can make a normal move up to 6. I know
him and his unit?
That's so good. The Spirit Seers are lone ops now that cannot join anything. So it's just the Spirit Seer model. Okay. So the enhancements here are not the winners. The detachment rule is quite good. The enhancements here are not where it's at.
Yeah.
Stratagems, moving on. Seer's Eye, in the shooting or the fight phase, this is 1 CP. They're all 1 CP. You pick one Psyker unit and one Wraith Construct unit that has not been selected to shoot or fight and is within 12 inches of that Psyker. Until the end of the shooting phase or the fight phase, you pick one unit visible to the Psyker, and if your Wraith Construct unit attacks the unit that is visible to your Psyker, then you ignore AP and damage mods. So no armor of contempt, no damage. It's a very convoluted way of saying just like no AP, ignore AP and damage mods.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's a good strat, yeah.
Because Armor of Contempt is an AP mod, and that's on like
that's
half
the
big
big
in the
one,
game.
yeah.
And then -1 damage is pretty huge if you're running Wraith Blades
A lot of 2 damage, yeah.
into something like Deathwing Knights. Before, it would be pretty anemic. They Armor of Contempt and are -1 damage. And now you just go...
I know what you're
and they're
saying,
dead.
though. But sometimes if I'm hiding behind a wall and I want to go and attack them, well, my Spirit Seer can't see them, so I can't use this. Well, it'd be a shame if there was an Asuryani Psyker that could fly. It's also Aeldari Psyker randomly, so you could use it on a Shadow Seer.
Sure.
I guess. But if there's a flying, towering...
Like a plane of some description.
That had both the Psyker and the Race Construct keywords.
Yeah, the Hemlock really does tie the whole room together, doesn't it?
The Hemlock, actually makes his attachment better and really benefits from it.
Yeah.
It also loves Pulse Wind Hidden Wound.
If you kill it with your big Rogel Dorn or
yeah.
whatever, you're like, haha, I have killed you. You're like, you are an idiot. You are playing also want to hit and wound you.
All of the other Psykers are like little piddly elf idiots, right? You're like, oh, I'm just going to kill it with these Intercessors. These Intercessors will get, plus 1 million to hit and wound against them, but who cares? You can't kill the plane unless you're like something real.
Yeah.
Especially...
I'm so mad you killed my plane. Die now.
Especially 1 CP in the shooting or the fight phase, a -1 damage on any Wraith Construct unit, excluding Titanic.
Sure.
But that does make the Wraith Blades and Guard a lot better. It makes the Wraith Lord very annoying to kill, and it makes the plane kind of annoying to kill.
Because it's a Wraith.
It's a Wraith Construct unit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yup. That's really annoying to deal with.
It is, yeah.
So you dedicate...
It's also 1 CP, so...
Spammable.
You use this every turn, literally every turn.
I mean, they have Wraithbone armor, so...
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Okay, Blades from Beyond, 1 CP. And the shooting, or just in the fight phase, sorry. You pick one Wraith Blades, Wraith Lord, or Wraith Knight unit from your army, and then all of their melee attacks get dev wounds.
Okay, Wraith Blades have a lot of attacks.
They do. They have 25 attacks now. And their swords are now damaged too.
Yeah. That stings.
This makes Wraith Blades actually hit. Legitimately just actually hit.
Hit really hard.
If you have +1 hit and wound in this strat, Wraith Blades, officially slam.
And you can also, there's more buffs you can give them,
You can give them sustained hits, crit 5s.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards, yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
Okay. Soul Bridge. Use this in your command phase. You pick one Wraith Blade, Wraith Guard, or Wraith Lord from your army, and then one Asuryani Psyker from your army. Until the end of your next command phase, that Wraith unit is considered to be within 12 inches of your Psyker for all of its purposes.
So if somebody happened to be outside your 12-inch super bubble, you just make it so that they are within 12 inches of your super bubble.
This also works on their datasheet ability, so it gives them the +1 to hit and +2 leadership that their datasheet wants.
For being within 12 inches of the Psyker. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And again, this is any Psyker, so. Spirit Token, Wraith Blades or Wraith Guard, you pick that at the start of your movement phase and you stick in objective.
That's pretty good.
That's a good strat. 1 CP Crushing Strides. Your charge phase just after a Wraith Blades, Wraith Lord, or Wraith Knight unit ends a charge move. You pick that unit. And you roll a d6 for each Wraith Blade model in your unit. Or 4d6 if it's a Wraith Lord, or 66 if it's a Wraith Knight. And then on a 3+, your opponent takes a mortal wound. It's okay.
It's fine. Here's the thing. Wraith units are 5 models now.
Yes.
They are not 5 to 10. They are 5.
5. Yeah.
So that means this is going to be doing less than a grenade most of the time. In fact, I would say almost all the time, unless you're charging with a Wraith Knight.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you really need to do, you're like, crap, I need to do 2 mortals to this thing.
Then sure.
It's worth it, but it's not crazy.
It's not crazy. It's unlikely that when you charge something with Wraith Blades that you need like 2 mortals.
No.
It is unlikely if you charge something with a Wraith Lord or Knight that you need those 2 mortals.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very niche strat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, the ignore damage, -1 damage, dev wounds, and sticky objectives are all really good. Soul Bridge is, like, situational, but because the auras are 12 inches, you're probably not going to need it.
Also, anytime somebody kills a Psyker, they die immediately. That is a pretty decent detachment rule if you're running 3 Hemlock Wraith Fighters.
So the Wraith unit hits, like, the Wraith units all hit pretty good by themselves. The +1 to hit wound, they hit monstrously hard.
Yes.
They, like, delete armies with that.
Yeah, if you kill the Hemlock, you better make sure it's something that isn't getting hit back, because it will die if it does.
think this Bear Conclave also runs, like, 6 foot warlocks, like 6 solo warlocks, like 3 on bike, 3 on foot, and you just sacrifice them at every available opportunity. Like, if your opponent has Angron, like, turn 1, well, I think one of your bike warlocks is like, sayonara, and, like, dive bombs Angron.
+2 move, we're getting in there, chief.
Yeah, you just charge Angron and, like, die, and then your army's like, oh.
I'm performing reconnaissance. Oh, no.
Get him, boys. So up next, we have the Guardian Battlehost, which we have defend at all costs as the detachment rule. Each time a Dire Avenger, Guardian, Support Weapon, or Warwalker model makes an attack, if you are on an objective or you are targeting something on an objective, you get +1 hit. Which is just like +1 hit all the time.
Yeah, if you are either on or targeting an objective.
Yes.
So if they're off an objective, you get on an objective, and if they are on an objective, you don't care because you always have the +1.
Yes. Notably, unfortunately, we know how jet bikes do not have the Guardian keyword.
What?
They don't.
Okay.
They probably should.
They definitely should. They used to be called Guardian jet bikes.
I'm aware, but they're not Guardians,
Okay,
which is an important caveat here.
They're bikes. They
So
go in the bike
the
detachment.
only unit that have the Guardian keywords is Storm Guardians and Guardian Defenders.
I see where the problem with this detachment is going to be.
Yes. So this is, objectively, a good detachment. Its issue is that all of its enhancements, stratagems, and rules buff Guardian Defenders.
And
Storm
Storm
Guardians.
Guardians, an assault unit that has still not yet figured out how to do good things in combat.
I mean, it's an assault unit that's like Guardsman.
Yeah, it's like Guardsman with a funny extra attack.
I guess, yeah. Okay, enhancements. First one is Craft World's Champion, Asuryani model only. The bear has an objective control characteristic of 5.
That's honestly not bad.
It's not.
You just randomly put the dude on the objective. Like, how much do they see on the objective? You're like, 10. And like, how? There's
Yeah.
3 models on it.
Ethereal Pathway, Asuryani model only. In the deploy army step, select up to 2 Guardians units from your army, and they have infiltrators.
Okay. Up to 3?
Up to 2 Guardians units.
Up to 2.
Okay.
Okay. Is this going to be like Imperial Agents, where it's like a bunch of good rules that apply
To Guardians?
to Guardians?
Yes, that is correct.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Asuryani model only. While the bear is leading a Dire Avengers or Guardian unit, once per battle round, you can target the bear's unit with a Fire Overwatch stratagem for 0 CP. And while resolving the stratagem, hits are scored on an unmodified hit roll of a 5+ or a 4+ if the bear's unit is within range of an objective marker you control.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
That's Overwatch on 5. Overwatch on 4s, because you're going to have this unit touching an objective.
Yes.
Overwatch on 4s and at 0 CP is pretty good.
No, it's good.
It's on Guardians?
Or Dire Avengers.
Okay.
Notably, that is Dire Avengers without Ozerman.
Right.
Which is okay. It's a bunch of like bolter shots.
It's a lot of bolter
It's a
shots.
lot of bolter shots.
And they have sustained if you're close to them.
Yeah. This is not bad.
Is that bad?
Not bad.
It's fine.
Okay, Breath of Vol, Asayani model only. While the bear is leading a Storm Guardian unit, each time you roll to determine the number of attacks made with a Flamer unit, reroll the result. And each time you make a damage roll with one of the Guardian fusion guns, you can reroll the result.
Well, that Guardian fusion guns?
Yes. So unfortunately, it does not apply to the Exarch's Dragon fusion gun.
No, the Autarch?
The Autarchs, yeah.
I was like, oh, so you can make it 3. You give it 3 ones that reroll damage or reroll shot count.
Yes.
But no, it's just 2 because it's just the Guardian.
Which are D6 plus 2 damage, I think strength 8.
Not the Dragon fusion gun an Autarch might have.
Correct, yes.
Cool.
Yes. So Protector of the Paths, Ethereal Pathway, and Craftful Champions are all like not bad.
Yeah, they're solid. They're fine.
Okay, warding salvos in your shooting phase or the fight phase. 1 Dire Avenger or Guardian unit from your army that is not most likely to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within range of 1 or more objective markers, reroll the wound roll.
So reroll wounds against objectives in shooting or fight.
Yes.
That's really good. It applies to a lot of units, you said, right?
Dire Avengers or
Guardians. Cool. Okay.
So Ozerman plus Dire Avengers is a unit with the Dire Avenger keyword. And that unit is really, really, really good in this detachment.
Yeah.
It really peters off very quickly beyond that. Like, very quickly.
Well, if you think about it, Fire Dragons already reroll wounds.
We don't need them.
So now you don't need that.
Okay. Shield nodes. In your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, these are all 1 CP again. 1 Dire Avenger or Guardian unit from your army that was selected as a target of 1 or more of these attacks, and you are -1 to wound.
Do the Dire Avengers get the +1 to hit?
If you are on an objective marker, you get -1 to wound. Yes, they do. They also get +1 to hit.
Okay, so this is essentially...
This is the Dire Avenger and Guardian detachment.
Yeah, I mean, it is impossible to get past the fact that is not a good thing to be.
No.
Right? Like, I know every time the rule comes out, I go, oh my god, it applies to, only Dire Avengers and Guardians.
Yeah.
But that is because that is kind of just a crippling weakness.
Yes.
To the detachment.
There's a fundamental issue. This is a good detachment that applies to garbage units.
I'm assembling a team. I'm assembling the team of the worst units in your book.
Oh, God. Okay, Vol's Vengeance. In your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, after an enemy unit destroys a Dire Avengers or Guardian unit from your army, you pick a Warwalker unit from your army, and then after your opponent's unit has finished resolving its attacks, your Warwalker can shoot, but it can only shoot at that target. It's okay, I guess.
No, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
I mean, where's the buffs for Warwalkers that makes them actually hit?
They get +1 to hit.
They get +1 to hit?
Yeah, it's Guardians, Dire Avengers, Support Weapons, or Warwalkers.
Right. Okay, so they hit on 2s.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not like great.
That's decent. I mean, it revolves around
Them
Guardians doing something other than damage.
The Guardians dying.
Right, that's what they're good at.
That's what they're good at.
So, yeah, then you get 1 CP, you get to shoot them with a Warwalker.
Yeah.
Maybe you have 2 Bright Lance, they on 2s, who knows?
So support weapons also get +1 to hit. So, like, your D cannons run out. They're infantry, they move 7 now. So they run out and they hit on 2s. It's like cute.
All right, D-cannons are decent.
They also, if they join Guardians, they get all the Guardian keywords. So the D cannons can be like hitting on 2s.
I mean, maybe this is just you take like 6 transports and you jam it full of OC and then it's annoying to deal with.
Maybe.
And it punches up. I don't know. Maybe that's the direction you go.
Okay,
with.
but time to strike is really good.
Time to strike.
Okay, use it in your movement phase. 1 Storm Guardians unit from your army that has not been selected to move. Until the end of the phase, each time your unit advances, do not make an advance roll. Instead, until the end of the phase, add 6 to the move characteristic of your units, and until the end of the turn, your unit is able to shoot and declare a charge in the turn in which it advanced.
Storm Guardians specifically.
Only Storm Guardians.
So that list I just described, where you take a bunch of OC and transports, yeah, it'd be better in the index.
In the Warhost?
In the Warhost.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, it would.
It'd be wildly better. Okay. Blades of Osirion. Use it in your shooting phase. You pick 1 Dire Avenger or Guardian unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot, and their ranged weapons gain pistol.
Cool.
If you were in Warhost, you could instead just fall back, shoot, and charge.
Okay, so the units that these apply to, and I know there's one more strat, but
yes.
the units these apply to can do damage basically in 2 ways.
Yes.
1, a bunch of shurikens at AP 1, strength 4.
Correct.
Or 2, 2 shots with a fusion gun or 2d6 hits with a flamer.
Yes.
This is not a unit that rewards having the entire army built around it. Right?
No, not at all.
Because you have a smattering of fusion guns. And by smattering, I mean a smattering.
You have like 6 if you like lean into it.
You have like 6 if you lean into it, and then you have a bunch of 4-1-1.
Yes.
And that does not cut the mustard.
And like you can like lean into it and you can take a bunch of support weapons, but like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
The last one is 1 CP cost of victory. Use it at the end of your opponent's fight phase. You pick a Guardians unit from your army. If it's not within engagement range, you remove it from the battlefield and put it into strategic reserves. And when you do so, you return every Guardians model that was destroyed to the unit.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That is a good strat.
Yes.
Because they shoot you, they hurt you really bad. You run behind a wall and you're like, back to full strength, boys.
Okay, so objectively, none of these strats are bad.
All the strats are good.
All of the enhancements are good, and the rules good. The problem is it's good rules that are stapled onto Guardians and Dire Avengers.
I think that the rules are good enough that you could even make this army work okay to good. The problem is, as soon as you unshackle yourself from having to take just those data sheets, you become much better. So something like the Warhost is just better. Because it doesn't even have demonstrably worse strats. It might even have better strats.
I think it does have better strats.
I think it has better strats. I think it has a better detachment rule.
Yeah.
And it has better enhancements.
And it applies to anything that's not just Guardians and Dire Avengers.
Better detachment, better enhancements, better stratagems, Papa John's.
So I think what you... I think what you do here, I think is you take like 6 squads of Guardian Defenders and you give them all a support weapon. And they all pop out and they shoot your opponent with like 3 vibro cannons and 3 D weapons. So the turret weapons join Guardians now. That's like their thing.
Okay.
So they all pop out, and then if your opponent shoots back, all 6 of them can use the for free reactive move after they get shot.
Oh, because Guardians
do it for free if someone else has done it without spending a Battlefocus token.
That is obnoxious.
Yeah. I mean,
it is better in Warhost. But if you want to make that kind of army work, you probably can. Just high OC everywhere, a lot of transports, a lot of getting back into transports.
Also, the Dire Avenger plus Ozerman unit is beyond a crazy in this detachment. This is its best detachment somehow.
Really?
Well, it doesn't need to fire invade because it does it for free.
Right.
It gets real wounds.
Yeah.
In the shooting and the fight phase. It gets +1 to hit perpetually.
Yeah.
It can be -1 to wound. And then you're taking a bunch of Warwalkers, and the Warwalkers make it like AP2.
Okay.
So like...
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe.
Okay. So it's not good.
You have to work so much harder to get back to the same place.
You do.
Yeah.
If this were a bad codex, this would be a good detachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad codex.
No, it's a very good
bad
codex.
codex.
I'm going to let you do this one.
They're back. All right. Harlequins. All right. I played a bunch of Harlequins in 9th.
Yep.
I loved playing Harlequins. I took them we wrote a list together and took them to GW Chicago. And that was a bunch of dudes on foot. And then after that, I played a lot of 8 and 9 boat. Mm-hmm. I did not play them when they were super broken. You know,
I did.
I know you did. John did too. But I loved my like 8 and 9 boat MSU list that sprinted around the board, just being way too many units to deal with. I loved that, and they murdered it in 10th. It just died immediately.
So I think in this book, they did a really good job of basically restoring Harlequins to where they were in 9th edition, which I really like, which is if you want to run pure Harlequins, you can and are rewarded for it in the Harlequin detachment. Or if you're taking Eldar, you can take a few Harlequin units as like a little like spice on the side, and they're okay.
They're fine.
They're fine.
I don't really see a reason to take Harlequins outside the Harlequin detachment.
No.
But I see a pretty good reason to take the Harlequin detachment.
I could see taking a Death Jester.
Yeah.
For having one lone up.
For why not?
Yeah.
Also, anyway. Yeah. Harlequins datasheets also got much better.
Yeah.
Which
so
we will cover in the datasheet.
But I think it's important to remember is that the Harlequin datasheets broadly are like a full tier better than they were before.
They're nothing crazy. I doubt they're going to be the first thing that jumps out at you as far as the data sheets. I'd be surprised if it was the first thing that jumped out at you. But they are better in ways that matter.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Harlequins. Detachment rule. Each time a Harlequins model from your army makes a charge move, it can move through enemy models. This is, as far as these things go, pretty mediocre.
Yeah, it's okay.
It'll come up
Okay, like once a game.
once a game. Sure. Okay, fine, whatever. But the big one is traveling players, which is troops gain battle line and troop models in those units have OC2, which they
Didn't before? Yeah.
didn't have before.
This makes them like viable.
Yes, you can now sprint them onto objectives and steal them away. And importantly, you can take 6 units,
Yes.
which you're going to need to because you have like 5 data sheets in your army.
Yeah.
And then you are allowed to include up to 3 of each of the following models in your army: Death Jester, Shadow Seer, and Troop Master, which in Eldar you are not allowed to
You
do.
get one. They're not epic heroes,
But you're only allowed to have
one. Yeah.
The Solitaire notably still is Epic Hero, and you are only allowed to have one of it, even in this detachment.
He's also crazy in this detachment.
He's
though.
not the Many-Tear, he's the Solitaire.
Yes.
All right, Chegarak's Coil. Troop Master model only. Every time the bearer's unit ends a charge move, select an enemy unit within engage range of the bearer's unit, then roll d6 for every model in your unit that is within engage range of that enemy unit. Notably, people mess this up constantly, including people here. Engagement range is just 1 inch. Base of base does not count for engagement range. You have to get within an inch of your opponent. Then for every model in your unit within engage range of the enemy unit, for every 4 up, take a mortal wound.
This is not bad on like a big unit of dudes.
Yeah, you can take a 12-man with a Troop Master.
Harlequins
and it will
are
hit
still
very
on
hard.
25s, so packing them in is very easy.
It is pretty easy to get in range and basically throw a free grenade.
Yeah.
Which for this army is very good because you're going to be getting your damage in dribs and drabs all across the army. So I do want to find a way to fit this in for sure. Mask of Secrets. Any Harlequin model, every time an enemy unit within engage range of the bearer's unit falls back, other than monsters and vehicles, all models in the enemy unit must take a desperate escape test. When doing so, if they are already battle shocked, -1 to the test.
This is not bad.
It's fine.
It's fine.
The amount of units that you want to do this to that will not just beat some troops to death is kind of small.
It once again, the perfect example is like Wraithguard.
Wraithguard, but even they, if I leave them alive,
will kill troops.
will kill troops.
Yeah.
So this is not very good.
If it affected monsters and vehicles, it'd be kind of funny, but
It
like,
would be very funny at that point. Harlequins live fast and die young. Okay,
Yeah, they do.
They are not going to be sitting there and being like, "Ooh, your Terminators, are they going to fall back?"
Terminators are just gonna be like punch.
Yeah. All right, Murder's Jest. Death Jester model only. Every time the bearer makes an attack that targets a unit that is below half strength, every successful hit roll scores a critical hit. We have successfully found a rule that triggers when your opponent's below half strength. That is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Largely because Harlequins, again, do their damage in bits and pieces.
Yeah, Harlequins never are like full to dead. They're like, I'm gonna shoot 6 boats at you, and each is gonna do, it's 18% of your health pool.
Right. Like, I'm going to throw a grenade. I'm going to hit you with a unit, and each of those are going to do like the grenade's going to do 3, the unit's going to do like 8. I'm going to shoot you with a boat, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Right. And they can do a lot of that.
Yes.
They can do a ton of that. And so in pieces, you can kill stuff. But what this is nice for is the moment your dribs and drabs get your opponent below half, this Death Jester goes and just kills them.
Oh, he's still sustained 3, by the way.
Yeah. And now you can give sustain 3 to 3 Death Jesters
Yes.
as opposed to just 1. So he is pretty darn good with Murder's Jest. Because the army can do damage, but it does damage in increments from a lot of units.
Yes.
And this means that it is very easy to get them just below half and then have a dude to finish them off.
Yeah.
Which is very helpful.
100%.
Mistweave, Shadow Seer model only. While the bearer is leading a unit, models in that unit have infiltrators. This is the only reason to take a Shadow Seer.
Yes.
They did not make the Shadow Seer do things.
I mean, she gives them like, was it low up 18 now?
Low up 18.
It's
And
okay.
then there's like another rule that
Doesn't matter.
whatever.
Yeah.
This is fine.
It's
Having
fine.
a big unit infiltrating nearby would be awesome if you could have a Troop Master.
I was
in
about to say, in Reaper's Wager, you can do it, and you get a Troop Master.
Troop Masters slam now.
Troop Masters are the best of the 3 characters, I think.
Yes. Oh, it's. I don't even think it's particularly close.
Yeah.
I think it goes. It goes Solitaire.
Solitaire,
first,
Troop Master, yeah,
one
yeah.
above all, but
Yeah.
Solitaire, then Troop Master, then Death Jester, then Shadow Seer.
Solitaire's like my favorite model in 40k. Like a favorite like unit. Like he's so cool.
Yeah, I need to find where I put my Solitaire in my drawers in my house when 10th edition started.
Yeah.
All right, those are decent enhancements. Nothing
Not
too
bad.
crazy. Attachment was fine. Let's get to the stratagems.
Yes.
Meat and potatoes here. All right, staged death. Any phase when a Harlequin's character dies for 1 CP, it stands back up automatically, no roll, with half of its starting number of wounds remaining. Now, the nice thing here is that because it's half, you will never have to take a battle shock check.
Yep.
And you just stand back up automatically, and you have a bunch of characters. So your opponent has to be very concerned that, say, like the Solitaire just whoop, stands back up and goes on a murder frenzy.
Yeah.
And then, like your Troop Master's unit gets shot out from under him. He stands back up, you score an objective, and then he runs in and kills like a unit of something.
Yeah.
So that's really good because you can use it multiple times, not on the same character, but on different characters. And that's going to come up a lot.
Also, like your opponent's like, haha, my 12-step plan to run forward and throw a grenade at your Death Jester, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. He's back.
He's back up. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really strong. There's another stratagem that combos with it very, very well as well. Yeah. But Heroes Fall, fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. On a 4-up, you fight on death.
That's not bad.
It's fine. It's fine. It'll come up occasionally. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Harlequins don't, as I said, do damage in dribs and drabs, and spending a CP to do half of a drib is not really what I
mean, like, if you're like, man, I really need to do 1 damage to this thing.
If it guaranteed the Troop Master swung, I would do it.
Yeah.
Like, if it was like the Troop Master fights and then roll a die for every model in the unit.
Or if you could like be like roll dice equal to the number of models in the unit and then pick that number of models to fight.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, no.
No.
But, it is what it is. Stage Death's really good, though.
Yeah.
Mocking Flight, fallback, shoot, and charge.
That's good.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Trickster's Retort, 1 CP when an enemy unit moves within 9 inches of you. A troop unit moves flat 6.
That's good.
This detachment, I found, reaches a critical mass of nonsense.
Yes. And this also, like, the Battlefocus tokens here are so good.
They're so good. Because if you move within 9 of me, I'm going to leave. If you try to shoot me, I might go behind a wall. If you fall back from me, I'm going to leave. And then you move close to me, I move again.
Yeah.
And like all of these can get you back in transports. Harlequins are also insane at getting back in transports when they're done.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Their thing. So this is just an extra layer of nonsensory that you can use to just make your opponent's movement phase take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they have to worry about everything that you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Bloody Dance. 1 CP, end of your opponent's charge phase. I think this is the big winner in this detachment. End of your opponent's charge phase, Harlequin's infantry or mounted unit from your army that is within 6 inches of 1 or more enemy units and would be eligible to declare a charge against 1 or more of those enemy units if it were your charge phase, can declare a charge that targets 1 or more of those enemy units, and you resolve that charge. So, you do not fight first, though, but you get any other benefit of the charge, like maybe mortals off of Chegarak's Coil.
Yeah, but you know who like fights first naturally?
Solitaire.
So your Solitaire's like chilling behind a wall, and they're like, oh, I'm going to run up and tap this objective, and he's like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, you just get into them. So every time I have described this to somebody, which has been like 4 times, they have misunderstood how this works.
Yes.
It is not a heroic intervention the way we think of it in 10th edition. It is a heroic intervention the way we thought of it in 9th edition.
Yes.
Which is, you walk up to me and stop and don't do anything, I still charge you.
Yep.
You just have to end your charge phase within 6 inches of my unit. It doesn't matter if you're charging, if you're not, whatever, get in combat, fool. It's pretty darn good. Now, again, Harlequin unit's made of a little bit of paper. And so that means that I can't rely on controlling an objective in the open by being like tough or tanking it. But what it does mean is that if you roll up to me at the club and you go WID, what are you going to do? Then I have an answer. I'll charge you. And because it's your turn, I will swing first because I get the first activation. Quentin and I have played a test game with this, and there was a moment where I played the Harlequins. I played a Harlequin army, and you played Aspect Host.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where a bunch of warlocks ran through a wall, and were going to shoot at my Solitaire. And I was like, all right, Quentin, if you do this, I will... I'm going to stand back up, then I'm going to charge you, then I'm going to kill you, all in your turn, by the way. Yeah. And then I'm going to spend a token to consolidate 6 inches forward onto an objective. And you were like, I see, I will not do it then.
Yes.
And then my Solitaire ran 23 inches and took your home objective.
Yeah. Ugh. This strat like makes the detachment.
Yeah,
especially the stand back up.
Especially because you can stand up into doing it.
Yeah.
So if you walk around a wall, you get close to me or whatever, you shoot me, I stand up, I charge you.
I mean, like, you can also just use it on like troops, right? Like if your opponent like puts a tank on a point, you're just like, okay, cool, I'm on.
I'm in there.
Yeah.
It's really annoying to play around.
Yeah.
And that is what Harlequins need to be doing.
Yes.
All All right, and finally, we got exit the stage. End of your opponent's fight phase. One Harlequin's unit that is not within engage range goes back into reserves.
That's good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. This detachment, I'll be honest, I put it on the table because I want to play Mono Harlequin.
Yes.
And I was super impressed by it.
It does not come across that strong on paper. In practice, it is very good.
It's pretty
So
good.
you're probably like, there's no advance in charge in here. And that is sad. But +2 move is like you roll bad on an advance in charge. It still means that your troops are getting 13 out of a boat.
Yep, because they move 8 + 3 + 2.
Which is like faster than a jump pack infantry unit.
Yep.
So like they're just fast enough. They just are. They just are.
They just are.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
They also
and then you can
don't hit soft.
consolidate in 6 inches back, get back in a boat.
Or forward, like you run forward, you like pile and wrap around, you kill someone, and then you pile in 6 and tag their army.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. All right. I mean, it's definitely going to be a very like scalpel rather than a sledgehammer.
No. I mean, like if your opponent puts 10 Armor of Contempt Terminators in the center of the table, that might be kind of annoying.
Yes.
But like you can work around it.
We can figure that out.
Yeah. Okay, the Ynnead. Okay, the Ynnead are very complicated, and we in the house misread it like 5 times. Here's how this works. So, to play Ynnead, you must have either Yvraine or the Incarn as your warlord. If you take Yvraine or the Incarn, or both, in your army, you cannot include any epic heroes. So no Phoenix Lords, no Solitary, no Kane. Phoenix Lords are the big part because they're the best part of this book by far.
Yes.
You also get access to the Drukhari datasheets that are in the back of the book. There is a large section of Ynnead datasheets. It's like the Archon, the Succubus, I think Kabalite Warriors, which is, and then like some of the transport, Incubi, and some of the transports.
Yeah.
You are allowed to include those. All of your Asuryani units gain the Ynnead keyword. Units that do not have the Asuryani keyword do not gain Ynnead. So clowns do not get Ynnead, but if you take like a unit of like Dire Avengers, they do get it. Lastly, this is complicated. This is ridiculously complicated.
If you at home are not really following along, neither am I.
I told you we read this like 8 times and like we've just finally figured out how it works. The transports, the Wave Serpent and the Falcon, currently cannot transport Ynnead units except for Yvraine and the Vizark. What this means is that if you take any Asuryani unit, it cannot go in a transport in Ynnead. I'm pretty sure this is a typo. And what they meant was that the Drukhari Ynnead units cannot go in a Wave Serpent. But as it currently stands, nothing can go in a Wave Serpent except for the clowns that you take and Yvraine and the Vizark alone with nobody attached.
Not ideal.
No. So, all that being said, that like wild caveat combo, what does Ynnead get you? Their detachment rule is like 5 paragraphs long. So I'm going to start there. Okay.
Oh my God, it is actually.
Yeah, it's
Wait, hold on. 1 line, then a paragraph, then a paragraph, then a paragraph, then 3 bullet points.
Yes. Okay. So, the first one and the best part of detachment by far. Lethal intent. At the end of your opponent's shooting phase, if 1 or more Ynnead units from your army were destroyed this phase, you select 1 Ynnead unit from your army, non-Titanic, and that unit can make a normal move.
At the end
of your opponent's shooting phase.
That is really damn good.
Yes.
So you put a unit on a point.
Yes.
And if they shoot that unit off, you're like, fair play. End of their shooting phase, replace it.
Yes. If your opponent shoots a transport and the guys spill out and they're going to charge the guys inside, no, they're not. If your opponent shoots your rangers or whatever, your 6-man unit of Shining Spears moves 14, and then in your turn it moves 16.
And this is no range.
There's no range.
So if they shoot a unit on one side of the board, a unit on a different side of the board,
60 inches away can just move. Yeah, there's no restriction here.
That's good.
It's very good.
That's very good. That's nuts, actually.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, Lethal Surge. Once per turn, when a Ynnead unit from your army performs the fade back agile maneuver, that is the after I get shot, then I move, it can instead make a lethal surge move instead of normal move. If it does, roll 1d6 and add 1 to the result. That unit can then be moved that number of inches up to the total, but when doing so, those models can be moved within engagement range of the enemy unit that just triggered the agile maneuver.
So it is a blood surge that triggers off a token.
Yes, but you can only move into units that shot at you. Because you can be moved within engagement range of the unit that just triggered that agile maneuver.
That's much worse.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a unit that rolls up to you, and then the unit behind it, 8 inches away, goes blow, and you're like,
oh,
good point.
I mean, like,
then you leave, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, like, you could still just use the fade back normally.
Yeah, that doesn't.
It's
well,
not,
there's a third part to this detachment rule.
Yes, there is.
Please,
I mean, okay, the first one is the best one. Like
the first one is by far the best one.
A
move at the end of your opponent's shooting phase when they can no longer shoot you anymore.
Every other part of the detachment is mediocre. The first part is like what makes it interesting in my mind. Okay. Lethal reprisal. At the start of the fight phase, select one Ynnead unit from your army that is below starting strength. Until the end of the phase, that unit has the fight first ability.
How can we make our units lose a model?
Transport explodes?
I guess. But like none of them can go in transports. I guess you can put incubi and venoms.
So you take a wave serpent, nothing can go inside, the game starts, it dies.
It explodes! But you want to make sure this happens on average. So you take six wave serpents.
This is like the old corn players taking rhinos to die to get blood type tokens to start.
Yeah, they're like, I'm just going to take 3 rhinos and they die.
Okay.
All right. Don't do that if that wasn't clear.
It was bad.
Do not be doing that.
Okay. Moving on. First enhancement, Gaze of Ynnead. Farseer model only. The bear's Eldritch Storm ability weapon has devastating wounds.
Wow, they really have 3 enhancements so far that buff Farseer's Eldritch Storm, huh?
They really do, don't? Yeah.
Yeah, no, they do. They
okay.
really do. And the Seer Council detachment's coming up next, so.
Yeah. Storm of Whispers, Warlock model only. In your shooting phase, after the bear has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one of those attacks. They must take a battle shock test.
Sure.
That's okay.
Yeah, they can't take a battle shock test if they're dead to the Warlocks.
Yeah.
Warlocks shoot much harder than they used to.
Borrowed Vigor, Archon model only. Add 2 to the attacks characteristics of bear's melee weapons.
It's a good enhancement.
Unfortunately, it's not an Archon, and the Drakari units do not get access to real hits or wounds or +1 to wounds.
So what you're telling me is he really needs the +2 attacks.
Yes, he has 5 attacks at strength 3, AP 2, damage 2.
Anti-infantry 3+?
Yes.
But he does. I know the best part of taking an Archon is that when you pain token them, they real hits.
That is correct. He also does not have the Vect ability.
So the 2 best parts of the Archon are gone.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll cover that in Datasheets later.
Morbid Might, Succubus model only. Each time the bear makes a melee attack, you can roll the wound roll.
Isn't she 3/1/1 or something nonsensical like that?
She's still like, she's like 6 attacks, like 3/1/1.
Why do they make Succubi hit so unbelievably weak?
So, like unironically, the Swooping Hawk Exarch with a power sword hits harder than Succubus.
Yeah.
Like, not even like just straight up.
They fixed the Troop Master. They made the Troop Master hit not like hard, but like
so
enough to
unfortunately,
notice.
they like ported over all the Drakari datasheets to the Ynnead section, but they're still all like garbage. Because what makes Drakari good is that you stack an outrageous amount of rules on a terrible attack profile and it becomes decent. You don't have access to any of the crazy amount of rules, so you're just like
you don't have Lance +1 AP full rerolls to hit and wound.
Correct. Yes.
Those are some good rules.
Yeah. So your Incubi like walk out, they're like swaggering at like 3 attacks at 4/2 that hit on 3s with no buffs whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you give them like your Vrain does something if she's in combat with you, I believe.
She does, but like for the most part,
it's a thing. It's a thing.
Hall of Dread.
We're into strategies.
1 CP. Any phase. 1 Ynnead unit from your army that was just destroyed while it was within range of 1 or more objective markers, and then you sticky that objective marker.
That is very good. As someone who plays World Leaders, I think the best stratagem in World Leaders is sticking an objective when you die. And the reason for that is it fundamentally changes how you play into shooting armies. Because ordinarily, you walk onto objective, they shoot you off the objective, nobody scores it. You walk onto objective, they shoot you off the objective, nobody scores it. But now, no longer, because you walk out, they shoot you, you stick it, you score it, and they're like, well, I can't let that happen, so they have to feed you units.
Ynnead wants to be a combat melee army. It's not. It's a tricky objective control army.
Yeah, I mean, we've yet to see a damage buff that at all, but we'll get there, I'm sure.
Macabre Resilience. Your opponent's shooting phase to the fight phase. You pick one infantry or mounted Ynnead unit and -1 wound.
Okay, that's fine. That's better than -1 to hit.
Emissaries of Ynnead, 1 CP. In the fight phase, after a Ynnead unit has selected its target, you pick your Ynnead unit and you roll once to hit. If you are below your starting strength, you get 4 rolls to hit.
I hate that because you can't. There's a very fine line for Eldar units between at starting strength and
immediately dead. Yes.
It is very easy for them to cross over into the next dimension, but the 6 wave serpent strategy does get around that.
Okay. 2 CP parting the veil. You pick any Ynnead unit and you get full fight on death all the time. Like no roll, you just fight. It's 2 CP, but full fight on death.
It's a good strat.
It's a good strat.
You need to find someone to use it on.
That's the big issue.
Yeah, but it's not bad.
If you take the clown brick in this Ynnead detachment, it'd be pretty good.
It'd be pretty good.
But unfortunately, Yvraine cannot join clowns anymore.
12 Harlequin troops with a troop master do hit substantially hard.
They are not Ynnead, so they do not get any of these buffs. Because they are not Asuryani, so they do not get the Ynnead keyword.
Yeah, I know we're on Ynnead, but I was still thinking about
Harlequins.
I was still my mind's on my money, and my money's on my mind.
I see. Okay.
And by money, I mean Harlequins.
Soul Sight. In your shooting phase, you pick one Ynnead unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase, and it gets lethal hits and ignores cover.
Not bad.
Notably, the other shooting buff that can go on a Wraith Knight.
Okay, sure.
The problem is something you want to put this on. Because you're like, oh, cannon bikes. Well, cannon bikes already have lethal hits.
They already have lethal hits. Shuriken, not Shuriken, scatter laser bikes?
Yeah, you could put
then you get lethal sustained, ignores cover?
I guess.
Brat.
That's not terrible.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. You get 4 rolls to hit.
And you get lethal sustained.
Yeah, you can give him +1 AP. It's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Last one is Death Answers Death.
Which is an incredibly metal name.
Yeah, it is. Okay, at the end of your opponent's shooting phase, you pick one Ynnead unit from your army, not Wraith Construct units. And if one or more models from that unit were destroyed this phase, that unit can shoot.
When's the trigger on that?
The end of your opponent's shooting phase.
So when they're done shooting your unit full of holes, then it can shoot back.
This is not a bad stratagem. There's just not a single unit that I want to use it on.
It is a good stratagem.
I mean, if your opponent is an idiot and shoots Invocatus' bolt pistol at a squad of 10 Dark Reapers and blams one guy.
You have to lose a model?
You have to lose a model.
Okay.
But so you can't use it on anything big. Wraithguard, you cool, but you can't use it on a Wraith.
Does it that one or more models in the unit were destroyed? So if they throw a grenade, it doesn't get around it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's something.
Yeah. So here's basically what it is. Ynnead are very complicated, and they don't let you take some of the best parts of the book. The enhancements are not good. The strats are mediocre. Holy cow, lethal intent is one of the best rules in this book. One of the best rules in the game.
Yeah, you just move at the end of your opponent's shooting phase. If they've killed anything, there is no range restriction. There is no it had to be within 6. There is no your opponent gets to,
You also get access to Yvraine and the Incarn, who are both very good.
Yeah. And the Vizark, too.
He's not
cute.
Good. He's not
He's cute. He's a little cutie.
His sword is anti-epic hero 3+, which is very funny.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on Ynnead.
You keep trying to make it work, which is fair.
It has one really good rule.
Really annoying
and
rule.
And then a lot of not that great rules.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you come back to you could just play Warhost and it's better.
That's a problem a lot of them have.
You want to do Seer Council?
I would love to do Seer Council. I played a ton of Seer Council in 8th edition. I love my Eldar Psyker weird nonsense on bikes. That's not this, but it's fine. It's called Seer Council, and that's pretty sick. If you want to run Seer Council on bikes, you run the bike detachment.
Yes. Yeah.
Give you a saucy wink. All right. Strands of Fate. At the start of the first battle round, you generate fate dice by rolling a number of d6 based off the battle size. For a 2,000 point game, you roll 6. Every time you use one of the stratagems opposite, so one of the 6 strats, if your fate die pool contains one or more fate dice showing the corresponding value in the table below, you can discard one of those fate dice. If you do, you reduce the cost of that stratagem by 1, which takes them all to 0.
So basically, this detachment rule is 6 free CP that you are locked into using on specific stratagems.
That's not amazing.
No, it's not.
It's as good as the strats are, kind of, but also you can... It's not like it lets you double up, so it just gives you CP.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's fine.
When I first read it, I thought it was every turn.
No.
And I was like, man, you're going to be making it rain at the club out here with strats. But no, it's per game.
It is per game.
It is per game. So that's not amazing as far as those things go, because you already had access to the strats. This is just extra CP.
Yeah. And there's also like ways to get free CP in the book. So.
Yes. All right, Lucid Eye, the enhancements. A Suriani Psycho model only in your command phase. You can add 1 or subtract 1 from the value of 1 fate die in your fate die pool. It does not add 1. It just modifies it. So it's not like you get extra dice.
Yeah.
You just modify a die.
But like you can like pick, it means you have a lot more latitude into which strats are free.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I do also hate that some of the dice are going to be relatively valueless.
Right. So this is where they become.
This does help with that.
Like if you like 5 6s, right, and you're like, oh, I don't want to use Psychic Shield 6 times, right? That helps there.
All right, Runes of Warding. A Suriani Psyker model only. Models in the bearer's unit have a Feel No Pain 4+ ability against mortal wounds, psychic attacks, and critical wounds caused by attacks with devastating wounds, which are already mortal wounds. So
yeah.
I assume this was written back when they weren't mortal wounds.
This is okay. The problem is like Psyker models can join like Windriders and Guardians,
which I would think would downgrade this rule actually to bad.
Yeah.
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 Stone of Eldritch Fury. Psyker model only. Add 12 inches to the range characteristic of ranged psychic weapons equipped by the bearer.
Wow, I was really expecting more out of the Stone of Eldritch Fury.
Slightly peeved rock.
Slightly peeved rock.
Yeah, I mean, you can shoot 36 with your psychic weapon.
I guess.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I suppose you throw your singing spear 24 inches.
Ooh.
Torque of Morai Heg. A Suriani Psyker model only. Once per turn, when your opponent targets a unit from their army within 12 inches with a stratagem, bearer can use this enhancements. If it does, increase the CP cost that usage by a stratagem by 1 CP. It is Vect, or Lord of Deceit.
Yes.
But for one time a turn.
I mean, yeah, it's cute. It's not great. It's also on an Asuryani Psyker, right? So like your Asuryani Psyker has to be like in their army.
Yeah. I'm not sure how the timing works on can you make them not able to use a strat they don't have the CP for? Because they have already targeted their guy for it.
Yeah.
Does that mean that they can't do it and then like is there a timing window in there to make it like you can't use it?
You just spend the CP or something like that? I don't know.
Right? Like because it says when your opponent targets a unit from their army within 12 inches of the bearer with a stratagem. So they target the unit.
Yeah.
Then you make it cost 1 more. How does that work if they're at 1 if they can't spend it?
But what if they wouldn't spend it if it was going to be 2, but they would spend it for 1? Like this probably could use an FAQ.
Yeah. I don't know how this works. I don't know if it prevents your opponent from using a strat.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't afford the increased cost. I don't know if it forces them to then use it at increased cost if they didn't want to.
Yeah. Because if you're like, your grenade is 2 CP, and your opponent's like, cool, I don't want to spend it. This other unit's going to grenade instead.
Well, they've definitely targeted their unit for it.
That's fair.
So they had to at least. The problem is they have to at least start the process of using the strat.
Yeah.
And then you insert that the strat is now different and maybe illegal.
Then they go to negative CP?
You definitely can't do that. So I don't know, because all the other Lord of Deceit abilities are just a passive effect. Yeah. Which means that if they don't meet the requirements to use the now updated stratagem,
they can't start it.
But here it changes it mid-sequence.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's odd. I don't know how it works, but I'm sure we'll get an FAQ on it. My assumption would be you get veto power.
Yes.
You would just be like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. My assumption also is that they would now have to pay the updated CP cost.
Yeah.
That being said, that's an assumption based off what I think that they will FAQ. Not that we have remotely heard anything about that. Your interpretation is as good as mine. All right. Presentiment of Dread for stratagem. And remember, all of these can be made free by use of the detachment.
Yes.
Presentiment of Dread. In the command phase, one Psyker model from your army. Select an enemy unit within 18 inches invisible to your unit. That enemy unit must take a battle shock test at -1.
Okay. I have a very cute combo here. The Hemlock Wraith Fighter
Oh my god.
is an Asuryani Psyker. It also makes you take battle shocks at -1.
Okay.
You sit in your command phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your plane is there.
Any command phase. Your
Any
opponent's...
command phase. Your opponent's like, I'm going to score this point. And you're like, take a battle shock test to -2, please.
That's cute.
But it's cute.
That's cute.
I don't know if it's great, but it's cute.
It's probably not great, but it is cute.
It is cute.
Okay, we got Forewarned. Fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, one infantry unit from your army other than Wraiths that was selected as the target of one or more of those attacks and is within 9 inches of a Psyker unit, -1 to hit and -1 to wound.
That's not bad.
That's a good strat.
Yeah, it's a good strat.
That's a pretty damn good strat, honestly.
-1 to hit and wound.
It is only in the fight phase.
Yes. So -1 to hit and the wound is the point where like math starts to become very different.
I am a well-known Sanguinary Guard enjoyer.
Yes.
And -1 to hit and wound, even on units that are like toughness 4, which Sanguinary Guard are, or I suppose toughness 3, is still really obnoxious.
Like if your opponent's like, yeah, I need to kill these guardians to take this objective, and you're like, I'm going to use the strat. Now you're going to kill 8 instead of 10.
Yeah. Well, -1 to hit and wound means they might kill, instead of 10, they might kill 5.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a pretty substantial defense
Change, yeah.
in combat. Unshrouded Truth. Your movement phase, you pick an infantry unit that has not been selected to move, and within 9 inches of one or more Psykers, gets to remove from the battlefield and put back on the board 9 inches away from all enemy models.
I like this stratagem quite a bit.
It's fine. It's a better go back into reserve, come down.
You just teleport any unit like wherever.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can like see your cards and stuff. And
Other people have a 6-inch on this.
That's fair.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Are you that terrified of teleporting Eldar units?
Yeah.
9 away, not 6, 9.
Right, but like you could be like, oh, I'm just gonna like, and you're like, oh, I need to get an angle or get a secondary card. I think this is a good stratagem. I like this stratagem.
It's better than most go back into reserves.
Yes.
Fate Inescapable. In your shooting phase, an infantry unit from your army, other than Wraiths, that all of these exclude Wraiths, basically. Anytime it targets infantry, exclude Wraiths. That has not been selected to shoot and is within 9 inches of one or more Psyker units. It gets ignores cover, and on a critical wound, gets +1 AP.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's Fate slightly escapable, if we're going to be honest with you. But
It's 1 CP ignore cover.
1 CP ignore cover, and occasionally
+1 AP.
+1 AP. Like if you're firing like 20, 40 shots, something out of a
That's
unit
just
of
good on Dire Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, Dire Avengers are going to be doing some amount of bonus AP.
Yeah.
It's a good strat. It's a good strat. Isha's Fury. In your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move, a Psyker unit within 9 inches of that enemy unit, you roll 6 dice. Every 3 up, that enemy takes a mortal wound.
Better grenade.
Better grenade.
Notably, does not require visibility.
Does not require
So if you have a
visibility.
Warlock-
Does require range on your opponent's turn.
But like if you park a Warlock near an objective, and you can be like, if you move on to the objective, I'm going to bomb you or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I like it just as a blat of mortals when you need it.
I think it's also like you have to remember that like these, you're going to be using twice as many strats as like the average person is.
You're gonna be using 6 extra strats.
That's true. I assume, yeah, but still, not twice as many, but like.
Because you get like 10 to 15 CP in a game. You're not using twice as many. You're using
an extra
50%
30% more, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you might use Aisha's Fury like twice if it's free, more than you would like if it's not.
Psychic Shield. 1 CP in your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Asuryani infantry unit from your army that was selected as a target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks and within 9 inches of a Psyker model. Until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 18.
That's good.
That is good.
Good. Like a
Legitimately
unit of
good.
Dark Reapers in the back?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty solid. The stratagems are pretty good. The enhancements are pretty not great. The detachment rule is you have a captain.
It's better than having a captain.
It's a bit better than having a captain.
Because you have a lot more flexibility. It's not like crazy, but like it's 6 extra CP.
Yeah. That's pretty decent. Now it is prescribed for you how you're going to spend them.
Yes, yeah.
But you
You can move
mess
them up
with
and
it.
down, but like
Yeah, I'm not as big a fan of this detachment.
I think it's okay.
I think it's fine. It's definitely better than the Guardians because you can at least use it on things.
real Datasheets.
But let's get to some spice. Okay.
This is the other spicy one. So I think this is number 2 on the list. Aspect Host, Path of the Warrior. Each time an Aspect Warrior or Avatar of Cain unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, select one of the following abilities for it to gain until the end of the phase. Real ones to hit, or real ones to wound.
And oftentimes, one of those will be better than the other.
Yep.
For example, if you are swinging Jane Czar, she rerolls wounds against characters, so reroll your hits.
Yep.
And if you are, shooting Warp Spiders, they already hit, so reroll your wounds. Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, all my aspects will real hit, or all my aspects will wounds. You pick individually per guy.
Yeah, and it's reroll ones, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Enhancements. Aspect of Murder. Autarch or Autarch Wayleaper model. +1 damage to melee weapons. And precision.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
It's really good.
Glaive goes to damage 4.
Yeah.
That's good.
That guy stabs.
Yeah.
He do be stabbing.
Mantle of Wisdom. Pick one Autarch or Autarch Wayleaper model only. While the bearer is leading an Aspects Warrior unit, each time they are selected to shoot or fight, they get both real hits of 1 and wound rolls of 1.
That is also very good.
So this is good anywhere. Its best place is in a unit of 10 Dark Reapers, because that unit slams.
Yeah, rerolling ones to hit and wound, ignoring hit mods at least, is pretty good.
Yeah. We can also ignore all mods.
Pretty tight.
Shimmerstone. Autarch or Autarch Wayleaper model only. While the bearer is leading an Aspects Warrior unit, each time a range attack targets that unit, -1 to wound.
Okay.
This is not bad.
It's not bad.
Because it lets you move better, when you get shot.
Yeah, just affecting the breakpoints means that you could just live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Strategic Savant. Autarch or Autarch Wayleaper model only. While the bearer is leading an Aspects Warrior unit, +1 OC. It's not terrible.
It's not bad.
You can put this on an Autarch Wayleaper and have him join. Oh! Autarchs join Aspect Warriors now.
Yeah, Autarchs are completely different.
Yes.
The Wayleaper is still very good. Don't worry if you had him. His kit probably didn't change.
No, you run him the same.
You still run him the same. He is a completely different role, but still very good. Still very good at that role.
I mean, this isn't bad. You can put on a unit of Warp Spiders and have a unit with 12 OC or 22 OC go infinity far.
Yeah, that's very strong.
Stratagems. 1 CP Warrior Focus. You pick an Aspect Warrior or Avatar of Cain. All of these affect Aspect Warriors or Avatar of Cain. And you ignore all mods. This is old ignore mods. So hit, wound, damage, AP, whole 9 yards.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
It's very good.
Does your opponent have an Avatar of Cain? Would you like to kill it with fire dragons? Don't be scared, young Timmy. You will kill them.
Do fire dragons need help killing him anyways?
I mean, if they're not half damage,
it's fair.
They do mess him up even harder.
Okay. To their final breath. In the fight phase, 1 Aspect Warrior Avatar of Cain is fight on death on a 4+ for 1 CP. Or you can spend one of your Aspect tokens, which we will go over later, and fight on death on a 3+.
Yeah. Every Aspect Warrior unit will have 1 Aspect token per 5, so 2 for 10.
Yeah.
So just every unit will have them.
Mm-hmm.
They do give a benefit to spending them outside of these strats, but they're probably better to spend on the strats than for their benefit on the data sheet. We'll go
unless you have a specific role, but most of the time, yeah.
We'll cover that when we get to them.
This does make Cain fighting on death very funny.
It is very funny. It is very funny if he rolls the 4-up.
Yeah, if you roll, it's the sweatiest 4-up from that. It's like the Angron fight on death.
No, the Angron fight on death is the sweatiest 4-up.
Yeah. Skyborn Sanctuary.
The only repeated stratagem. Good thing it's probably the best one in the book.
Yeah, it's back. Same as Warhost. This is you pick a unit and a transport and it gets back inside. So that 10-man Dark Reaper unit with the Autarch.
Oh, you get out, you shoot, you get back in.
inside,
you get out, you shoot, you get back in. You get out, you shoot, you get back in. Yeah, I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah, no, so you move the transport and then you have it move extra D6. So it moves 20 inches. Then it kicks the guys out. They shoot and they get back inside. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay.
Keep going, please.
Doom Inescapable.
You
pick the Avatar of Cain. And his Wailing Doom has a ranged characteristic of 18 and a damage characteristic of flat 8.
I will say that sounds crazy, but I will be honest, the Avatar of Cain has suffered somewhat since the lack of Fate dice. He is probably the single biggest abuser of Fate dice in the old
100%.
book.
He
and
was like,
he still wants them the same as he did last time. He just doesn't.
I think he got all of my Fate dice.
Yeah, he was the reason I was running Guardians, was to feed the fires of the Avatar of Cain.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's okay. If you're like really need to, it's okay.
It's okay.
Ridge Runner's 8 wounds.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I really need to kill that one Ridge Runner, I guess you will do this. But like, I'm not sure you take Cain.
You do have to. I don't think you take Cain in this. Yeah. Unfortunately, I am a certified Cain lover, but no.
You want the best? What might be the best strat in this detachment? Oh, that's probably Skyborn.
I think it's probably Skyborn Sanctuary, but this is the most egregious.
Okay, Preternatural Precision. You pick an aspect warrior unit from your army, and it gains either ignores cover, okay, lethal hits, or sustained hits 1. If you discard an aspect token,
the thing all of your units have
for free, just for like showing up, you get 2 of them. This is only in the shooting phase, though, so not in the fight phase.
Okay, that is incredible.
So your fire dragons roll up with sustained lethal. And
spoiler alert, full rerolls to hit, wound, and damage.
And also crit 5s.
And you can give them crit 5s. Yes, you can make every single fire dragon unit
the Eradicator break?
The Fire Discipline Eradicator unit that got nerfed out of existence. Yes.
If you want a unit of fire dragons to split fire and kill 2 separate Rogel Dorns, this is how you do it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they do.
I know.
I mean,
you're talking about 10-man with Fugan?
Or just by itself, but probably. Because you shoot 9 at one and the Exarch at the other, and the Exarch just like domes it. Okay, well, he shoots.
Okay.
And then you flip it to a 6, so it's a hit and
right, because that's the thing you can do.
Yeah. And then you're like, I probably wound, and then you're like AP5, ignore cover.
They do blank 1, but it is flat 6.
Well, it's melt the 6. So
melt the 6.
They're taking min 12 damage.
So they take 6, and then they take a save.
Yes.
And if they fail that, they're taking 12 plus d6 damage.
Yes, yeah. he just kind of like cooks a Dorn. The Dorn tank commander is also no blank save, so.
That's true.
The point is this unit is crazy.
Oh my god, dude, that is what happens.
Yeah, like the Exarch is like, bang.
I mean, the tokens, the other use that the token has is flipping a hit or a wound roll to a 6.
To a 6, yeah.
And so if you have 2 tokens, because it's a 10-man unit, you spend 1 to give them lethal sustained.
And then 1 to have the Exarch's D6 plus 6 damage melt a gun.
Be a lethal sustained, and then it's strength.
It's 9, but like.
But you reroll the wound.
Yeah. I mean, you could also just give them sustained and then be like, this auto hits and auto wounds.
Right, because you can do that. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can also shoot Fugan, who does hit like the Dickens.
Fugan's also strength 14, so he wounds Dorns on 3s rolling.
Yeah, he's flat 6
he's
on
also
that,
flat 6,
and you flip that to a 6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have Fugan kill the first Dorn tank commander.
Yes.
You have 5 models kill the second Dorn tank commander.
Yes.
And then you have the next 5 models kill the third Dorn tank commander.
And then the Exarch gets another one.
Well, that's 12 models, which you don't have in the unit. But yes, you could have the Exarch theoretically kill 1.
Yes.
And then Fugan kill another one.
Yes.
And then the rest of the unit
kill 2 more.
That's reaching.
Okay, kills 1 more.
I think a perfectly reasonable amount of damage is
to
kill 3 Rogador tank commanders in 1 turn. Quentin out here trying to argue you get 4.
If you roll well, you can get 4.
If you roll well, it's freaking melt the 3. If you roll well, you can kill 6.
True. Okay, the last one is Kane's Vengeance. Your opponent's moon phase just after an enemy unit falls back. Not monsters vehicles. You pick an aspect warrior or avatar of Cain unit, and they have to take a desperate escape test with the battle shock of -1. This is okay. This is, once again, there's not a lot of units that your aspect warriors want to be in combat with that care about this.
Sorry, hold on. Nope, still back on preternatural precision.
Yeah. With a 1 unit that kills 3 Dorn tank commanders. At least you have to roll dice, Jack. At least you have to roll dice.
Sorta. Also, is not unrealistic that when you shoot them, some amount of that ignores cover, some amount of that is AP5.
Yeah.
They may not get saves.
No.
Like, whew.
Yeah. It's spicy, right?
That's a spicy
It's a
meatball.
spicy meatball. Yeah.
Now, you will not be crit 5s into all of that.
No. Well, the Exarch and Fugan don't need it, though.
That is correct, because you flip them to 6s.
Yes.
I think what you do is you shoot Fugan at 1.
Yeah.
You make them sustained lethal. You flip them to a 6.
Yeah.
And then the other one, you allocate like the 5 dudes that are not the Exarch.
Yeah.
And you give them crit 5s.
Uh-huh.
And then the 5 with the Exarch just go, mwah, and just delete a tank commander.
So, moving on. Now we are going to be talking about the data sheets. And up first, we have the Avatar of Cain. So he didn't change too much. He went down from toughness 12 to toughness 11.
That's a pretty steep break point against things like las cannons.
It is, yeah. It's not a fun place to be.
No.
T12 is where we want it to be.
T11's good against stuff like strength 10, but and there it is pretty good. But strength 12 is gonna
And then his melee got a little better. His strike went up 2 strength, and his sweep went up 1 strength. 7 to 8 is a big deal, though.
Yeah, he's 12 attacks at 8/2/2 on his sweep, which is pretty decent. Nothing like earth-shattering, but like pretty decent, especially with reroll 1s to hit or wound.
In aspects, yeah. So what makes Cain a lot worse, unfortunately, is he's just like the biggest abuser of fate dice by like a country mile.
And those don't exist anymore.
No, they don't. So he likes the tokens, but he doesn't like the tokens a ton more than any of the other units. And he doesn't really do the thing this codex does super well, which is like movement shenanigans, because a lot of those are infantry based, and he's a monster.
Yeah, and it used to be his shot would like auto hit on Overwatch as a 6, and then you'd be D3, and then you'd reroll a hit and a wound, and like you could smoke a tank with it, and then get into combat, and you'd be very reliable at smoking another tank, and then Overwatch and kill another one, and you'd be toughness 12, -1 to wound, but you can't do that either.
Yeah.
There's a lot of his abilities to do the thing that he used to do, which was be this bowling ball smashing through a flank. It just don't exist.
I mean, like, he's still a tough monster. He does hit pretty hard, but he is worse at both of those things than he was before.
Yeah, and by a decent amount.
By a decent amount. He's like notably worse than before. Yeah. Moving on to the Farseer. We have the Farseer on foot. So output, defense, all the same. Instead of branching fates being any unit can flip a fate dice, she now flips a hit, wounds, or damage roll for a model in her unit to a 6 if she's leading a unit.
That is decent if you are playing, because that's also the same thing on the Farseer Skyrunner.
Yes.
So you get to flip a die to a 6 on their unit also when they're in the bike detachment and shooting a hell of a lot.
So you can put her like in the Guardians and then make the Guardians Bright Lance a little better.
Can it work on the Bright Lance?
It can't work on support weapons, which is like the D cannon platform, but it can work on the little like Bright Lance.
Does it? So it works on the
Bright Lance, but not on like a D cannon.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, okay.
Definitely not adding her to a unit for that. So
No.
what's Guide do?
So Guide is totally different now. All of the Eldar psychic powers no longer need to roll. They just always happen. And they all target enemy units. So Guide is at the end of your movement phase, pick an enemy unit that is within 18 and visible, and all Eldari models, so including Harlequins, get +1 to hit against that target.
That is fine.
It's okay.
It's okay. Eldrad, as we're going to see, is probably the best
better.
psyker
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
And then the Farseer Skyrunner, same as before, has the same flip to a 6 for his unit. And then, but it's misfortune now, not fortune. Now makes you pick an enemy unit and it's -1 to wound when it attacks.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as
Picking one of your units. Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to be the Bike Seer gave Guide, the Foot Seer gave Fortune.
Yes.
And Fortune on the Avatar of Cain, when the Avatar of Cain was toughness 12, was
Huge deal,
ridiculous. Or on a unit of like Wraiths, for example, also ridiculous. On opponents' units, it's not useless. In fact, you'll probably use it quite a bit in that Bike Detachment.
Yes.
Just being like, you, -1 to wound, blah, 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 you're all dead. On the things that weren't -1 to wound. That's pretty helpful. Does it require line of sight?
It does.
It does. 18-inch range?
Yes.
Okay. It's still a good power.
It's not like these aren't bad. I don't dislike them. I just don't love them the way I did before.
Right.
One thing is you're going to come to find is Eldar do not have an issue picking one target and killing it dead.
No.
That's not the problem.
No. I do like the ability, if there's other reasons to take the Farseer Skyrunner, to just casually start throwing out minuses ones to win.
Yes. I
That's
think
pretty
if
decent.
there is a reason to take one of these guys, you're going to take one.
Like the bike detachment. Probably takes like 2 or 3 of them.
Yes.
So, okay. I can see that.
The Farseer on foot can join Guardians of both varieties. The Bike Seer can join a Warlock Skyrunner unit or a Windrider unit. You want to go over the Autarchs?
I would love to go over the Autarchs. They are completely
They are
different.
wildly different.
Okay, so the Foot Autarch basically is the same war gear as before. The Starglaive is 4 attacks. Hitting on 2s this time, so they have 3s.
Much better.
At 633, which is much better.
Yeah.
The same war gear, basically. The
What is that,
Banshee
+1
Blade
to
is
hit?
a bit better
It's
as well.
-1 attack for +1 to hit, +1 AP, +1 damage.
Yes.
That is okay. I'll take that trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can't gain dev wounds. Okay, so you can attach Autarchs now to Aspect Warriors, which is pretty huge. So the Foot Autarch can join Dark Reapers, Dire Avengers, Fire Dragons, Guardian Defenders, Howling Banshees, Storm Guardians, and Striking Scorpions. And the Way Leaper can join Swooping Hawks and Warp Spiders. And the Bike Autarch can join nobody.
Because it does not exist anymore.
It does not exist anymore. That would have been cool, though.
Yeah. He'll probably get a new model like eventually.
So the Foot Autarch, while it's leading a unit, reroll advanced rolls, and you can reroll any rolls made for that unit while it's performing an agile maneuver.
That's a good ability.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it has a free strat for their unit, Path of Command.
That's also a good unit.
The Way Leaper is just a bit better.
Yeah.
The Way Leaper, every time you spend a Battlefocus token on their unit on a 3-up, you refund it.
That's very good.
That is absurd. It's super, super good. And then it also has the free strat. And they have grenades. And yeah, so he joins units, joins Swooping Hawks, Warp Spiders, and is quite good in there.
Yep.
We'll join Warp Spiders, run up with a fusion gun, flip a die to a 6. Pretty solid off of the Aspect Shrine.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Autarchs, Autarchs are no longer, like, crazy, but they're just, like, good characters. They hold good enhancements. They're incredibly flexible. They remind me a lot of Space Marine Captains.
Yes.
Where they don't do any one thing crazy well. They do a lot of things pretty well.
Yeah, they hit about as hard as a Space Marine Captain. They shoot a bit harder. They're faster. They have a bit more utility. They're more fragile.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah. They're just solid. Eldrad Ulthran, your cat.
My cat is named Eldrad.
His cat's named Eldrad.
Yeah.
All right. Still has terrible psychic gun.
Why is his gun so bad?
I don't understand it. And his melee is nothing to write home about. He can join Warlock, Conclave, Guardian Defenders, and Storm Guardians.
So this is why I think the Foot Seer should be able to join the Warlock Conclave.
Yeah, because Eldrad can, but they cannot.
Yeah.
I mean, Eldrad's more
Cool.
seerful than they are.
I guess. Eldrad got better.
Eldrad got a lot better. His 2 abilities are the reason that you take him. One is Diviner of Futures. At the start of your command phase, gain a CP, which is really good.
In some detachments, it's better than others.
Yeah, in all detachments, it's good, though.
It is. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, 5 extra CP is a great ability.
Yeah. Like Azrael, for example, is one of the best characters in the game, and a sizable percent of that is the free CP he gives you every turn. And then Doom! Doom, at the end of your movement phase, pick an enemy with an 18 invisible until the start of your next command phase. Every time a friendly Aeldari unit, so it's everybody, makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll.
That's good.
That is the best of the 3 powers.
It is, by far.
For
By
sure.
far, yeah.
+1 to hit is fine. +1 to
wound
wound
is
better.
really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm considering including this guy in my Harleys just so that he can be like, you, and then brat, and then all the shuriken cannons or whatever wound on 4s.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal. So I like Eldrad. He gives you a bunch of CP. He joins units that don't really need joining. His gun sucks, but his 2 abilities are great.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically, you're paying like however many points he is for the CP and the fact that maybe once or twice you'll get +1 wound on something.
If Mind War were dev wounds, because it is anti-character,
if Mind War was dev wounds, it'd be good.
Yeah, it's still D6 damage, but it does need to be. Yeah, no, it's not. He's not the best in terms of damage. All right, Ozraman. He is probably the most improved unit from before to the new times.
Out of any in the game.
Yeah, possibly.
So before he was like fine.
He was okay.
He was
not
okay.
bad. He's fine.
Okay.
He is now bananas.
Insane.
Yeah, probably the best unit in this book. Tied with Lycus, probably.
Probably tied with Lycus. I think it's like Lycus and Ozraman and then like Fire Dragons.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Ozraman, move 7, toughness 3, 2 up, 4 up, 5 wounds, leadership 6, OC 1.
That's the Phoenix Lord stat line.
It's Phoenix Lord stat line. That is how all of them work except Baharoth, who moves further.
And Lycus, yeah.
And Lycus, who moves further, a lot further. All right. So his shooting attack is 6 shots at 5.12,
which I think
assault pistol.
It's okay.
And I will tell you, this shooting attack will, on average, once a game, kill a squad of Death Shroud Terminators and the character. Now, I know what you're saying. How is that possible? It's 6 shots at 5.12 with assault and pistol. Well, once a game, he claps his hands together and his gun becomes damage 3, dev wounds, and anti-infantry 3+. And there are ways to make him have sustained and flip multiple dice to 6s and then potentially reroll 1s to wound.
Yeah, no, he's
so
crazy.
Let's refresh. 6 shots. Okay, crit 5s. That's going to be 5, a 6, and a 1.
Yeah.
You flip that 1 and the 2, why not, into both 6s.
So you've just gotten 6 shots. What is that? 10 hits?
10 hits.
Yeah.
Wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, and every successful wound roll is a dead Terminator.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you roll good, this guy can kill 10 granite Terminators in 1 activation. So it's not even like wildly crazy. You just have to roll a little bit good.
You have to roll, you probably have to roll an extra 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then not roll too many 2s on the wound roll, and blah, blah, they're all dead.
Yeah.
The first Death Shroud unit's free, baby.
His combat also is like, he's not a slouch in combat.
No. It's 6 attacks, dev wounds at 633.
That's also good.
That's pretty
good. Very good.
And then, while this model is leading a unit in your shooting phase, after the unit is shot, it can make a normal move of up to 6 inches and cannot declare a charge, but can get back in a transport.
So for those of you keeping score at home, if you're playing Warhost, you have Ozerman, the scoop up from the transport, Skyborn Sanctuary, and Fire and Fade. That is 3 units that are going to get out, shoot, and then get back inside.
Yes. And also, as I said, the first unit of Death Shrouds is free. Your army doesn't have to worry about it.
He just kills them.
Ozerman just goes, the rest of you guys shoot somewhere else. Blow, blow, whole unit gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's free. You don't have to worry about that. Now let's worry about the rest of the army.
Yeah.
That is bananas.
It's insane.
He essentially, if all he did was that one time, he would be worth it.
Yeah.
But he also fire and fades the unit and hits hard in combat.
He also, like, his regular shooting is also not terrible.
It's not great.
He do kill some.
But once a game, it goes.
Yeah. I like also if your opponent's running all vehicles, like 40% of the time he by himself kills a baby knight.
Something like that.
So yeah, it's like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wounds them on 6s, but they're dev wounds, and you flip 2 of them to 6s.
Yeah.
That seems good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'd be worth it if all he did was do the shoot once.
Yeah.
But he also fire and fades the unit every turn. So they're going to get out of the transport, shoot, get back in. Get out of the transport, shoot, get back in.
Yeah.
And then when your opponent commits their army, the first insanely durable unit is free.
It's just dead. Yeah.
Because you have a funny guy about yay high. They're all gone. Sorry.
He's actually like this tall.
At 24 inches. And then they're all gone. And now the rest of the army just has to figure out how to deal with the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that is
pretty good.
Pretty sizable.
Pretty good.
It's like a hunter-killer missile, but it hunts and it kills.
This is what the hunter-killer missile wants to be.
Yeah, it's like a once per game.
Okay. Baharoth. He moves 14. Other than that, he's the same as Ozerman.
Yes.
His gun and his combat are the same as they were last edition, or last in the Indie and X, and also I think in 9th edition too.
Pretty close.
He lost an AP.
Yeah, he lost an AP on both profiles.
What does he do? Well, his first ability, Cry of the Wind, whenever he is set up on the battlefield until the end of the next turn, every time he makes a ranged attack, every successful hit is a critical hit.
So is it easy to get... So his gun has lethal base, so every hit wounds.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you can spend a CP in multiple detachments and give him sustain.
Yes.
So he shoots, rerolling ones to hit in Aspect Host, so he'll just hit all of them, which means 4 lethals, 4 sustains.
Correct, yes. Just on any target in the game.
On any target.
Yeah.
On any target. That's pretty good. It's not like crazy.
No.
Because it's AP 1, damage 2. It's not like the end of the world, but it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. He's like not a slouch in combat either. His other ability, Cloud Strider, while he's leading a unit, at the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit's not within engagement range, you can pick it up and put it back into strategic reserves. In addition, while he's leading a unit when he is set up on the battlefield using the Deep Strike ability, it can Deep Strike 3 inches away. Which is 6 now.
That goes to 6.
Yeah.
But that combos really well with Swooping Hawks, who can throw a crazy amount of mortals at you if they drop within 8.
Within 8. So he shows up, and then he's like, hey, you, take 6 mortals. And then he shoots whatever he wants with his Fury of the Tempest. And then his guys shoot you, and then if you're in Warhost, you fire invade them back. And then they go up into the sky again and do it all over again.
Yeah, so you just drop them all, like, butt to wall.
Yeah.
Like, literally ringing a ruin.
Yeah.
And you just go, okay, take a bunch of mortals, take a bunch of shooting. You can give it ignores cover. You can give it sustained or lethal or whatever. Well, it already has lethal. They all have lethal. But you can give them sustained on top of lethal, shoot. Like, you pop one of the things, and you give them ignores cover sustained.
Yes.
So they have sustained lethal ignores cover because they have lethal base on their data sheet. And then they just go and rip a bunch of stuff apart because they also throw a bunch of mortals and it's a whole thing. And then you fire and fade them to the other side of the wall. Your opponent goes, well, I can't deal with that. And at the end of the turn, they go up and drop right back down.
Yeah. Also, if
they just run out.
If his gun goes to 4 attacks at 6/2 ignore cover,
it does in fact slap.
It does slap. Okay. Moving on to Fuegan. So Fuegan still stands back up.
Fuegan.
He does not have a 5 fuel in the pan anymore.
He's a cool model to compensate, though.
A really cool model, yeah. So what does he do instead? So his gun, his single shot is the same, but his scatter...
really good.
It's 14, 4, D6, melts with 6. His scatter shot, though, is way better. It's 3 shots of 8, 3, 2, assault, which is nice, melt to 1, and sustained hits 2. So if you're in 9 inches, because he goes going to give his unit plus 6 inch range, then it'll be 3 shots hitting on 2s, sustained hits of 8, 3, 3.
So if you're shooting this, you can, if he's in a 10-man, which you possibly will do because the damage output is criminal.
Crazy, yeah.
If you're shooting him, you reroll 1s to wound, and then you flip 2 of his hits to 6s. Mm-hmm. And so if he's 50-50 to roll a 6, you're very likely just be like, oh, 3 shots, 9 hits. Cool. Yep. And then you wound on 3s, roll 1s at AP3 damage 3.
That's correct, yes. His combat's also the same, where it's quite good. It's weird, though. It's like 6 attacks at 5, 4, 3. But yeah.
So he can also rip a unit apart in shooting.
Yeah, no, Fuegan's very good. He's also very good. You're going to notice this theme of that.
Very good.
All of the Phoenix Lords are quite good, except for one.
He's very good.
Except for one.
No, yeah, okay. Well, some things never change.
Okay, Jane Czar. So Jane Czar is very different. So whenever she is leading a unit, they do not roll an advance roll. They just go flat 6, and then they can go over like crates and stuff.
And they can advance and charge, right?
Yes, they can advance and charge on their data sheet.
And they move 8 base, so you can make that movement 10 or 11, and then they go flat 6. They can go 17 or 16 and then charge.
If you put them into transport, they go 19 or 20 and then charge.
That is
crazy
very fast. And if you don't want to make them +2, if you just want them to go... if you want to go 17?
Yeah.
Or, 17.
Or even just 14. Like base, like just 14 to 0
But then you say you can't Overwatch.
Yes.
Yeah, so you go like 17 and you, oh, look at that, you can't Overwatch me. Because... 17 inches. Out of transport 3, move 8, advance flat 6. 17 inches, no Overwatch, charge home objective.
Yep. When she targets a character, reroll the wounds. That's pretty good. And then her Blade of Destruction. I think her Silent Death is the same as it was before. Although it rerolls wounds against characters now, which is better. Her Blade of Destruction is 8 attacks, hitting on 2s at 6, 3, 2, anti-infantry 3+.
I think if you take her, you probably take her in the Aspect Host.
I agree. I think she's best in Aspect Host.
And in that point, she's rerolling hits and wounds against character units. Because you reroll 1s to hit, which also applies to units. They hit on 2s as well. And then you are anti-infantry 3+ on them. And then she rerolls wounds at AP3 damage 2.
That's quite good.
Legitimately very good. That will sweep an objective clean basically all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like, her plus Banshees kills anything not, like, crazy durable every time.
Yeah. It's very good. And they fight first?
They do. They
do fight first. So as a heroic unit, they are also very sketchy for your opponent to deal with.
All right. I will let you...
Lycus.
This is my take for the best unit in the book.
Yeah, it's either Lycus or it's Ozerman, probably. All right, so Lycus moves 12, but this by the way is the new Warp Spider Phoenix Lord. Yes. And man, she's making a real splash. So she moves 12, but that's deceptive. She actually moves 24, but you might take some mortals. Same profile. Otherwise, she has a Flamer, Brood Twain. It ignores cover, is Torrent, and Twin Linked at D6 plus 3 at 6/2/1, which is...
That is an incredible Flamer.
It's a pretty damn good Flamer, I will be honest with you. It's not like crazy. It's probably the Flamer you'd expect a Phoenix Lord to have.
But it's still really good.
Still really good. And also, if she hits you with it, every Eldar model that targets you for the remainder of
the turn.
So
combat 2
gets critical 5s.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If you get hit by Lycus, you're dead.
So you notice all of the like sustained lethal strats that we added, we talked about.
Imagine if they're all 5s.
Good 5s. Lycus is she's pretty good.
She's pretty good. She is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and she also has some pretty decent combat. Spider's Fangs, because she has Brood Twain, which are her little
over top things.
Over the top, and then she has arms coming up from underneath it, stab.
And then she has a sword.
And then she has a sword and a hand, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Spider Fangs are the little... They're 5 attacks, hitting on 2s with lethal hits at 4/2/1.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible. And then the sword is
really well.
5 attacks with lethal hits at 6/2/2, which is also pretty.
It's also pretty good.
So she's not like a damage machine.
No.
But she's very good at killing skirmishing units. Very good at it.
Yes.
And her Overwatch is not to be trifled with, especially as part of a unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then if she hits you, she spots and says, now it is in fact time to die.
Yep. Oh, and her last ability, Jack?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yes.
My bad. Her unit can flicker, jump, and charge.
So this unit goes 24 or 26.
Right, of course, because you can make her move 2 further. Or 27.
Or 27. And then picks a target and is like, crit 5s against that tank or whatever. And then the rest of the squad shoots and kills like a squad of cultists, and then they all charge and kill like 7 Space Marines.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if she like really needs to, she can shoot at a tank, be like crit 5s, and then if she charges it, she's lethal hits.
Lethal 5s, yeah.
Lethal 5s, and then she flips a die to a 6.
So she's gonna wound a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like also her friend is lethal hits too. So
yeah, the Spider Exarch actually,
the Spider Exarch like
actually has pretty good combat for no reason.
For like no reason.
All right, Mr. Raw, who is always the worst. I'm sure Nick will find some way to try and insist he is in fact the best, but he is in fact the worst.
Why is he always the worst? Why is he always the worst? Like the rest all shuffle around, but is always mugging around the bottom.
He's an infantry character that shoots without having blown up.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
No.
Okay. So he's the Mogatar. Dev wounds and ignores cover, 6 shots at 7/2/2. It's not bad.
It's okay.
It's fine with reroll, like hit rolls of 1
like
or something.
it is an objectively good gun, but this is all he does.
That's all he does. Because the Mogatar in combat is 5 attacks at 6/2/2 with no rules.
Yeah.
Can be attached to Dark Reapers, obviously. While he's leading a unit, only, for some reason, this rule needed to only be while he's leading a unit. After selecting target for that unit's attacks, if every attack targets the same unit, roll a d6 for the target unit, 1d6 for every other enemy unit within 3 inches of that unit. On a 5+, they're struck by explosive debris. Every unit struck by explosive debris suffers D3 mortals.
This is just
so if you jump through hoops and you fire all of your weapons at the same target, and he has to be leading a unit too, then, and you make it so that you're targeting a unit that's within 3 inches of 2 different units, you do D3 mortals.
He's not great.
On average, still can fail to do it.
What's his last ability?
In your shooting phase, after he's shot, select an enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. They take a battle shock test -1. He is bad.
He's not great.
All right, we are into the Aspect Warriors. And these guys got some serious facelifts. So
Dire Avengers.
Dire Avengers. Something to note here, by the way, they all have the Aspect Shrine token rule, which means 1 per 5 Aspect Warriors will come with an Aspect Shrine. So if it's a 10-man unit, you get 2. They are a 1-use token that you spend, and you do not get it back. If you spend it, you flip a hit or a wound to a 6. Or you can spend it to activate stratagems, make them better in the Aspect Shrine detachment.
Yeah.
So every single Aspect Warrior unit will have this, and they will have 1 per 5.
Everyone except for Shining Spears and Crimson Hunters, which do not come with 1 in the kit.
They could really use it.
Yeah, they could.
But they're not going to get it. Wait, so the Aspect Shrine Detachment doesn't get the better benefits of strats on them?
To Shining Spheres?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But all the other ones do.
Yes. Rangers have a shrine in their kit, but they don't have a flip to 6.
Well, because they're not Aspect Shrine.
I know.
It's a Ranger Shrine.
So Dire Avengers, they no longer Overwatch better. They are offensively the same, except for the big one is that their Avenger Shuriken catapults lost lethal hits, but gained a shot, which is a big deal.
That's a pretty
So
big
it's
deal.
4 shots a guy now. So a unit of 10 is 44 shots at 411. And if they target something within half range, they gain sustained hits.
So notably, you don't even need to spend the strat for Ajman to go monkey mode on people.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
he just gets sustained if he's within 12 inches.
I think Dire Avengers are one of the biggest improved units. Mostly because they did not like Battlehost. Because the real one hit or one wound was like irrelevant to them.
Yes. There's a lot of ways to buff these guys to make them better. They're just a lot of shots.
They are like receptive to every single detachment too.
And the nice part is they don't have to table your opponent one turn because you attach Ajman to them, and then you'll be fire and fading out of a transport every single turn. And that is pretty dumb.
Yeah, so I think you probably take, in most attachments, you always take one unit of these guys. And then the 10 dudes that you take is just like a premier chaff killer, right?
Yep, every turn you just poke out, blow.
You obliterate like 20 cultists a turn.
Yeah.
Right? Like whatever you need to. And then once a game, Ozerman is just like, hey, 6 Shroud and character, gone.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's pretty huge. Yeah, it's not repeatable, but it really doesn't need to be because their units aren't.
No.
A very good unit, especially into things like GSC or something like Bridgehead, something like that, really gets shredded by the Dire Avenger unit at 0 risk to you.
Yeah. They're also like not bad in Overwatch because you drop down and you're like, those 44 shots with sustained hits.
Yeah. But like you just get back in a vehicle so the indirect doesn't hit you, and you just hop out and everybody in line of sight dies if they're toughness 3, and then you just get back in a vehicle.
Yep. They also love the fact that ignores cover and +1 AP are very reliable now.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah, because then they're 4-2-1, and it's a lot of shots.
Swooping Hawks. Okay, so all of the new kits got the Exarch has like a bunch of different options, and they're all really good, right? Like every single Aspect Warrior will have you looking at the data sheet and trying to figure out which like Exarch weapon to take. I don't think we should go through them because it's like 5 options, and they're all like slightly different variations of each other.
It's either a bunch of shots at damage 1 or a couple shots at damage 2.
But like some have lethal hits, some have assault. Like you got to pick. Hawks no longer go up and down. Instead, once per turn in your movement phase, after you are set up on the battlefield or end any kind of move, you pick a unit within 8 inches and visible, and you roll a d6 for each Hawk in the unit. On a 4-up, you take a mortal wound.
That is a lot.
But if you do that, you can't be targeted by the grenade stratagem.
Something else just has to use grenades.
Yeah, which is fine. But like 10 in Baharoth is like basically 6 mortals every time.
Yeah, it's 5 to 6 on average, and then you just shoot them, and you can throw a grenade from something else. Like
these guys also really love crit 5s. They love the ignore cover. They love +1 AP. They love sustained. Hawks get really good in this attachment.
Hawks get really
They also
really
move 14, so they can go 16 and do all your stuff.
So many shots, dude. It's so many shots. It's 36 shots off the unit, and then whatever weapon you choose to give to the Exarch. Now, whatever weapon you choose to give to the Exarch, you probably shouldn't be giving them the Sun Pistol.
No, that is the one bad option is the Sword and Pistol.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Fire Dragons.
These guys are nuts.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah. They are almost certainly the best Aspect Warrior.
100%. Something close, yeah.
So they have the standard Aspect Warrior stat line. And then in their shooting phase, every time a ball in the shooting makes a ranged attack that targets a monster or vehicle, reroll the hit, wound, and damage. That is crazy. What were they before?
They were reroll damage and wound rolls of 1.
Okay, well now you're rerolling hits, wounds, and damage.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed.
That's exactly what they needed. Right. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And did you say that Fugan extends melter range?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that means they shoot further.
Yeah, also notably, they give their rule to Fugan. So Fugan's gun rolls hits, wounds, and damage
Against monsters
against monster vehicles, which is what they want to be shooting at.
And then they are Melta 3 Melta guns.
Yes.
And probably the weapon you take is the Exarch's Dragon Fusion gun that is D6 plus 6.
Yeah.
And yes, you can flip the wound roll to a 6. Thank you for asking.
Or if you give them sustained, you can flip the hit to a 6 and just be like guaranteed 2 hits.
Yeah, no, you definitely can do that.
Yeah.
Get them within 12 inches and you fire. You get them within 6 of the Dragon's Fusion Gun, and all of a sudden that's just 2 hits that reroll to wound.
Yeah, the fire axe on the dragon axe on the Exarch also randomly is strength 6 AP 4 damage D6.
Only 3 attacks makes me want to take that D6 plus 6 flip to a 6 Dragon Fusion Gun.
Yeah, I like the axe in the squad with Fugan, just because his pistol's not bad, and you're gonna flip it. If you're gonna flip to a 6, you probably do it on Fugan.
Well, why not have 2 go sustained and flip his to a 6 and flip Fugan's to a 6?
That also, yeah. I mean, like, this unit's just like crazy. It's like just insane.
Yeah, it hits wildly too hard.
Yeah.
The fusion guns are D6 plus 3 at 12 inches. They go to 18 inches with Fugan. This unit then fire and fades back into a vehicle.
Also, by the way, that like remember that you can get out after moving a wave serpent D6 plus 1 inches
Or plus 2.
or plus 2. So like
And they
your
move 14.
right. So your serpent moves like 19 inches, gets these guys out. They shoot at 9. So if your tank is within like 26 inches of this wave serpent, it's like just gone. And it's not like a tank. We did the math earlier. Squad of 10 with Fugan kills 3 Rogel Thorns.
Yeah, basically every single time will kill 2.
Yeah.
If you give it reasonable buffs. If you spend a stratagem on it, you use your 2 flips, and you shoot at Lycus at one of them.
Then you get 3.
You get 2 every time.
You get 2, yeah.
You get 3 if you're willing to risk maybe leaving one of them
There
alive.
is no vehicle or monster in the game that can survive a squad of 10 of these guys plus Fugan.
At close range?
At close range.
Nope.
It literally
It
is
just
not
does
one.
not
Every
happen.
single one will die.
If you spend a strat and you go, crit 5s,
Yeah.
this is like it's the Fire Discipline Eradicator unit
With
on
2 of
crack.
It is 2 fire discipline eradicator bricks shooting the same target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were never D6 plus 6, bro.
Yeah.
They were D6 or D6 plus 3 or whatever. Yeah, that unit hits like the Dickens. It's just, it is nightmarish to get shot by. And then it gets back into transport.
And then it gets back into
transport. So
fire dragons are pretty good.
Yep, especially since wave serpents can move 17 to 22 inches.
Yeah.
Cool.
Howling Banshees.
Then you get out, then you shoot, then you get back in.
Howling Banshees are very different.
Yes.
Offensively, defensively, they are the same. They advance when they charge, when they advance or fall back, which is a really good rule to have.
That's very good.
They have aspect shrines. The Banshee Blades are now 2 attacks. Sad. Hitting on 2s at 4/2/2. Which is like different. They're good at killing Marines.
Anti-infantry 3+. So you'll be wounding Marines on 3s, yeah.
Yeah. I quite like these guys in aspects. I don't love them in most other ones.
And what other weapon you take is kind of hard to pick. I think you probably take the Executioner.
Yeah, so the Exarch is 3 attacks, hitting on 2s at 6/3/3 anti-infantry 3+.
Yep, or you could take 4 attacks hitting on 2. You basically take 2 Banshee Blades stapled together, which is not bad.
No, and then they fight first. So I think 5 of these guys should kill 5 Marines in Aspect Host. And then 5 with Janezar will kill like basically any non-durable unit.
Yeah, any unit that isn't explicitly trying to be durable.
Yeah.
And even some that are.
Yeah, the unit hits hard.
Yeah, it does.
And it's very fast.
Reroll 1s to hit, so it's going to hit with everything, basically. Yep. And then she rerolls all wounds.
Yep. Yeah, no, like you kill like a bunch of Space Marines and a captain like every time.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep. Warp Spiders.
Okay, Warp Spiders changed quite significantly. Yes. They are no longer dev wounds, but they are AP1 ignores cover, whereas they were not before.
Yes.
So they are worse into like tanks, which they should not have been good into anyway.
But they're way better into cultists.
Way better into infantry, random infantry. They're way better into.
Yes.
I would also say that they're better. I think they're better into every single variety of infantry.
Yes.
Because I would take effective +2 AP over dev wounds.
Yeah.
Because dev wounds was like, here, take 4, and then the rest of this will do nothing.
If this book is really good, they're also insane in the mirror.
Yeah, because they're fast as hell. Now, their flicker jump has changed. Their movement is the same. They move 24. Their stat line's the same. In your movement phase, though, when they use flicker jump, they go to 24-inch move, but you roll a die for every model in the unit, not just one. And then on a 1, you take a mortal wound. That is actually pretty sketchy.
Yeah, it means it means you're going to be. Before it was like, oh, I'm going to flicker jump every time. Now it's like, oh, I need to go. I'm going to flicker jump. Yes. Right.
You're not going to flicker jump every time you use these guys. And
your Exarch's also more valuable. So.
Yes. Your Exarch, speaking of which, has some really weird war gear options.
They're all crazy good, but they're different.
Yes. So you can either take two shooting weapons. One of them goes 18 and is a +1 strength over a Death Spinner. Yeah. And the other one is a Death Weavers, which are closer range and twin linked. So you have a 6-inch range twin link Death Spinner and an 18-inch strength 5 Death Spinner on the same guy. That's great.
Yeah.
It's really good. Or you can take 1 Power Blades and Death Weavers, which is the 6-inch twin linked version. And Power Blades are 5 attacks at 4-2-1 twin linked. Mm-hmm. Or you take a Power Blade Array,
which is wildly too good.
10 attacks at 4-2-1 lethal hits, twin linked.
Or you can give him an Exarch Death Weaver, which is D6 shots of 6-2-1.
Or he comes with an Exarch Death Spinner.
Yeah.
I think your 5-man squads want their Spinneret Rifle and Death Weavers.
Yeah, and then the one with Lycus, I think, wants the Power Blade Array.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I could even see just taking Spinneret Rifle and Death Weavers on him.
Notably, it is twin linked and lethal hits.
Yes.
Which means him and Lycus together is 20 attacks.
Just the two of them. He is twin linked. All of it's lethal.
Yep.
You could be lethal 5s.
What are the odds of this killing a Rhino? Because it's not 0.
If you shoot it and then charge it?
Yeah.
High?
Yeah.
High?
Yeah.
Decently high. Not like crazy. It depends if they spend defensive buffs, but it's pretty good.
Okay, Dark Reapers. These guys are basically the same. They move 6, which is funny. They still ignore all ballistic skill and hit modifiers. The big thing is their Reaper launcher went from 8-2 to 10-3.
Which is a huge upgrade.
Yes. Other than that, their scatter shot gained a pip of AP. And then all of the Exarch's weapons, the Exarch's missile launcher now hits on 2s instead of 3s.
Yeah, the Tempest launcher is 4-1-1 blast indirect fire, which is terrible unless you're thinking about taking it to counter mortars.
Specifically mortars and the mirror.
Yeah,
it's good to do those things.
Because you can put them in a transport, get them out, shoot them into the mortars, get back in until the mortars are dead, and then you get out and stay out.
Yeah. I think this unit is good, is some 5-mans. I really like these as 5-mans. And then in Aspect Host, this is the single best beneficiary of you take 1 10-man with the Autarch with real ones to hit and wound. And then you probably give him this launcher. And then it's a lot of shots, downrange. Really 1 sit and wound, ignoring hit mods.
I like 3x5.
Yeah.
Especially because it does help just mortars be gone, please.
Yes. I mean, 3x5 of these things is I'm going to kill 6 of your mortars every turn.
Yeah, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Because the army is going to largely play out of vehicles, but at some point the vehicles die.
Yeah.
And when the vehicles die, the guys get out outside of line of sight, and then you get shot by mortars. There's no running around that's going to save you from that.
No.
So you just have to Dark Reapers, stay on the board, fire and fading in and out of transport until eventually those things are dead. Mm-hmm. And then once they're dead, every time a transport dies, your unit can just get out outside of line of sight, and we're all good.
Yep.
And also their shooting attack is
good.
Plenty good.
Yeah, if they're not that expensive, I think they're going to be super good.
Yeah.
Okay. Shining Spears.
Oh boy, I do love Shining Spear models. They are sick.
So good.
And I like bikes, so this is an easy sell. They move 14, their toughness 4, and they have an extra wound compared to their fellas.
Yes.
And then the Exarch has a 5-up invuln, unless he's the Shimmer.
Has a 4-up invuln.
Unless he's the Shimmer Shield.
Which you always take because it's free.
It is free. I don't know why the whole unit is a 5-up invuln. The Sergeant has a 4-up. Okay. Everyone has laser lances, which are 1 shot at 6-2-3 and 3 attacks at 5-2-3 anti-monster vehicle 3+ lance, which is a hell of an upgrade in terms of damage.
Yeah, they do. They actually do damage now.
And then the Star Lance is 4 attacks at 5-3-3 anti-monster vehicle 3+ lance. And the Paragon Saber is 6 attacks at 5-2-2 no text.
You give him the Star Lance.
You give him the Star Lance. Yeah. And the Star Lance is 9-3-3 in shooting.
Yep.
So that's quite a bit of damage coming out of that unit. It is 10 attacks with anti-monster vehicle 3+, at damage 3. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty gnarly. And then
also a shuriken cannon and 2 shuriken catapults.
A shuriken cannon, 2 shuriken catapults, 2 laser lances, and a Star Lance, which is not nothing.
No.
And then every time it makes a normal, advanced, fallback, or charge move, which is most of them, Ignore all vertical distance when determining the total distance. Models in the unit can be moved during that move.
These guys fly as well. So they just have old fly. So they just fly over everything regardless of whatever.
Yeah, they run through walls. So that means they move so much faster than it looks like they do.
Yeah.
They move 14. Okay, that's 16 or 17 if you spend a token on it. But they go straight through walls.
Yep.
So they're quite efficient.
They are. They also they go very far and they kill any vehicle.
Yes.
Any Dorn.
I mean, the problem is, right, it's 3s, no rerolls most of the time, into 3s, no rerolls. So 10 attacks could be 7 wounds, in which case, yeah, you probably do kill most vehicles. Or it could be 3.
Yep.
In which case you probably don't.
They're a scooch unreliable.
They're just a bit. They're just a bit unreliable in terms of the damage department. Now, I will say they help out into things like Terminators, although because 6 of their attacks are AP2, they're a little bit vulnerable to armor contempt.
Yep.
Even so,
we'll say in Aspect Host, they
decent.
ignore all modifiers.
That helps a lot. Yeah. That helps a lot. So I think they're pretty good. It's really going to settle on, how much you care that they might not kill a tank when they charge.
Yeah, I think they're very detachment. I think like in bikes where they advance, they're like so fast. Like in the bike detachment,
they go so fast. In the bike
I think we like them in aspects. I don't know if I love them in the Fire and Fade, the Battlehost one, the Index one.
I want to see him in that detachment, but yeah, in the bike detachment, the 7-inch normal move that lets them move through walls,
it's really good.
It's very good.
Yeah, I mean, like one thing about this Eldar book is just like you're spoiled for choice because so many of your options are so good.
A lot of them are good in different detachments too, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Right. Striking Scorpions.
Striking Scorpions. They are also kind of different. So big thing here, they gained Scout 7, so now they have Infil Scout.
Infil Scout is very good. That means a combination of Infiltrate and Scout, which means you can start in front of your opponent. And if you go first, you get even closer. And if you go second, you go behind a wall.
Yep. So they're no longer death wounds. But instead, when they make a melee attack, if they made a charge move, they get crit 5s. The weapons are also the same. They're all
sustained hits.
Yeah, they're all sustained hits. So the Scorpion Chainswords are 4 attacks at 4/1/1 sustained hits with exploding 5s.
It's pretty good.
There's a lot of attacks.
It's a lot of attacks.
And then there's a variety of Exarch weapons. I think you probably take the Claw or the Biting Blade. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
These guys are an excellent skirmish piece.
Yeah.
If you want to beat up cultists and stuff, and I think they will now if they get the charge off, will win the war into scouts.
Yeah. They're very scout-esque.
They remind me a lot of Space Marine Scouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's good. Space Marine Scouts are a staple of that army for a good reason.
Yep. We have a variety of warlocks. I'm going to read them all. Their spear and stuff is the same. So destructors are all 5/1/1, but for all of the warlocks have this rule. For every other warlock model within 6 inches of them, or
for every other Psyker model.
For Psyker model, sorry. You get +1 strength and attacks for each other Psyker nearby.
Up to 2.
Up to 2.
So Destructor, which is 5/1/1, D6 shots.
Goes to D6 plus 2 shots of 7/1/1.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then the Foot Warlock, just the solo guy, still his unit is -2 to charge. The Conclave, if they're being led by a Farseer, which I really think they're supposed to be able to be led by a Farseer, the unit is -1 to wound.
Why? Just because it says that they have a rule that only takes place if they're being led by a Farseer?
Yeah, so they can join Guardians now. So you can have 2 Warlocks and a Farseer in a squad of Guardians. And that unit's -1 to wound.
Sure.
It's really expensive for a squad of Guardians, but you can do it.
And then they also have the Super Flamers.
Yes, they also have Super Flamers. And then the bike guy, the bike, there's no longer a solo bike guy. There's now just a unit of 1 or 2 bikes.
Got it.
That can either join bikes or be solo.
And they give out Ignores Cover.
Ignores Cover.
So
yes.
For that bike unit slams because they all just have Ignores Cover.
That's correct.
And again, cannot emphasize enough, you can take a 4-man Warlock Conclave, and that's 4d6 plus 8 shots.
You could take a 4-man on foot, yes.
4-man on foot, yeah. 4d6 plus 8 shots at 7/1/1.
Yeah.
Or you take them in
with Torrent.
With Torrent. Sorry, they auto hit, yeah. Or Warlock Skyrunners, 2 of them in the bike unit with the Farseer. The whole unit ignores cover, and they are 2d6 plus 4 shots at 7/1/1.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Alongside 2 Singing Spears and 2 Twin Shuriken Catapults.
I don't know if Warlocks are outstanding, but they're a lot better than they used to be. Because they used to be the worst part of the book by far.
Yeah, they used to not be great. I used to include 1 Warlock with my bikes.
Yeah, I would do that. But
Yeah.
you would never take the Foot Warlocks.
No, you never take the Foot Warlocks.
A 4-man foot warlock coming out of a falcon is like a hilarious unit.
Yeah, just fires a bunch of flamers. Now, is it worth it? Well, we'll see. We'll see. But it could be.
Guardian defenders.
Oh boy, here we go.
Offensively and defensively, they're the same. Instead of giving you fate dice, they can use the fade back agile maneuver, even if someone's already done it, and without preventing anyone from doing so.
So fade back is the move when you get shot at.
Yeah, so every Guardian unit can do it. Does not cost Battlefocus token. This is cute. They're cute.
Yeah, it's fine.
They still don't do anything though.
No.
They are OC2.
They have a heavy weapon.
Yeah,
it's OC0.
Storm Guardians also the same. They still do they have an info?
Does it say they have an info?
Yes, they have.
You get a 5
yeah.
pinball.
I didn't see it on the thing. And then they sticky objectives. Other than that, they still have bad combat and 2 flamers and 2 fusion guns.
I've heard they're the combat capable elves. They are, oh god, okay,
No, they're
never
not.
mind, moving on.
Yeah. So only 2 models get power swords.
No, I figured they didn't all get it.
No,
The
yeah.
rest of the combat Storm Guardians are 301 in combat.
They are just guardsmen.
It's bad. Yeah, it's not good.
No, they're not good. I'll let you read.
All right, Walk Warriors. Warwalkers.
Warwalkers, very different than before.
Very different. They still scout 9. They are toughness 7 with 6 wounds, same as before. They are not -1 to be wounded. They have a 5-up, not a 4-up invuln. And after they shoot an enemy unit, they give +1 AP for every other unit shooting that target.
Also, units of 1 to 2 now.
Yeah, you can take up to 6 if you wanted.
If you want.
Yeah.
For all you Warwalker enthusiasts, I quite like 1 or 2 Warwalkers in your list.
Yeah, it's not
Just
bad.
I think list depending, but +1 AP is really good on a lot of units, right?
The scatter laser also got a lot better.
It got sustained hits, yeah.
Got sustained hits at 6 shots at 501. So if you're really worried about Bright Lances just missing or failing to wound, because you don't really hit or wound anymore.
Yeah, I don't even mind,
Hit and a wound.
you could take missile launchers, and then if you really need the +1 AP, you can just scatter shot into somebody.
Yeah, I mean, the +1 AP is pretty nice for things like Dire Avengers
good on
or
Dark
Swooping
Reapers,
Hawks.
yeah.
It's good on Dark Reapers. It's good on everything.
It's good on everything.
There's a lot of low AP shooting here.
So yeah, it makes the low AP shooting much, much, much better.
Yeah, and let's say that there can be absolutely no circumstance in which 5 Fire Dragons do not kill a Rogel Dorn. If it lives on 1, you lose the game.
Yeah,
Shoot it.
AP5 ignore cover.
Bang, hit it with AP5, ignore cover. You get no saves. You have no say in this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Windriders. I do love this unit. This unit's fun. Come in squads of 3 to 6 now, not 3 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still on their tiny little bases, which is good because the big base bikes definitely have an issue with unit size. Come with either a better scatter laser, i.e. sustained hits, a shuriken cannon, which I will mention
It's lethal
has
now.
changed from sustained hits to lethal hits.
It's across the board every time.
Yeah. And that is better against some targets and worse into others.
I think broadly it's better into the targets you want to be shooting at, though.
Yeah, I mean, into infantry, no.
That's true. It is worse in infantry. Yeah.
It's worse into infantry generally, and it's better into... It's the same into things that wounds on 4s. It's better into things that wounds on 5s or 6s, and it's worse into things that wounds on 3s and 2s.
Yeah.
And then whenever it makes a ranged attack, reroll hit rolls with 1, and if it's the closest eligible target, reroll the hit roll instead. Notably, when you
Not
Overwatch,
It's
they're
just
the
all-
only eligible target.
Yep.
And so you just reroll hits on Overwatch all the time with lethals.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you'd rather have sustained there, but
Yeah, but
whatever.
still. Yeah.
It's,
I still quite like them.
Yeah, no, I think they're quite good. All right, weapon platforms are a separate unit for each of the type of weapons.
Thank God.
So we don't have the vibro cannon paying the points of the D cannon.
Yes, they're all
which
now
was
separate.
So stupid.
Yeah, it was.
It also means you could take 9 if you really felt like it, but you probably won't. They can join Guardian Defenders.
Yes.
And become part of that unit. Although when their opponent attacks that unit, they are toughness 3.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Notably, they are now infantry, not vehicles. They move 7, not 3.
They're much quicker.
Much quicker.
I think if I were to take D cannons, I would probably
Take them
leave
solo.
them by themselves.
Yeah, you just
I
take them
don't see a
solo.
reason why not.
In the Guardian detachment, you might take them in the Guardians, but
I mean, I could see.
no, because they get the best benefits anyway. Because there's the 4 weapons, so they get +1 hit regardless, and you're not spending a strat to buff your 1 D cannon.
Well, you walk them through the wall, just the D cannons. Your opponent shoots and kills 4 guys, and you free move behind the wall.
Yes, that's what you would do.
I could see that being okay.
Yeah.
So the D cannon's gun is D3 shots, blast, dev wounds, indirect fire at 16 -4 D6 +2.
It didn't change.
It did not change. It's still 24 inches. It's pretty decent indirect. Without a reroll to hit and wound, it is
It's
much worse.
Yeah.
Much worse. Every time it makes an attack with its D-cannon, reroll a damage roll of 1. Whoopee. If it targets a Titanic unit, can reroll the damage roll instead.
Yep.
If you ever feel useless in life, just remember that rule exists. Reroll damage rolls of 1 except against Titanic.
Also, very importantly, support weapons and a unit attached to support weapons can never go into transport. I know because when I first read this book, I had this plan. I was like, oh, I want to take 3 vibro cannons and I'll throw them in a wave serpent. It's only 3 slots. They'll all pop out. They'll get an angle. They'll shoot something.
But they cannot.
You can't do that. Yeah, no.
Shadow Weavers are indirect. They are D6 plus 2 shots with blast and indirect fire at strength 6, AP 1, damage 1.
It's not bad at like killing GSC infantry and mortars.
Pretty good at killing mortars because it wins on 2s. In your shooting phase, after a shot, you pick an enemy unit that's hit by it, and every time they make a normal advance or fallback move, you roll a die for every model in that unit. On a 1, they take a mortal wound. That is pretty limited as well.
Yes.
And then finally, we've got the Vibro Cannon, the most suggestive of the support weapons.
God.
In your shooting phase, each time this model makes an attack with its Vibro Cannon that targets an enemy unit, improve the strength, AP, and damage characteristics of the attack by 1 for every other Vibro Cannon platform that made 1 or more attacks with their Vibro Cannon that target the enemy unit this phase. And it starts at D6 shots at 912, no text, 48-inch range.
Yeah, I mean, like, so 3 of these things coming out of strat reserves and just like shooting something is not terrible.
So the first one that shoots is 912, the second one is 1023, the last one is 1134.
Yeah.
D6 shots though. So when you get to that last one, you roll 1, it's not blast, you're going to be very sad.
I don't think it's great. I think it's cute.
6 shots on the first one, 3 shots on the second one,
one shot on
the last one. Yeah. Let's go. I don't think any of these are that great. Honestly.
No, they're not great. Rangers. I think this is one of the very few data sheets that is completely unchanged.
Yeah, I don't really see what changed about it.
No,
they infiltrate, they stealth, they move if you get close to them.
That's
about it.
They're the same. Cool.
They're 5 pinball against only ranged attacks.
I mean, they were good before. They're still good now.
They're very cheap.
I had no notes for the Rangers. Yeah. I still have no notes for the Rangers. Good job, guys.
Well done.
Shroud Runners. These things are great. So they are an OC2 14 moving body with a 5 pinball against ranged attacks and 3 wounds each. They have stealth and scout 9. Their long rifles hit on 2s, which will be important in a little bit. Their scatter lasers gained sustained hits. And if they hit you with a long rifle, you don't get cover until the end of the phase. You pick 1 unit.
Yeah. Okay.
But 3 shots hitting on 2s is like, that always happens.
Yeah. You don't get cover, which is pretty huge for a lot of the low AP stuff in this book.
Yeah. So this plus Warwalkers, you get, for the price of 2 good skirmishing pieces, your army is, and if you throw Lycus in there too, you're like crit 5s plus 1 AP, no cover. You can just kill anything in the game.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Vipers. They are offensively and defensively the same. They now come in units of 1 to 2. If they hit something, that thing is -1 to hit. You pick a unit and it's -1 to hit. Like an enemy unit, it's -1 to hit.
Whoop-de-doo.
They're not great. There are better options for the same weight class.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna read the wraiths.
I figured. Then I get.
You get all Harlequins?
I'll get the Harlequins. Yeah.
Okay. The Spirit Seer. The Spirit Seer is different. So instead of being a character who joins Wraithguard and Wraithblades and Wraithlords, she is a psychic character who is a lone op if she is nearby Wraith character.
How nearby?
3 inches of any Wraith construct.
Got it.
Once per turn in your movement phase, when this model starts or ends a move, you pick a Wraith construct unit within 6 inches and an enemy unit visible to this model. Until the start of your next movement phase, weapons equipped by the Wraith constructs have sustained hits 1. Well,
pretty good.
While targeting enemy unit. Yeah.
I mean, that's just, you take a couple of these, and then whichever Wraith units are doing the business that turn have sustained hits.
Yep. And again, sustained hits means crit 5s with Lycus. So
sustained and lethal are very good in this book for Lycus-shaped reasons.
Yes. And then the last thing she does is she picks a Wraith construct within 6 inches. It heals D3 wounds. If it's a Wraith Guard or Wraith, like the little ones, it reses a model. Okay. Yeah. So pretty good.
Yeah, pretty solid.
You can only pick a Wraith construct once. So you can't like res 3 guys.
You can pick 1 with 3 guys. You can go 1-1-1. And
yes.
Res.
You can also heal a Wraith Knight too, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Wraith Blades. So notably the little Wraith guys, they lost pip of toughness. They are tough T6 now.
Yep. So Wraith Blades and Wraith Guard toughness 6.
Yep. They are also leadership 8.
Unless.
So both the little guys have this. If there is any psyker within 12 inches, which is like huge, so you have a spirit seer vaguely nearby, models in that unit have leadership 6 and are +1 to hit. The ghost axes and shields are the same on the Wraith Blades. The swords, however, gained a pip of damage. So they're 5 attacks at 5/2/2.
That is a lot of attacks.
Yes. So a unit of 5 of these things is 25 attacks. You can give it sustained and stuff too. So, and then they fight on death on a 3+.
Just natively.
It's like what
Just
they do.
for being a guy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's starting out strong.
I mean, they're still T6, 2-up save, 3 wounds. That is a good combat unit.
Yes, and then they carve things up in combat.
Notably,
can you mix and match? No, you have to be either all ghost swords or all ghost axes.
Which is, I think you probably would do like 2 shields, 3 axe swords.
Yeah, I think so.
Notably, they don't have Battlefocus. However, in the Wraith attachment, they do get Battlefocus.
So they get the tokens.
And they love the tokens.
They love the tokens. They love going 8.
Or
they
11
love
out of
when
a
they
transport.
They get to leave.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge.
Especially
since they heal.
I think you probably don't take these guys outside of the Wraith attachment. I think in the Wraith attachment, you take like all of them.
Yeah. Wraith Guard 2.
Yep. Wraith Guard. So this unit does not shoot back. Instead, they fall back and shoot, which is worse. Their Wraith Cannon is no longer devastating wounds. It's just 1 shot of AP 4, strength 14, D6 +1 damage. However, their D-Scythe gained Torrent. So it's D6 shots, auto hits of 7-1-3.
7-3-1.
7-3-1, sorry.
7-3-1.
Which is an outstanding flamer.
Yeah, especially if, for example, now it doesn't ignore cover.
It doesn't, but you can easily make it ignore cover.
You can easily make it ignore cover.
Yep.
And it's that's a hell of a
especially in the Wraith detachment where it's +1 to wound.
If they've killed any psyker.
Yeah. Just suicide from warlocks out there. Yeah. Again, probably don't take these guys outside of the Wraith detachment. In the Wraith detachment, you take a bunch of them.
Yeah, I think they're quite good there.
The Wraith Knight. There are now 2 varieties of Wraith Knights. There's the regular guy and then the guy with the Ghostclave. So,
which, again, good thing they split those up because that was always a problem for the Ghostclave. Ghostclave was like fine, but it had to be tethered to the points across the guy with 2 Magna Cannons.
Yeah. So the Wraith Knight is no longer -1 damage, sometimes. Its heavy Wraith Cannon is no longer blast.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. The Sun Cannon, however, got a big glow up. It is a D6 +4 shots, hitting on 3s at 10-3-3.
With blast.
With blast, which is a great profile.
That's where the blast went.
Yep. And then the Wraith Knight basically has like the base Wraith Knight has like the Knight rule. So it can move through small sections of wall and it can walk over models. And it can also go through big sections of terrain, but it rolls a D6 and on a 1 it's battle shocked.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it re-rolls a number of shots with any of its guns if it's targeting a unit within half range.
Which is within
48 inches, so 24.
If you take the Sun Cannon.
So, yeah.
18 inches if you take the heavy Wraith Cannon, which I suspect you actually won't.
No. And then its Scatter Shield gives it a 4-pin roll and -1 damage.
That is enough durability to the point where I would want to take that.
Yeah, so it has Battlefocus natively. So if you take one of these things, like
that's right, because there is a live living Eldar in there.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's T12, 2-up save, -1 damage, 4-up invuln, OC 10, Moose 12. And you can't like reactive move it or move it when it gets shot, but it can move 14. And then it like shoots pretty hard with its Sun Cannon. In Battlehost, you can give it, or in Warhost, you can give it sustained hits, then like it can give you crit 5s.
Can you use the strat for -1 damage on it to make it -2?
No, it's not Titanic. It's Titanic.
Aww.
Yeah. In Wraithhost, also, the +1 hit wound makes this thing like slam.
Let's talk about the Ghostclave. I want to hit people with big swords.
So the Ghostclave version can move through models and terrain features always. It has Old Fly. Just flat out Old Fly.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
The sword is still kind of not great.
Oh, yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
It's 5 attacks at 16-3-6 or 15 attacks at 8-2-2, but with no rerolls or anything.
And hitting on 3s.
Hitting on
If
3s.
this had a reroll to hit and wound, I would like it a lot more.
Yeah.
But it can still be -1
With
damage.
+1 to hit,
for
it's also pretty good. Yeah.
It's true. But the problem is if your opponent triggers that, they're going to die.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're going to die somehow. You don't need to spend for a kaiju to go kill them.
I don't love the Ghostclave guy. unfortunately.
No,
Because you can take like sword and gun or sword and shield. My favorite of all of them is the shield cannon, the sun cannon guy.
Yeah, he fires a decent number of shots. Now, I will say he shoots kind of like a disappointing Vindicator, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's not like, his goal's not to kill any, like, because your army kills everything. His goal is to be like actually super annoying to kill.
An OC-10.
An OC-10. Right.
Yeah, I worry that he will be overpaying for that, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. I don't like love either of them, but they're okay. The Wraith Lord, another unit that loves the Wraith Detachment, but is not that great elsewhere. So his like combat and stuff is the same as it was before. He's T10, not T11, which is, as Breakpoint goes, not like that impactful. He also loves Battlefocus. He loves -1 damage and Wraith Detachment. He's way better though, and for his rules. So importantly, when he's with the 12 inches of Psyker, he gets +1 ballistic skill, weapon skill. The other guys get +1 to hit. That means if you have any way of giving him +1 to hit, so Guide or the Wraith Host +1 to hit, then he hits on 2s.
That's pretty good.
Yep. And then at the start of the battle, he picks one of the following keywords: infantry, monster, mounted, or vehicle. And when he makes an attack against whatever he picked, then he gets to roll a hit and wound roll of 1.
Okay, that guy is very good.
Yes.
If he's within range of a Psyker, he's base hitting on 3s. Let's assume you're not in Christmas Land where you're hitting on 2s, because that guy does anyway.
Yeah.
It's like Oath Target. Oh, I'm better into the Oath Target. Yeah, well, the Oath Target's dead, so whatever. But you are going to pick whatever your opponent has the most of, and you reroll 1s to hit and wound into it in addition to hitting on 3s. That is very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
He has 2 bright lances and a good sword.
Yeah,
Like,
he'll
good.
mess people up.
Yeah. Last Wraith unit, the Hemlock Wraith Fighter, which again, both Psyker and a Wraith construct.
Yes, it certainly does have those 2 keywords right there, huh?
Yep. I mean, it's a plane, it's fragile. The D sides are the same as they were before. So D6 shots, each blast, not torrent, of 12-4-2.
But hitting on 4s.
Which is unfortunate.
Which is a bit unfortunate, and he doesn't get the bonus.
What do you mean?
For being near Psychers.
No. But he does get the Wraith construct. That was, yeah. And then while an enemy unit is within 9 inches, subtract 1 from battle shock and leadership tests, which is like whatever.
But he does marry the 2 keywords.
He does have both Psyker and Wraith construct, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
The Crimson Hunter.
We've got the Crimson Hunter.
Yeah, we're moving on to the vehicles now.
We are moving on to the vehicles, and these got significantly fewer changes than the Aspect Warriors, I will tell you that.
They are the worst part of the book, probably.
Okay, so Crimson Hunter gets +1 to hit and wound flying targets.
I think the Crimson Hunter might be exactly the same as it was before.
2 Bright Lances and a Pulse Laser that are the same, +1 to hit and wound fly.
Yep, it's the same as it was before.
Cool, exactly.
It is an Aspect Warrior, so it gets her ones to hit or wound, and it gets all the buffs and stuff that, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I like it in Aspect Host. I don't like it anywhere else.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Falcon.
Completely the same as it was before.
Exactly the same. Gives reroll to wound to something that, I mean, is probably a fire dragon, doesn't care.
I was going to say weirdly less valuable because the best thing to put in here was the Falcon, or was the fire dragons, but they don't need that anymore.
What if I take Harlequins?
It's good there.
And a Falcon with dev wounds and rerolls.
Yep. I mean, that works really well. I mean, it was good before, but it's good now.
Yeah.
Death Chest is still good in there. Like Banshees are pretty good in here. Ozerman is really good in here because he can get back in and out, so he gets the rerolls every turn.
Ozerman in a 5-man,
yeah.
Now, if you're looking to keep it safe behind a wall, a little bit less so.
Yeah.
But it's not bad.
No.
Wave Serpent.
The biggest winner.
The biggest winner.
This thing is really good.
So it swapped the 2 up to do D3 mortals. It swapped that out for -1 to be wounded if the strength of the attack is greater than
I
toughness
would take
9.
that with the changes to the book. Because it means it's actually quite hard to kill in one activation, and then it's really easy for it to just go whoop behind a wall.
Yes. Oh, it loves the move when you shoot at it.
Yeah.
Because it's the invuln 13 wounds and -1 to wound against most anti-tank weapons.
Yeah.
And it transports 12 dudes.
Yep. Its T9 is also basically irrelevant with the -1 to wound.
It gets wounded on 4s.
Yeah. It's
DDA's wounded on 2s, goes to 3s, cool.
Yeah.
But like most of the time, the thing that this book does well is putting units back in transports.
And the Wave Serpent's the best transport. Holds 12 guys.
12 dudes.
And or Wraith Construct units.
And or 6 Wraith Constructs.
Yeah.
It cannot transport Jump Pack or Ynnead, excluding Yvrain and the Vizar.
Which is just like a weird and unfortunate.
Just 12 Aeldari infantry mauls. So it can hold 11 Harlequins and a Troop Master if you felt like it.
So, I'll talk about it later, but you can put, this is the cool Ynnead combo you can do with the Wave Serpent.
All right. The what are we up to? All right, I'll let you do the Corsairs.
Okay.
All right, we got Night Spinners. Night Spinners, the bane of the meta's existence for a solid year.
Yeah.
It is the same profile in terms of its stats.
Not
the
Dev Wounds.
Doom Weaver is very different though. It is still blast, indirect fire, and twin linked, but not Dev Wounds. D6 plus 3 at 712, not 702. So it gained a point of AP, but it lost Dev Wounds. Ultimately, almost certainly worse.
Yeah, it's worse into almost everything except for specifically mortar teams.
Yeah, it's probably the same there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good into mortar teams.
It's very good into mortar teams.
Very good into mortar teams.
Yeah.
You'll kill upwards of a mortar team
Kill 2.
a turn.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean like a crew.
Oh well, yeah.
The problem is it gives cover to everything because everything you shoot at is going to be out of line of sight basically. And then
I mean, it's not great. It still slows you, but its slow is worse than it was before.
Slows by 2 to move and a charge. Fire Prism also is a sad panda. It still rerolls a hit roll and a wound roll, but it really wanted to reroll 2 hit rolls and 2 wound rolls. But that's not even the reason you're the saddest panda. It is because when you link fire, you only shoot 1 shot instead of both.
Notably, all the fire and fades and stuff are now infantry only.
Yes. So this thing, you can theoretically poke 1 out, fire 2 through it. That is 4 shots instead of 6.
Which is a big difference.
Which is a huge difference. And it only rerolls 1 hit and 1 wound. And then you have to wait until you are shot before you can try to leave.
Fire prisms are annoying to kill. It is not hard to just one tap a fire prism.
It's something that theoretically can happen.
Yes.
It's something, not even theoretically, it's something that practically your opponent can make happen.
Yeah. That is a thing that is a very reasonable thing to happen in a game of Warhammer.
Right. Corsairs. But you know what? I'm not going to be sad if fire prisms, the thing where 1 fire prism poked out, shot you with 3 fire prisms, then fire and faded back behind the wall every turn. That was dumb. That's not going to work anymore.
What would you do with fire dragons instead?
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
Don't check my math on that.
The Corsairs are still kind of unfortunate. They're a kill team, so it's 10 dudes who all have different war gear, but all the war gear is bad.
I mean, yeah.
They have the Austriani keyword now, which is cute, I guess. They get all the things. They become Ynnead. They're just part of the book now. There's nothing separating from anything else. The battle line ones are cute because they're OC2 and they scout. And you get a blaster. They don't really do anything special though.
Noted.
Yeah. I mean, the cutest thing you can do is you can put them in a wave serpent and then scout the wave serpent forward.
Yeah, they're basically the same.
I think they're actually exactly the same.
I mean, their neurodisruptor is a little bit better
because I guess.
Reasons we will get to in a second.
I mean, you didn't really take them before. I took 5-man Void Reaver squads because they were very cheap and they scouted 7 and they were battle line and OC2. And they were a pretty good unit to run out and die in the center.
Yeah, they kind of don't do anything.
No, they don't.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I'll let you get to these though.
Harlequins. Okay, so most Harlequin stats have changed in some respect, or their abilities have changed. Harlequins in the 10th edition Aeldari Codex were incredibly disappointing.
Very disappointing.
Their units...
Or the index, you mean?
Sorry, yes, in the index. In the index were incredibly disappointing. There was nothing differentiating them from just differently colored aspect warriors, and they were so much worse.
Yeah.
Their profiles were embarrassingly bad. There was one good unit you could make, which was a 12-man with the Vizark and Yvraine. And that unit was good.
The other dudes weren't even doing anything. They were just buffing the characters.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, that can't happen anymore, unfortunately. But the army as a whole, A, has a reason to exist. You have a detachment. And B, all the units got better. So, covering it, we got the Death Jester. Biggest change here, not Dev Wounds anymore, gained a point of AP. Whether or not this is better or worse depends on the target you were shooting at.
Yeah.
And then it is every Death Jester on the table gets the benefit of Cruel Amusement for Ignores, Cover, Precision, or Sustained Hits 3.
Death Jester 1 is worse. Death Jesters 2 and 3, way better.
Way better. And depending on what you're shooting on, the Death Jester 1 might not be worse.
Yeah. He doesn't have flipped 6.
He does not have... Sorry. Sorry, I wasn't thinking of the Death Jester with Fate's Messenger. That guy was gross.
In the Clown Detachment, though, I might take all the hits or 6s, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just 12 hits most of the time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. So he's decent. Every single one of these guys has a flip belt, which is you ignore vertical distance for determining the total distance the barrack can be moved. very rarely comes up because they're infantry.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing like on WTC, you can like put them in the top floor.
And it doesn't cost you any extra movement. That's fine.
If you play on WTC, it's not bad.
It is
you can
nice.
Also go over crates and stuff.
It is nice on GW terrain occasionally. Oftentimes, tournaments will take the tiny little ruin that is stapled onto either the end of the board or one of the ruins. Oftentimes, they'll just put a crate there.
Yep.
And if you're going there, it costs you like an extra 2 inches. It makes combat through there really annoying.
Yeah.
Whereas this, they don't really care. You just measure your distance straight and you're on top.
Yep. It also means that he can just like walk up to the top floor of like a plunging fire ruin and then like walk down and it's free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just like flips off. Woo!
It's not like a crazy ability, but it's nice occasionally.
It'll come up as long as you remember you have it.
Yes, yeah.
And then the Death Jester, the Shadow Seer, and the Troop Master can only be included once in your army unless you're playing the Solitaire or the
Clown
Harlequin
Detachment.
Yeah. Okay, the Shadow Seer, while it's leading a unit, can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if they are within 18 inches, which is pretty huge difference.
Yes.
Now, if it was 12 inches, that would be something pretty spectacular. 18 inches, it's not hard to get some bolters on target, and then the unit kind of
goes away, yeah.
Which is not ideal. Now, I will say the other ability is melee weapons, incoming melee attacks gain hazardous.
That's cute.
Which is cute. It would be a great secondary ability if they had a great...
good first ability, yeah.
But they kind of don't. And the biggest miss in this codex might be that the Shadow Seer has
no gun.
No psychic weapon.
Yeah.
Why does the Shadow Seer have no psychic shooting attack?
Just like not... Like she doesn't have one. Yeah. It's not even like a bad one. She doesn't have one.
She just does not have one. It's not like Eldrad, who's disappointing. It's just hers doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And she used to Mirror of Minds and Shards of Light and do all kinds of mortals, and they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So she's whatever. Okay, that's not what you're really.
She's
here
better
for.
than she used to be. She's still not good.
Yeah. The Solitaire changed very little, gained a flip belt, and changed a bit. Oh, stealth! I forgot stealth.
Oh, it's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Still has fights first. Still is a lone operative. Still blitzes. Still advances and charges. The one big change is it went from 3 wounds with a 3-up infall to 4 wounds with a 4-up infall.
Which I legitimately would think is better.
It might be. A grenade always took this dude out.
That was the issue, was he never died to like las cannons. He would die to like a grenade. 3 wounds is the point that a 3-up invuln doesn't matter because they'll just kill you with bolters anyway.
Yeah, they'd throw a grenade, and if they got unlucky, they'd shoot you with some bolters and you died.
Yeah.
And that'll still happen. At least he gets to stand back up, baby. Yeah. With fight first and charge you, there's not really a great way of dealing with this guy.
It means that like a cheeky grenade is like less. It is now unlikely for a grenade to kill you instead of average for a grenade to kill you.
Yeah, if like into World Eaters or something, basically the only way they have killing this dude is to throw a grenade at him.
Yeah.
And it makes it a little less likely. It's not the biggest change in the world. I'm going to be upfront with you, but what it is nice.
Yeah.
And then fight first and stealth and the ability to stand back up and the ability to charge you on your turn and blitz sends them super far and makes them have 12 attacks is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Troop Master, the Troop Masters and Troops got a massive facelift.
I think the Troop Master might be the biggest glow up in the book.
In the book? Yeah, possibly. Because they were terrible before.
Awful.
There's no reason to take them. They were just trash. Now they're really good, and I'm taking 3 in my Harlequins list for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the biggest deal here is that all of their weapons gained dev wounds by default, in addition to all of the troops' melee weapons gained dev wounds by default, which is pretty massive.
It's a pretty big deal.
Because it essentially just adds an extra ability onto the Troop Master, because the Troop Master gave them all dev wounds, but they all have them baked in now, so the Troop Master gets to do other things. You can take a fusion pistol on him, and then all of his melee weapons are damage 2.
Notably, the fusion pistols went from D3 damage to D6 damage, and the neuro pistols gained 2 AP.
Yeah, I was going to cover that in troops, but the pistol weapons are way better. Way better than they used to be. And then I legitimately do not know which of his 2 weapons are better. There are 6 attacks at dev wounds at 4-1-2, or 5 attacks at 5-2-2 dev wounds.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very impressive, but he has an ability, which is every time he makes a melee attack, he rerolls hit rolls of 1 and is +1 to wound.
Yeah.
So he'll always hit on 2s, reroll 1s, and he's +1 to wound, and he's dev wounds. He is very good. In addition, he lets his unit pile and consolidate 6 inches instead of 3, and they don't have to end the move closer to the close enemy model as long as they end up closer to that unit. So you get a little bit of extra wiggle room
flexibility there, yeah.
And you can go kill something, consolidate 6 inches backwards, and get back into transport, which is
a really big one, yeah.
Huge. Troops.
And you could already do that with the agile tokens, but now you can do it in multiple places.
Yeah, you don't really want to be spending the agile tokens on that. You can, but you don't really want to. And you can do this, as you said, in like 3 places.
Yeah.
To get back in. Troops, again, the pistols are wildly better. The fusion pistol is a one shot at 8 minus 4 d6 plus 2 damage at half range. And then a Neuro Disruptor is anti-infantry 2+ and AP 2 as opposed to AP 0.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty huge benefit there. And then you have a shuriken pistol in the unit that'll do nothing, and that's okay. Then they have a power sword for the sergeant, which is 5 attacks at 421 dev. And then the rest of them can choose to be either 4 attacks apiece at 411 dev.
Which is the same as before.
Or with devastating wounds.
Oh, true, yeah.
Or 5 attacks at 311 devastating wounds.
The pip of AP is big here.
Yeah.
Because it means I think you probably take the blades now.
I think you probably do take the blades, especially because their ability got way better. It used to be +1 to wound on the charge, which was solid. But now at the start of the fight phase, you pick one of 3 abilities and it applies to that unit. It is either reroll hit rolls of 1, +1 to wound, even if you're not on the charge, or -1 to be hit.
Those are all really good.
That is a pretty huge glow up.
Yeah.
That is a pretty huge glow up of those rules. And it means that 5 plus a Troop Master actually does pretty good damage. It kills a Lehman Russ like fully half the time, which
With
is
a grenade. Yeah.
you throw a grenade, you shoot it with 3 fusion pistols because the Troop Master has one. If one of those wounds, that's a bunch of damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go in there with dev wounds.
Yep.
And if it is the one that does mortals on the charge, you basically kill one every time.
Mm-hmm.
And that is crazy.
No, clowns don't look better, but they are way, way better.
Yeah, the damage actually is there, and it's going to be there in ways your opponent, I guarantee you, are not going to see coming. They're 5 attacks each at 311? Oh, that's whatever. And then you go in, you're like, grenade, impact mortals, I shot, you got 1 wound off the fusion. Looks like you're at 2 before I'm even starting to swing. And then once you do swing, like, sorry, excuse me, did you say you were 25 attacks with +1 to wound?
And dev wounds?
And dev wounds?
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm taking 5 dev wounds and 5 saves? Roll the saves, fail 2 of them. 7 damage. Oh, are you done? Troop Master still has to swing?
Yep.
With a grenade and not the impact mortals, they're like 50-50, as I said, to kill a Russ. And they should like always leave it low.
Yeah.
It's basically do the pistols
Go through.
pop off.
Yeah.
If the pistols pop off, dead. Like you're just dead. And there's a lot of pistols in this army. Skyweavers. All right, they are -1 to be hit at all times. In addition, they are exactly the same.
They're the same as before.
They're the same as before, but -1 to hit at all times.
Yep.
Cool. Shuriken cannons are
lethal hits now, not sustained.
lethal hits unsustained. The Void Weaver got a massive glow up.
Yeah, it did.
It doesn't really hit and a wound anymore, which is one thing, but it is lone op 18.
That's very good. That makes these things crazy.
Yeah, and stealth. And it's toughness 6 with 6 wounds and a 4 invuln, which the boats are T6 now.
Yep.
They might have been before. I don't think they were before.
I think they were T5 before.
I think they were T5 before, which is pretty huge. And then the Star Weaver has firing deck 6, so you can shoot all these pistols out of the top of it.
It's the same as before.
Is pretty lit.
It's OC2 now.
It's OC2, and it's not the same as before. It is OC2. The Shuriken cannons are lethal hits now, which is better if you're trying to spray down monsters and vehicles, especially if you can give out ignores cover or whatever.
Or
crit
fives.
And then something that was in there before, but the army actually makes really good use out of it, is at the end of the fight phase, you scoop up a unit within 6 inches and just put it back in the boat.
Yep.
That is huge. That actually defines the Harlequin playstyle. You're getting a bunch of stuff out of boats every turn. You're shooting, you're charging, and then you're getting back in multiple boats every single turn.
The agile tokens means it's way easier to get back in the boats, and the troops now do enough damage that it is worth the rigmarole. Because before you could do that, but the issue is you would get your troops out, you'd hit, and they just wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, and now if you stack your buffs right and you do what you need to do right, you're going to be doing a non-zero amount of damage in combat and a non-zero amount of damage in shooting, and it's just death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. There's no one activation that like kills your opponent, but they just like are bleeding everywhere all the time.
Yes. Yeah. And eventually that adds up.
The army is also, and I cannot stress this enough, so fast, it's insane.
Quentin found that out.
Like it is, I think it might be the fastest army in the game, and it's not close.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. We played one practice game with it where I played Harlequins and he played Eldar.
Yeah.
And I was just all over him.
Yep. Okay, moving on to the Ynnead. So the Vizarch is very different. He now has 3 different stances. His first one is like a anti-infant, like a little guardsman sweep. It's got sustained hits, but it's damage 1. Then he has a like generic marine killer one that's devastating wounds at 5/2/2, 6 attacks. And then his last one is anti-epic hero 2+ precision, 4 attacks at 3/4/3. It's a very weird profile.
This is probably the weirdest profile.
Yeah.
That's going to feature in the quiz game. We're like, oh, he's got anti-epic hero.
2+, yeah. He still gives us a unit fights first, and then he gives Yvraine a 4 up Fuel Pain. Yeah. He can join Corsairs, Guardians, Incubi, Kabalite Warriors, and Witches.
And not troops. Sag.
Yeah, none of those are good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of his
I
biggest
want my
problem.
fight first troops back, Quentin.
I don't love the Vizark. He doesn't really do anything.
Me neither.
The Incarn, not half damage. Instead, when she kills the unit, she heals D3 wounds. Once in your opponent's turn, if it's on the battlefield and an Aeldari unit is destroyed, another friendly Aeldari unit is destroyed, so not your opponent, you can pick this up and put it down. Okay, moving on to the Incarn. Her stat line is the same. She does not half damage anymore. Instead, whenever she kills a unit, she regains D3 wounds. So, like, if you kill a character attached to a unit, you get 2 D3 wounds back.
Yeah, that's pretty
cute.
Pretty good. I mean, the combat's just okay.
Okay, it's not outstanding. I have vivid memories of this, like, not killing a falcon or something like that.
Yeah, not killing a rhino is, like, shockingly reliable. And
she also does not reroll hit and wound anymore, so it's even more, like, likely.
Yeah, no. She's incredibly likely to not kill a rhino.
Yeah. And then her teleport now happens in your opponent's turn, not in yours. So you can't fastball her, but you can like jump her to safety. So
I think it's better to do it in your opponent's turn because it makes your opponent's turn really obnoxious. But no half damage means she can just die.
She's not durable.
No.
She's T10, 12 wounds, 2 up, 4 up.
Yeah.
She's like very not durable.
She's exactly the same durability she was a bit ago, but except half of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No -1 damage. No half damage, sorry. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. She used to have 24 wounds.
Yeah, she's like okay.
Yeah.
She's okay.
Functionally.
Yvraine. Her gun is still crazy. Her melee is still okay. She now heals D3+1 bodyguard models, but her issue is that she joins bad units.
It's a pretty big issue.
Very big issue. And then at the start of the fight phase, you pick a unit that she is engaged with, and all Aeldari models reroll wounds against that target. So the best thing I think you can do here is you take a Wave Serpent in Ynnead, and I know I said you can't take Wave Serpents, but you can in this particular combo. Then you put 10 troops, so you get 4 fusion pistols and a troop master in there. And they're not Asuryani, they're Aeldari, so they can go inside.
And you can only take 1 troop master, but you've got the one.
You've got the one. Then you put Yvraine in there, who despite being Ynnead, is explicitly excluded from the fact that the Wave Serpent explodes if she goes inside. And then if your opponent kills anything in the shooting phase, this Wave Serpent moves 14. Then...
Right.
Then the clowns get out 13. So the clowns have now moved 27 inches from wherever they started.
And then she gets out as well.
Then she gets out, and she also moves 8, so she also goes 13. Then you charge, and then the clowns hit you, and it's 50 attacks of 3/1/1 dev wounds, +1 to wound, full rerolls to wound, and then the troop master and then her.
The troop master with reroll wounds. Yeah, it's that is super nasty.
Yes.
And it is also the only thing that detachment does.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, but that is all it does.
It is very good, though.
Yes, it is.
That is super good.
Yeah.
All right, we got a bunch of Drukhari units. I don't know what any of these were, so you're going to have to help me here.
Okay, so these are all exactly the same as they are in the Drukhari Index.
I.e. disappointing.
Yeah. Well, so they're not like exactly the same.
Wow, Blast Pistol versus Fusion Pistol. They suck.
Yeah, I mean like...
AP3, D3 damage?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is not a fusion pistol.
No. I mean, like, they like still like are like very squishy units that do not hit that hard. The Archon, it gives his unit -1, like he has the captain ability, so he's -1 CP when you target him with the strat instead of Vect.
Instead of Lord of Deceit, yeah.
And then while he's leading a unit, real wound rolls of 1. If it's below starting strength, you get full rolls to wound.
That sounds great until you realize that the actual Archon is a Lord of Deceit aura, which is better than a Captain aura.
Yep.
And is full rerolls to hit and wound.
Which is, like, the problem with Drukhari is that, like, a Drukhari unit when it hits you in combat is +1 to wound, +1 AP, real hits and wounds. and they don't hit crazy hard. They hit okay.
These units don't
have any of those buffs.
They roll 1s to wound.
They also don't get anything crazy out of here because they're Ynnead. They're not also Yannis. Like you can't put a Farseer buff on them.
It's pretty slick,
Yeah. The Succubus is still like embarrassing. She's 6 attacks at 3/2/1.
Anti-infantry 3+, but still.
So she like kills 1 Space Marine.
Oh god, it's so bad.
Ynnead Kabalite Warriors. They have an eclectic mix of bad war gear that does not real hits and wounds. And they sticky objectives. They're not good.
Yeah.
Ynnead Witches.
They make you no escape if they live through a fight phase.
They're
Spoiler
squishy
alert, they will
units that hit like they're 3 attacks, 3/1/1.
Yep. Yeah, the best thing for witches is Lilith, who is not
Not
appearing in this show.
Yep. Incubi. 3 attacks at 4/2/2.
Oh, you can get reroll 1s to wound if you want to attach an
Archon
to it, which by the way doesn't stack with Yvraine. So there isn't even a way to get reroll hits and wounds.
No.
You can just reroll wounds twice, which is not
Well,
a
you
thing.
can have Yvraine. Oh yeah, you can have Yvraine like in a combat, but
No, but what I mean is like you can give them reroll 1s to wound, you can give them full rerolls to wound, or you can give them full rerolls to wound. There's no way to make them reroll hits and wounds.
no. Yeah, I mean they're bad.
They're bad. They're not good.
Ynnead Reavers. If they're cheap like in Drukhari, I kind of like them. They get a Heat Lance. I don't hate a 6-man here because like your opponent shoots something to death, then you move, then you like do a grenade on them.
If they're within like an inch of you.
If you're within 16.
Well, if they shoot, as part of the Ynnead.
Yeah. And then you like do it again
on your way back out.
Yeah. I mean, like,
if you shoot a unit to death, ow.
Yeah. I mean, like, they move 16, they're OC2, so you can just put 12 OC on a point. Like, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're not like good.
No, especially because if you motor next to your opponent to do this,
They'll
they can
just
charge you.
Yeah. there is a problem here.
There's a serious problem. The Space Marine like intercessors charge you and are like, "You're dead now, Chief." Bang, 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 kill like 2 of you.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like,
and then you fall back.
The Ynnead Raider. It's the same as a regular Raider. It has a Dark Lance, which is a Bright Lance, or like a Heavy Bolter. I don't know. You can put guys inside.
Yeah, I mean, you legally have to.
Yeah.
Every time it advances, you just go 6. It's fine.
Yep.
Oh god, Drukhari datasheets are so disappointing.
They really are. Because these are like just like naked Drukhari datasheets. They don't even have the like glitz and glamour of the crazy buffs that have been put on them.
There's like nothing here.
Yeah, no, they're not good.
No, they're not.
The Venom.
It's a Venom.
It's a Venom. Notably, you can put Yvraine inside.
Yep.
This is the best of the units in here. So the Venom also has the like disembark rule where if you are within 6 inches, you can get back inside. So you can like, but it doesn't cut squads in half.
No, it does. It's in here.
Oh, it's in here? Okay. But like, so you can like take Yvraine and then like get her out and then like shoot with her funny gun, then get back inside.
I mean, okay. So real talk, you can put a unit in here.
Yeah.
You can put Yvraine in here.
Yep.
Troops can't go in, right?
No.
Then you get Yvraine out, you get the troops out,
Yeah.
or whatever. Sorry, not troops. Whatever you're hitting with.
Yeah.
You punch your opponent to death. You consolidate
Maybe
Yvraine, reroll wounds,
Yeah.
and you pick something not that durable to kill. Or maybe you send in troops, like actual troops, and you reroll wounds with dev wounds.
Yeah.
You reroll 1s to hit. Sorry. And then that unit, Sayonara Chief, they're all gone.
Yeah.
But Yvraine consolidates 6 inches backwards and hops back in the Venom.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's cute.
It's cute. It's not
like good.
It's not good. It's like the Harlequin one, but played on a kazoo. Like, whereas the Harlequin version is like a unit plus a character goes punches something, gets back into transport. You don't shoot anything.
You know what this is? All of the Ynnead is like an Eldar, but played as the Eldar played on kazoo. It's like Flight of the Valkyries, but on a recorder. It's like.
Yeah, it's just not good, man. Like the Drukhari units in this book
They
suck. They suck.
They are really bad. I mean, like
Drukhari units without the stacking layers of 17 buffs
are
oh my
terrible.
God.
I mean, like, okay, Yvraine is good.
Yes.
The Incarn's okay. She's okay.
She's okay. She's very easy to kill now.
Yeah. The Vizark is not great. Ynnead strats and enhancements are not good. Their one part of their 17-part army rule is insane.
Dude, the Vizark used to hit so hard.
He really doesn't now.
No, you're right. Ah, dude. Oh, he used to hit so hard. He used to be 5-4-2, sustained hits 2 with the ability to flip 1 to a 6, and then he'd be +1 to wound when he was in troops. So you would go in, you'd be like, oh, those 10 Marines are all dead. All right, now the rest of the unit will swing on a second unit.
Yeah, no, he's kind of sad. I mean, like, I think there's some play there. It's not, like, terrible. I mean, like, I think aside from, like, literally the Drukhari section on the back of this book, every unit in this book is good.
Yes.
Or at least interesting.
Yeah, the Corsairs are a bit mediocre. Some of the Psychers on foot are a little mediocre.
But, like, the worst units in here are, like, mediocre.
Also, I'm not sad that Night Spinners are a little bit bad.
They don't need to be. I'm really glad that all of the best parts of this book, and there are many of them, is like the Aspect Warriors.
It's all the fun parts.
It's all the fun parts.
It's all the fun parts.
I think it's like bikes are good, wraiths are good, aspects are good.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Harlequins.
Harlequins are good.
Harlequins are good.
Yeah. Like, this is a good book. Like, it is an incredibly competitive, very deep, loved book. You can tell that Games Workshop put a ton of effort into all of these data sheets, except for the Drukhari ones.
You can also tell exactly where the time was spent on the rules designing.
Yes.
Because there's this incredibly deep interactions with a lot of different units. Yeah. And then there's the Corsairs that just kind of there. Yeah. And then there's the Drukhari that are just kind of there.
Well, they pour to the Drukhari over directly.
Yeah. And then there's the vehicles. Some of the vehicles are kind of not great.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Those are the sections of the book I don't personally care about.
Yeah, I don't think the vehicles, like, they're not even like a Fire Prism is like still an okay tank.
It's fine.
It's a fine tank.
It's a fine tank. You're not going to be firing through other tanks very efficiently, and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, the Wave Serpent is it is the best dedicated transport in the game now.
Possibly.
Like, things considered.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, possibly. Yeah.
The Falcon is still a great tank.
Yeah, but, like, the Night Spinner, I'm not sad if it's not great.
No, it doesn't need to be good.
The Wraith section's pretty good. Pretty well thought out.
The Wraith section feels like the best Wraiths have been ever.
Yeah.
Because they're not, like, oppressive. But they're good. I feel confident that a really good competitive Eldar player could take Wraiths to a GT and win it.
Yeah, it's a strong army. Man, like, there are multiple different builds. I personally think Aspect Host and Warhost
are the two best.
Aspect Shrine and Warhost or whatever
are the two best.
And they're also functionally the same army.
The thing is, they're doing the same thing.
They're doing the exact same thing.
Which is like, they're buffing the units that are the best, and they're letting you move more.
Yeah, so I think that Eldar good stuff, Eldar Aspect Warriors with support, is the best archetype here.
Yes, 100%.
And you run that either in Warhost, which is our preferred, or you run it in the Aspect Detachment, which is also pretty stinking good.
And the reason we like Aspect or Warhost is because Aspect Host takes your damage from 100% to 200%, but you don't need like
you don't need to kill
3 Rogaldorns with one unit. Like, the Fire Dragon unit can, but most really competitive games of 40k, it's not like an applicable thing. If you can kill 1, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And Warhost totally lets you still kill 1.
The Warhost lets you kill 2 with that unit, for sure.
You still get the 3rd.
You just don't get the 3rd that isn't actually there.
Yeah.
So with all that considered, those two are basically the same archetype in my mind, right? Aspect Warrior good stuff with support.
Yes.
That's a really good archetype.
An incredible archetype.
Harlequins are a pretty damn good army, way better than it looks like.
Way better than before.
Especially, way better than it looks like.
Yes.
Just looking at their profiles, you're like, nah. But like, you put it on the table, it's like, wow, that's a lot of stuff, and it all moves very fast, man.
It plays a lot like Harlequins of 9th edition when they were not crazy.
Yeah.
Like, when they were like just good and people ran a bunch of boats, that's where the plays like.
And that's exactly the play style I miss. The Wraith detachment feels
good. It's a good detachment.
It's a good detachment. The bikes are a good detachment. Mm-hmm. After that, it drops off fairly substantially.
Yeah, Seer Council and Guardians are both not great.
And Ynnead is not great.
I can't get it. Ynnead has one really cool thing, one broken thing, but the rest of it isn't so bad.
Especially because the best part of this book
is the aspect of the Phoenix Lords.
Well, it's getting back in transports. Yes. And in Ynnead, you can't do that. Now, if
you can do it on a kazoo, but
you're a lot worse at it for sure. But I think the fact that there's the Aspect Warrior good stuff, the Harlequins, the bikes, and the Wraiths are all very viable and good armies coming out of this.
4 GT level books with different archetypes. Like 4 GT level archetypes are in this book.
Yeah. And that's super good.
Super good.
So I'm very excited to keep playing with this. I'm excited to play with the bikes. I'm excited to play with the Harlequins, and the Aspect Warriors seem cool. I know you are excited about the Wraiths and the Aspect Warriors as well.
Yep.
Although I'm sure you're going to be looking at the bikes some. And
yeah, I mean,
maybe we'll get a Wraith versus Harlequin off.
Maybe.
That would be a weird game.
It'd be a very weird game. I mean, like, I want to play everything in this book. I mean, like, I even think that, like, the bad detachments, like Ynnead and the Guardians and the Seer Council are, like, not even bad.
No, they're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
Like, Guardians is a good detachment that buffs bad units, and the Seer Council is a mediocre detachment in a book with incredible detachments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be taking those, unfortunately, just because the competition is so steep.
I think I said this to you when we were getting lunch today, but Seer Council feels like the best detachment in a bad book.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not. It's the worst attachment
in a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ynnead just needs a little bit more time to cook in the oven.
There's probably something there. Like, I feel like Liam VSL is going to take it and win some tournament with it. And there's going to be some 12-part combo, and we're going to be like, how did we not see that? And
maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I think that the ability to move at the end of your opponent's shooting phase is cracked.
Yes.
And I think any combination will come off that will come off of that and Yvraine letting you reroll wounds.
Yes.
Everything else in that detachment is not good.
No, I agree.
So if you come up with something broken with the best rule in this book, which is that
that is the single best rule in the book. It's just like floating in a vacuum alone.
It's just it. Yeah. If you come up with a good army off of that, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yep.
But no, it's those two rules, and then no, it's not ideal. So this book is pretty damn cool.
Yes.
Honestly, they put a ton of love into it. I mean, look at that cover there. Oof, beautiful art. I am excited to play with this. Personally.
I think this is the best designed book of 10th edition.
I have no idea where to begin to analyze its external balance. It's fairly easy to analyze. Well, I think we've successfully analyzed its internal balance.
Yes.
Its external balance is hard to figure out. I suspect that it will slot in basically right at the top of the meta.
My impression of it is Sisters, the first day they were like street legal.
Or guard.
Like guard now.
Guard now.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be just as good as the best armies in the game right now.
Yeah, I think it's like probably too good, but I don't think it's like earth-shatteringly too good.
Yeah. Probably.
I think it's like a little too good. Like,
I think it needs some hits. Some of the Fire and Fade stuff could probably be
tweaked a little.
Getting back in transports to the extent that it does is a little dumb.
Yeah. Or like even at the bare minimum, just like going behind a wall.
Yeah. There's too many ways to hit your opponent and then be like, sorry, you can't see anything now.
Yeah.
That part of it probably needs a bit of a tuning, but we'll see. It's tough to evaluate.
Yeah.
It's a completely different army. It's not Index 2.0. It is a completely different army.
A lot of books were like, it's the Index with some tweaks. This is like a top to bottom. Like, what was the same? It was Rangers, the Falcon, the Crimson Hunter.
Yeah.
Like, is that it? It's like the same?
That's it.
Yeah.
All the detachments and everything changed. I mean, which is good because the Eldar Index on release was the single most broken set of rules we've had in a while.
A very long time.
In a very long time.
Yeah, this is not Wraith Knight plus Fate Dice plus Dev Wounds kills Magnus without rolling dice in Overwatch. Like, this is not that.
This is not me losing Magnus out of line of sight.
Yeah, it's like turn one from
turn
D-cannons.
one. Yeah, I remember you killed Fate Weaver on Overwatch with D-cannons.
Yeah,
out of line of sight automatically.
These are Dev Wounds. Goodbye.
But you're just like hit, wound, all Dev, 777. Bye bye.
Yeah. No, this is not that. I think this is. I love this codex. I think if you are an Eldar player, you should fall in love with this book.
If you're not an Eldar player, you need to get reps in against this because
immediately
it's so weird and different and complicated that you will need to know how to play around all of its movement shenanigans, or you're going to be in some trouble.
You text your local Eldar player, whatever the best Eldar player in your meta is.
I guarantee you they want to play games.
Yeah, 100%. Text them right now and be like, I need a practice game against whatever craziness you're cooking up. Because not only will it be really good, it'll be probably really different than what everyone else is playing.
Yeah. So that is it for that. That is a sick book. I'm excited to put it on the table. Thank you all for joining us. If you want to check out even more of our thoughts and maybe our thoughts that have had a bit more time in the oven to bake, you can check out theworm.vhx.tv down in the link below. There's a free 3-day trial. Cannot emphasize that enough. And get in, watch all of our videos on Eldar, join our global community talking about Eldar right now in the Discord, and check that out. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a comment telling us what you think. Do you think we're wrong? Do you think we're too good about it? Do you think it's going to break the meta in half? Do you think it's not actually that strong? Please let us know. And please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos like this.
All right. We'll see you later. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. So hopefully you are coming straight from our review of the Aeldari Codex. Woo!
Whee! Let's go. That was definitely not very long. Not 3 hours and change.
This is just a little addendum video. We're going to be talking about the points and how they make some of the units function in the Codex.
All right. So going through, we've got Osman, who went up 15 points from the back of the book to 135. And you know how much this changes whether I'm going to take him or not?
0%.
Not at all.
How many points would Osman have to be to not take him?
I don't know. He does have to be in a unit. So there's something to be said about that. And his unit did go up. His unit total went up about 25. It would have probably had to go up about 75.
I agree. You weren't watching the game that I played in John's Tyranids, but it was incredible.
Yeah.
It just like popped out. It doesn't do like, aside from the one turn where Osman is like, blam, 10 Terminators are dead.
Aside from that, sorry.
But like,
they're going to feel so good. It costs you an extra 15 points to do that.
It just like kills a lot of light infantry super well. Or like one big thing, like one medium, like a Lictor or some Space Marines like every turn. It's really good at that.
Yeah.
It's also big and moves and it was just super good.
Yeah, seems pretty good. The Avatar of Cain came down 20 from the back of the book to 300. And considering how much worse he got in the Codex from the Index, I think he's actually at a pretty reasonable price point now.
Yeah, I think 300 is the point that I'd actually might start to consider him again.
Yeah.
I mean, 300 points for like, if you just considered him like a raw bucket of stats that you can just like stab at your opponent. So like one issue I had consistently was the fact that I just couldn't hold primary. And Kane's pretty good at that.
He's pretty good at that. And he's also pretty good with the Warhost.
Yes.
Like he has, Battlefocus. When you can Battlefocus a lot of people and then his is +1, he really likes that.
So the odds of him not killing 5 Space Marines before was actually like embarrassingly high.
Yes, I remember.
So now if you take him,
I played him a lot.
If you take him in Aspect Host, your sweep is 2s real 1s wounding on 2s, which is like way more reliable than before.
Yeah.
I don't hate him.
Yeah, no, he seems at 300. I think he's pretty good. The main reason he got worse was he abused Fate dice harder than anyone except the Wraith Knight at the start of the edition.
I think he literally got like all my Fate dice. Like I had like the Fate dice were like a rule that was stapled onto Kane.
Yeah, I used all my I had Guardian Defenders just to feed Kane Fate dice.
Yes,
and he doesn't do that anymore. Now he's a raw bucket of stats, as you said. And honestly, at 300, I think he's pretty reasonable for that.
Unchanged from the back of the book, we have the Autarch at 75 and the Autarch Way Leaper at 80. They're kind of pricey if you're just taking them for like a melted gun and some cool combat, but there's some good enhancements you can put on them. I think you take an Autarch like situationally. I don't think you're like taking 3 and putting them in random units.
No, but they seem pretty good. I like them. I do like the ability to flip their melted gun to a 6.
That is nice. Yeah,
that's pretty neat. Off of an Aspect Shrine token.
I think the best Autarch you can make currently is the one in the Aspect Host with the Mantle of Wisdom. To give a squad of 10 Dark Reapers rolling 1 to hit and wood.
That's pretty solid.
That's really solid, yeah.
Baharoth is 115, cheaper than the back of the book for some unknown reason. Yeah. Steel, slam him in your list. I mean, he's absurd.
Slam in your list in Warhost.
Oh yes, you want the Fire and Fade. Otherwise, he's
pricey for a unit that's probably just because Hawks are only a 4-up save and isn't naturally Fire and Fade, and the unit is huge, so like you're never really hiding it.
And a lot of them are raising the roof too, so they're going to be seen over a lot of ruins.
The Baharoth model is like legitimately like this tall.
Yeah, and he looks awesome.
He's so cool.
Your opponent's going to admire him on the end of their rifle.
He's like Death Leaper, and then he's just like way too big.
Yeah. So you need to Fire and Fade through walls. Is basically what you're saying.
Warhost, he's great. I think every Warhost list takes him. I don't think you take him outside of Warhost.
That's fair. Corsair Void Reavers going down to 60 per 5. Cool scouting unit to take space and
they're OC2 and they're cheap and they're battle line.
There's not much more to say about it.
Taking one of these guys so that when you are like on like raised banners, you can get your extra 1 or 2 points is not terrible.
Take objectives away without costing too much.
They're quite fast now.
Especially because if you take Warhost, which is our pick for the best detachment, they move what, 7 base?
Move 7 base. They
Move 7, so you can make a move 10 base and then advance.
Yeah.
Whee!
They're fast. Like 60 points for OC10. Like they're not bad.
No, they can test objectives very well.
The Void Guard are awful. You will never take these.
This is just 20 points more Void Reavers with OC1.
OC1, they don't. I think they scout still. They got scout, but like you get like a blaster and some power swords.
Say less.
Yeah.
Please.
They're like a kill team unit that every guy's a different war gear and they're all bad.
Crimson Hunter at 160 feels fine.
It's cute in Aspect Host.
In Aspect Host, it reels what, ones to hit, and then
Or
it
wound.
hits and wound on 2s?
Yeah.
Yeah, into flying things.
Into flying things. But like it's, I don't know, it sees everything. It shows up. It's fine.
It's legitimately not bad.
No,
and it's also not bad in the mirror, too.
It's actually quite good in the mirror.
It's very good in the mirror. Maybe.
It's very good at hunting wave serpents.
Yes, and you do want to hunt wave serpents.
So interestingly, the pulse laser is strength 9.
So
it
you
wounds
wound
serpents
on
on 3s.
3s. Yes, with +1 to wound. And then you can reroll 1s to wound.
Or hit, but yeah, probably the wounds.
Probably the wounds, yeah. I mean, I think it's roughly equivalent. But the Crimson Hunter at 160 is very snazzy.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that's what like. It's, I don't know if it's like broken, but you probably take it.
It's good.
You could consider taking it.
It's good in the mirror, which is going to help it out a lot. And then it's good into a variety of targets as well. Partly because it does get true line of sight over the table, basically, when it shows up. I think you take like a pair of these if you want to try and make that work. And
agree.
then just start blasting. D-cannon platform up to 125.
I think it's too expensive.
Yeah, I think so. It's I think it might have been too expensive at 110. But
It was also like the single, probably not, okay, but it loved the reroll 1 hit and wound.
yes, it needed that.
Doesn't it got that anymore?
You do get kind of fire and fade, right? If you want to pay 225
For 1 D cannon.
and you also get a bright lance,
Yeah.
and then you stick out and you shoot, and then if they shoot you back, you leave. And that is fine. And by fine, I mean bad.
You probably take it in Guardians. But like, it's not saying much.
Rip.
Yeah.
All right, Dark Reapers, they went up 5 per 5. So that's fine.
Still love these guys.
Yeah, they're still really
The 5-man with the Tempest Launcher, great. The 10-man and Aspect Host, or also in Seer Council is quite good.
So
or Battlehost, really.
I'm actually just going to cover all the Harlequin stuff at the end.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of it changed from the back of the book.
Yep.
Absolutely not a single piece of it except for 1 enhancement.
Yep.
So
Dire Avengers.
5 per 5. Okay, sure. That doesn't change the Osriman unit being in your list.
Yeah, so I think the issue with Dire Avengers is that a naked 10-man or a naked 5-man is done better by like 4. Like, I would rather have, in no particular order, Hawks, Spiders, Scorpions, or Rangers, or Corsairs over a 5 or 10-man Dire Avenger unit. Except for the Osman unit, which is always 10 because it is activating every turn, and so you want it to be cool.
Yeah, you want it to be as big as possible.
You also actually want 2 tokens on Azraman.
flips.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, I bet.
I think, unfortunately, they're no longer cheap enough that you take naked Dire Avengers. But I think
they're pretty close to as expensive. They're 1 point per model more, right? So
yeah, but the thing is, they were already so on the edge.
Fair enough.
And the thing is, it's like, okay, I would, if I'm taking a naked 5-man for 75 points, I would rather take Scorpions.
That makes sense.
And if I'm taking a 10-man that does damage, I'd rather just pay a little bit more for Hawks or Spiders.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you take one with Osriman, and
You
that
know,
one,
100%. You take
that
the
unit
one-
went up 25 from the back of the book,
And it doesn't matter, you take it
that
anyways.
does not matter. I mean, it matters a little bit because there's going to be a lot of this went up. It doesn't matter. You take it, and overall, that's going to cost you like 100 points, and that will actually matter.
My list went up 55.
Sure.
Yeah, because some stuff also came down.
Right. And the stuff that came down is actually pretty interesting as well.
Agreed.
But Eldrad, your cat, went up 10 points.
He did. He was interesting at 100. I think he's now more of a niche pick at 110.
I think so. I don't think he's that great. He doesn't have a good unit to join. He doesn't have a good joining ability. He doesn't have a good gun. He doesn't have good combat. He's literally there to give you a CP. And if he had a second ability that triggered with him being behind a wall, that would be fine. But he doesn't. He has to go out there and start looking at things.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is his thing.
It can't fail, which is nice.
It's true. So Doom is nice, but I don't feel like I need Doom. Because like if I need to like turbo like 100, I totally hit that. If I need to like murder something, I'm gonna use Lycus.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't need Eldrad, and like I'm not paying.
To be fair, that lets you hit 2 different targets, which is nice.
It does, but like how often do you need?
I'm a Marine player, okay?
That's true.
And Marines definitely have to worry about Oath of Moment.
Yeah.
All right. And I can tell you, having the ability to go beyond one target that you can kill really easily is very helpful.
I just think that, like, the problem is it's not that I need it. Like, I think Eldar have enough damage they can just do it already, right?
Yeah, but they have very good strats.
That's true.
They would like to spam the ever-loving hell out of them.
I think Eldrad is, like...
Fine.
I
suspect he will not make his way into most lists.
No. I think I would just rather have more units than Eldrad.
Something very interesting. Falcons.
130.
130 is very tasty for a variety of armies. I know I'm thinking of it with Harlequins.
Yes.
Right? As just, what if I put a 6-man Harlequin unit in a Falcon, or 5-man with the Troop Master in a Falcon, picked reroll 1s to hit, went in, rerolled my wounds.
So a 5-man Dire Avengers with Ozerman and a Falcon is legitimately very interesting.
Yes. The
Like,
Falcon being 130.
Also,
Pretty
also
sketchy
interesting
for people.
in that is Howling Banshees and Jane's are.
It is.
Because then your 2s, reroll 1s, 3s rerolling. Like, it's pretty good.
Reroll wounds coming out of that thing is really, really
You
dumb.
also get a Bright Lance and a Pulse Laser.
Yeah, which is also
Which is like
good.
not nothing, and then the tank that like leaves when you shoot it. So
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's a really good tank.
yes,
If you want to put it with a 6-man squad of troops, it's going to run you 230, which is pretty reasonable considering it's going to be a tank that can take up space and shoot, and then the troops will murder something.
yes they will.
Because it's like 30 attacks with reroll wounds and reroll ones to hit, and you're just looking for devs. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
The Far Seer, the Foot Seer is 70, and the Bike Seer is 80. I'm glad they came down because they are much worse in their index variants.
Yeah, significantly.
70 and 80 points respectively is the points that you might actually start to consider them as a very cheap, like, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, fairly cheap.
I think
Pretty
the build
reasonable.
dependent. I don't think every like it used to be that every list wanted a Farseer. I think maybe like some lists want Farseers, but yeah, I don't know.
All right, Fire Dragons stayed at 100, and considering they are my pick for one of the 3 best units in this book, that is kind of ridiculous.
I think they're one of the best units in the game.
They might be. And by might be, I mean they are. They're very good.
The Fire Dragons could have gone up literally 40 points a unit, and I would have just like included them.
Yeah.
Maybe not as many.
40, I think, might have been a bit high, but
Yeah,
like,
but like 30?
30, I think,
Yeah.
is perfectly reasonable considering the amount of raw damage they put out.
I mean, like, I think every good list takes a 10-man Infugan.
Your opponent can't like do anything
No,
about it,
it's-
right?
no.
You run up, you drop out, you say no Overwatch, then
So-
you get back in the transport at the end of the turn.
John spent like 20 minutes trying to screen out a Falcon Fire Dragon package. It was in a Wave Serpent in reserves.
Unfortunately, we have had to re-record this game, so not all of the events described will be
On
100%
camera.
accurate.
So he's like, okay, you can't drop anywhere within, it was like 35 inches or something insane of my Exocrine. And I was like, okay, I'm going to rapid ingress here on like literally clean the other side of the table. And then I was like, well, I'm going to use Star Engines. I roll the 5, so my Falcon moves 20 inches. I get the guys out 3. And then I shot his Exocrine. I didn't need the Melta range. So I was like, well, I have an 18-inch range on my guns, so blam. So Exocrine took like 35 damage.
And then you got back to transport.
When they got back to
after.
transport, yeah. The point is, like, you just can't hide from it. And then I think you should take 2 5-mans because they should kill most vehicles by themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think you take 3 units until points eventually.
Yeah,
tell you
I mean,
no.
like, the next balance state, they're probably going to go up a lot.
I
so,
would have to
yeah.
imagine. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's like 400 points for 3 dead tanks a turn, and one of them gets back in transport, depending on your detachment. Yeah, they're real good, and you don't need them in a Falcon anymore because they already just natively reroll wounds.
Yep.
It's
fire-
wounds and damage.
The Fire Prism.
Fire Prism 160, I think is still
It's
aight.
okay.
It's aight. I was interested in them on 155. I thought 155 would have been the perfect price point for them.
The problem is they don't get any strats, or they don't, like, move. They're just kind of there. They're really expensive.
Yeah. No,
I don't love
agree.
them.
Crimson Hunter, though. Same points.
The Crimson Hunter is better than the Fire Prism.
Kind of. I mean, the Falcon or the Fire Prism can peak angles without getting absolutely lit up,
That's true.
which is nice. But the Crimson Hunter definitely does more on the turn it shows up.
Yep.
All right,
Fuigan.
Fuigan +5. Sure.
Still take
that his unit went up 5 points.
Who cares?
Tight. Let's go.
Guardian Defenders down 10. They are more interesting. I think you take them if you like desperately need something to hold your home field. They just don't do anything. They're just there.
They don't have magic Bright Lance anymore.
No, they're not good.
No.
No.
Hemlock Wraith Fighter at 155.
Interesting
I think is
in Wraiths
interesting.
and the Seer Council.
Because it's a Psyker.
It's a Psyker.
It's a Psyker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Howling Banshees up 5 per 5 from the back of the book to 90 per 5. I think is pretty
fine.
reasonable.
I think if you want Banshees, you take Banshees. I don't think they're like crazy or anything.
Jane Czar went down 5 from the back of the book. So Jane Czar plus Howling Banshees is 195.
195 for a stupidly fast assault unit, I think is quite good.
Yeah, and it fights first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, some people have real trouble dealing with that. It's nice to include a decent fight first unit in
It's
your army.
also like scary enough in combat that like if you can heroic and then kill like 10 Space Marines when you fight. So
Lycus didn't change at all.
she's criminal.
So combined, the 3 data sheets that I think are the best in this book went up 15 points.
Yeah.
Osherman, Lycus, and Fire
I don't know what I'm
Dragons.
talking about. Morgan Ra went down 20, so he's now 100 points.
He's a lot more reasonable for that cost.
Him at 120 being the same cost as Osman and Lycus was like absurd.
Yes. And now he's 100, which is the cheapest because he's the worst.
By like a wide margin.
Yeah, he sucks. He's not good.
He is starting to approach the cost that like 100 points for his gun is interesting.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Night Spinner up to 190. I'm not going to complain about Indirect getting worse.
Yeah, who cares?
Rangers at 55 are still a very reasonable price point.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing wrong with them.
No, I mean, Rangers were good before. They do the exact same thing and they're still good now.
Yes.
They
Shadow
might be
Weavers.
better now because they can move faster.
Yes, but they don't Phantasm, and combining Phantasm with the reactive move really makes them hard to charge.
That's true, yeah.
Shadow Weaver platform going up 25 from 50 to 75
That's
is
reasonable.
very reasonable,
Yeah,
and I'll
no.
tell you why. I was just going to jam 3 in my
At
list.
50, every other list should just take 3.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I'd like to hold my backfield and be fast screening infantry. Like, what are we doing here?
Yes, and then you also just indirect. There's a lot of toughness 3 armies in the game that really don't like just getting shot by Shadow Weavers. You'll never die to mortars, so you kill the mortars before they start popping your tanks.
Yeah, no, my Eldar list I was writing was like 3 squads of Dark Reapers with Tempest Launchers, 3 Shadow Weaver platforms. I win the mirror.
Yeah, you win the mirror and you beat guard mortar spam.
Yeah, and you also beat Jizzy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Dead. Dead.
You
Dead.
legitimately
Dead.
might still do that.
You very well might. I don't think going up 75 for the 3 platforms combined is like that big of a deal. It's not great, and if you take too many of the things that went up, then your list is going to get a little tight. But like, man, it still does screen out your home field. It still does beat the crap out of mortars.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, was it D6 shots at?
it's like 6-2-1, I think.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
We're going to do all Harlequins later.
Yep.
Shining Spears.
120 is probably a little too much.
They're just too much.
Yeah.
Their rules are very flashy. They have a lot of, they're like, damage 3, anti-monster vehicle 3+. They move through walls. They move super far. The problem is,
It's a 40-point Space Marine.
it's a 40-point Space Marine, so they die to anything immediately, and they don't hit that hard.
They hit 8.
So, like, the problem is they don't kill anything. They don't kill anything reliably, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't kill 5 Space Marines reliably. They don't kill a Neurolictor reliably. Like, I like flew out in this game playing against John. I charged a Neurolictor. I rolled like a little bad. He rolled like 1 extra invuln, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just alive."
And then killed you.
And then he killed me. Well, he killed 2 of the 3, and then they had like 1 Gene Stealer Survivor or something on this objective because I shot it and like didn't do anything. And then he was like, "Oh, well, I guess you don't get extend battle lines, and I got this extra primary point."
No, I think moving through walls and fly is like pretty solid, but they just aren't reliable.
The
once they get
problem
there.
is-
And they're 120 points.
If they were too cheap, they'd be stupidly broken. But 120 is just too many points.
Yeah, they die. If your opponent accesses them at all, they're just dead.
Yeah,
We
but
found that when we played, actually. When I played Harlequins into your Shining Spears,
yeah, you
I just
charged him
killed
with
them.
like 3. It was like 3 troops.
And a True Master.
And True Master. But so
And
like,
they just died.
yeah.
And it's like, I mean, sure, my profiles are very good into you, but like, that's because your profiles suck.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
like-
it is literally 3 Space Marines.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, one of them has an extra wound, so jot that down.
sure. It's 2 Space Marines and a Blade Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shroud Runners, very solid at 80 points
They're
for
great.
3.
They're really
yeah,
good.
Ignores
I
covers.
think 2 or 3 in
awesome.
every list.
Yeah. There's Harlequins at the end. Spirit Seer at 65.
You take 3 of these in Wraithhost. You don't take any anywhere else.
Storm Guardians down 10 to 100. Sticky objectives and 0 combat, even though they have combat weapons.
I don't know. They're just so anemic. The problem is that the Aspect Warriors just do their job so much better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Striking Scorpions,
They're great.
75.
They're like
pretty good.
Real Inful Stealth Scout,
And 3 up save.
3 of save.
A lot of attacks.
A lot of attacks.
Yeah, I don't really have
They're
a problem
fast.
with that.
Like they're just really good.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Swooping Hawks were pretty undercosted at 75.
Yeah, they're wildly undercosted.
And now from the back of the book, they are 85 now.
Yes.
That's reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good still.
Yeah, they're
Like,
cheap.
Baharal's unit is pretty solid, especially since Baharal's unit didn't really change that much.
Went up 10. Yeah, who cares?
Sure. And we got vibro cannons up to 60. They're still kind of interesting.
They're okay. They're just too expensive, I think.
They're still a pretty cheap unit
The
if you want to screen with
problem,
them.
I just have the Corsairs for that though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Or a Viper.
Speaking of which,
Speaking of which.
Vipers are 65
Okay.
each.
So Viper down to 65 makes it like notably cheaper than other options in the same playing field. So like before it was like, oh, look at the Viper. Okay, 75. Shrouds are 80. I'm going to take the Shrouds instead, right? Or I was like, oh, I'm going to pay the 15 extra points and just get a Warwalker. But like now that it's 65, it moves fast. The Bright Lance is like irrelevant. You might not even take it because you might just take like a Star Cannon or Scatter Laser and just like, I'm going to shoot you and make you -1 to hit.
Yeah, I mean, the -1 to hit thing like straight up doesn't matter, which is annoying.
It matters.
I mean, most of the time it doesn't. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. I don't know, man. It's still 65 points to just, I guess it's a skirmish piece.
I think there are better options for 65 points.
It is a vehicle, which means when you do spend a token on it,
It goes
moves
really fast.
giga fast.
Yeah.
Was it 16-inch base?
I think it's 14 base.
14 base,
14 base.
and then +2 plus D6 if you're in that detachment. So it goes very, very fast and is OC probably 2 if I had to guess, or 1. 1 doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it just goes out, does an action, screens.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
It's super cheap.
Yeah. It's pretty solid.
I don't know. I think 65 is interesting. You're never taking a unit of these things though.
I think you might. I don't know. They're really cheap. You take 6 of them for $390.
That's not terrible.
It's not good, but
No.
like it's not terrible.
No.
Warwalkers stay at 95 per, and they're pretty solid. They get
Yeah,
plus
I
1
mean
AP.
they're a scouting, moving fast, also vehicle skirmish piece.
They would really like to still have reroll that hit and wound. I'm
They
gonna be honest
they are
with you.
one of the ones that really sucks. The problem is you're like, I want Bright Lances, but also I want to be able to hit people reliably so that I can like proc the +1 AP.
Yeah, it sounds right. And
I think
don't
they're
that's
really
gonna happen.
cool. I think they're probably not worth it.
Yeah.
You might take one in some lists to like make the Hawks better, but I think the problem is you'd rather have like more aspects or other things.
Yep. You have a Warlock on foot is 45, Warlock Conclave is 55 per 2, and Skyrunners are 45 per. They're fine.
It's fine.
They're aight.
Yeah, it's okay.
Nothing crazy.
No, yeah,
No.
they're not like abysmal. They're not great.
You take them in the bike detachment, you take the Skyrunners and join them to stuff.
Yeah.
Warp Spiders up to 95 per 5.
That's good because a 5-man was 5 at 85 was like so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just fast and they have really good anti-infantry shooting. They're really good in the aspect host.
You definitely still take 5 with Lycus, I think.
Wave Serpents going down is the most egregious like points change I've
I
seen
was expecting
here.
Wave Serpent +20.
Yeah.
Like
they just go to 140. Yeah, now they're 115.
yeah, they're crazy.
They're really, really good transports. They're really good.
The Bright Lance is irrelevant. Who cares?
It's not that irrelevant. It's twin linked.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a twin Bright Lance. It's not bad.
I mean, sure. It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. Yeah. Windriders.
But, 115. It's a really good transport that's really annoying to kill and transports your gnarly units.
Yeah, I mean, it moves fast, kills you with
Moves
the guys
fast,
inside.
the guys inside get out, kill you, and then get back inside the
yeah,
transport.
okay.
Yeah. Windriders at 80 are pretty reasonable. Nothing crazy. I think they're just good, solid.
Yeah,
units.
160 also is fine. I wish you could take the 9-man still because it'd be really good in the bike detachment.
Wraith Blades and Wraith Guard at 170 apiece are fine. You can spam the ever-loving daylights out of them.
Yeah, I think they're good I think they are actively good in Wraithhost. I think they are not good anywhere else.
I mean, they're 510 for 3 units of 5. So it's 1020 to take 6 units of 5 in the Wraithhost, which is very cheap.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm going to do that to you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. We got the Wraith Knight at 435. It's not fine.
It's fine. It's so expensive. It does not shoot that hard.
No, the Sun Cannon is the best one-handed gun it has.
Yeah.
And so you can get one of those, and then you can make it as durable as it used to be.
It's shield. No, it's more durable than it used to be.
Sorry, 4 pinball.
But it's not -1 to wound, so like
it's not -1 to wound, and it's not fate dying the first melt a wound you hand it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not phantasming 7 inches away or whatever the heck it used to do.
I mean, it's cool if you want to run it.
I think it's fine.
It's fine. It's like a solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's not like amazing. It's not actively bad.
The Ghostglaive Wraith Knight went up, which is a little sad. It's up to 420.
I don't know.
And it can feel free to blaze it on the shelf.
It does. Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't really do much. It like charges you, and it's like I rolled
one.
I rolled the odds of it not killing a rhino were like really high. Because hold on, so like it's 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, into a 5-up save.
What's
into
its
6
strength?
Strength 16.
No.
Yeah.
It's AP 3?
Yeah, it's strength 16, AP 3, 6 damage.
Oh man, yeah, no, it doesn't kill a rhino.
It like doesn't
on
kill a
average.
rhino.
Does it have a ghost glaive?
Yeah.
Or, sorry, not a shield.
Yeah, you got Ghostglaive shields.
Sure.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound great.
Not good. It's fast and it walks through walls, but like okay.
Yeah, Wraithlord going to 140, pretty good, legitimately.
I think 140 is the point that you might start to consider it outside of Wraiths.
In Wraithos, you take 3.
In Wraith, you take 3 every time.
Yeah,
They're like the core of the
I'm
list. They're
concerned.
incredible in Wraiths.
I'm concerned about the odds of my Space Wolves beating this army.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we will, won't we? All right. We've got Ynnead.
Yes.
So the Vizark is 90, the Incarn is 250, and Yvrain is 100. How's that make you feel?
I have mixed feelings on Ynnead. The Vizark is not worth it at 90 at all. The Incarn at 250 is you take her in Ynnead every time.
Maybe.
She's not that durable.
She's not that durable. She doesn't hit that hard.
She's just kind of there.
Yeah, she's no longer half damage. So
she is not that expensive. You definitely take her, right? For like a teleporty monster
maybe
thing.
you can't teleport her on your turn. You teleport her on your opponent's turn.
But like they shoot you to death and you like go there. I don't know. I think it's worth it for her the 250.
She is not that hard to kill, my guy. I'm pretty confident that people can just dome her in the shooting phase, like right off the rip.
Right. But I mean, like she's hiding behind a wall.
A Vindicator pokes out and kills her.
She's behind a wall.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Right. Okay. So then, like, they shoot your stuff. Right. It's the end of the shooting phase now, or like
she teleports at the end.
Well, she teleports to any time an Eldar unit dies.
Right.
Right. So like they're like, oh, my last gun to kill this Ranger squad. Oh, I'm in front of you now.
Sure. Then you take your turn. You fail to flip a vehicle, and then they kill her with 1 Vindicator.
She'll survive 1 Vindicator.
She very well might not.
Yeah, she really might not.
If they oath her, she's probably gone.
Dead. Yeah. Ooh. I think you take her at 250, but it's not like a steal. It's just like a begrudging, I'm playing Ynnead.
I mean, I'll be honest, though, getting killed by an oath Vindicator is not like the end of the world. That's a pretty steep, but like she's not that hard to kill anymore.
No, not at all. Yeah.
She's really not. T10, 12 wounds with no half damage.
Yeah. I mean, she's as tough as Vindicator.
Well, I mean, you throw a grenade and then it just happens. Then it just happens, even if they don't have the +1 to wound.
All of the Ynnead units are actively abysmal.
The Ynnead, like, Dark Eldar.
The Dark Eldar stuff is awful.
Don't worry, they raised the price of Reavers
except for the Reavers, which are okay.
Well, those went up, so.
I know.
The Phantom Titan is 2,100 points and does not appear in real 40k, and the Revenant is 1,100 and also does not appear in real 40k. But they're still legal.
I mean, I tried it once. It was not good. Yvrain, you can do some cool stuff with Harlequin troops, but I don't know if she's worth it.
I don't know, because you still have to take Ynnead.
Like, you have to take Ynnead, and the problem is, like, she's 100 points, and at that point, you're like, well, I could just take another squad, right?
Yeah.
No. F in chat for all of the Forge World stuff.
I mean, the Forge World stuff, yeah. No, they're all
Also
F
in chat for Karandras.
Yeah, Karandras.
We salute you, King.
Died so that Lycus could live, I suppose.
I don't know. I might rather have Karandras than Lycus.
You mean from a fluff or from a power level?
Oh, from a power level, you don't have Lycus. I mean, Karandras has always been the most mediocre of the Phoenix Lords.
Yeah, he's not like ever been bad, but he's never been
like amazing. His best was 9th edition, I think. I am hopeful that he gets a release in like 11th edition and he just comes back as like a thing, but I have no idea. So
enhancements before we go to the Harlequin stuff. So we've got what are we looking at here? We got
Aspect Host. Your good enhancements went down and the bad enhancement went up.
Well, that's pretty tight.
Okay.
Devoted of Ynnead.
You don't take any of these enhancements anyways
Because they went down a lot of points.
They go on like the Archon. Well, the problem is it was 30 points to give a succubus real wounds.
Well, now it's 15.
You still don't take a succubus, so you never take it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Seer Council, Runes of Warding went down 10.
Torque of Morai Heg went up 10.
That's fine.
I don't know what any of those do.
So the Torque of Morai Heg is the weird, doesn't work, but kind of should Vectora.
Oh, right. The one where you have to trigger it after an opponent has used a strat.
Yeah.
So who knows what that means for anyone involved?
Yes.
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 Does it mean they still use the strat? Even if they don't have the CP to pay for the upgraded points cost? I don't know. They already started using the strat.
Yeah.
Does it mean that they are forced to continue using the strat if you pop it? Probably. Who knows?
Who knows? Spirit Conclave, all of the strategy or the enhancements went down a shocking amount, and they are all still shockingly bad.
The 30-point one that went down 20 points and is still unplayable is probably the most ridiculous price.
I would take that enhancement if it was free, but like
maybe if it was 5 points.
It
is 10 points.
If it was 5 points, I would not. If I had 1995, I would take it.
Why is there a 30-point enhancement that has gone down 10 points already? None of them were that good.
No, it's pick a Wraith unit and it gets +1 OC.
Oh, that is pretty good.
It is, but it's not
it
worth
wasn't
30
like 40
points.
points.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 30 now. 30 might be fine. You make it OC2, take an objective.
I guess,
back.
yeah.
Like, you just have them within range, and you're just like, you.
It's a 12-inch aura. This makes the Wraith Lord like OC 5 or 6. So.
Yeah, it's good for messing with OC, because then any objective your opponent takes, they'll have to put an extra 5 OC on.
Yeah.
So.
Although I think the problem is I would rather spend 30 points on like upgrading some of my trash to wildly better trash, but I don't know.
Sure, yeah, you never know. Warhost Phoenix Gem went up 25 points.
You don't take it now because
35.
there's nothing you can put it on that's worth putting it on.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess you could put it on a Way Leaper, but he's just going to get, like, shot. It's not worth 35 points to make a character.
Yeah, it was worth 35 points to make a lone op that could Phantasm do it.
Who also got UCP.
Who also got UCP.
With a real hit and wound melting gun.
He was pretty
and
ridiculous.
fake dice. Yeah, no, he was good, and he got the Phoenix Gem.
Yeah, and now he does not, because he is not good in that way.
Yes. Like the Autarch Way Leaper is still a perfectly serviceable, actively good unit.
Not good in the way of, I'm going to scam my opponent by standing back up on an objective.
Yeah, I mean,
But if they walk forward, I'm going to Phantasm backwards. Or if they stay off the objective, I'm going to Phantasm forwards. Or if they try to get exactly within range of me, I'm going to be like, no, you don't.
We need to talk about all that.
That was so good. Oh, I loved it. All right. We do have Harlequins.
We do.
Mask of Secrets went up 5 points. It's Infiltrate. It's fine. I wasn't really taking a Shadow Seer anyway because they kind of blow.
Yep.
But that's all right. Looking at the Harlequin stuff, nothing went up from the back of the book. So the back of the book is 100% accurate on every Harlequin unit. Death Jesters at 90 are a little bit overcosted.
They're like very okay.
They were okay.
They were very okay.
I think they're a little bit overcosted.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they could have stood to be like 80 points. Because most of the time when you shoot them, you're like, sick. Three hits, take 2 saves.
Yeah.
You failed one. You lose a model. Let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah, they're not great.
No I think the guy who automatically crits on 2s if you're below half
he's worth
solid.
it. The rest are probably not.
I don't even know if he's worth it, but he might be. He's 110, which is not nothing.
He might not be. He might not be worth it.
No, he might.
Would you rather have him or Lycus?
It's close, legitimately.
Okay.
Just because Lycus running around by herself with 0 support
isn't like actually that good. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like fine. Whereas that dude gets in and out of a boat every single turn. You know, it's a whole thing. Shadow Seer at 60 is not great.
Not great. Yeah.
not amazing. Lone Op, if she were Lone Op 12, then yes, that'd be pretty solid. Or like fight first on the unit or something like that. That'd be solid. But Lone Op 18 and then like literally nothing else is not where it's at.
She's not bad in like a 12-man unit of troops.
She's still fairly mediocre.
Right. Well, the thing is, they can't get mortared to death.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something you need to watch out for.
Yeah. The problem is you could just
12,
like pony up.
Do.
You could just buy a Wave Serpent instead.
Yeah. And Wave Serpent's 55 more points.
I think you just take Wave
what's
Serpent.
her other ability? It's not good. I know that.
Enemies that attack you in melee have hazardous.
It's not terrible.
I don't hate her in a big troop unit.
I don't hate her in a big troop.
I think she's actually quite good in a big troop unit.
And like, how much is it for her to infiltrate? It's 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think her in a big troop unit with infiltrate are fine.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's fine. We're looking at Skyweavers at 95. Probably need to be like 80, but for 2.
No reroll. They're like the most unreliable shooting platform.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Solitaire 115 is an auto include.
In Harlequins, you take them every time. You probably don't take them in outside of that.
Starweavers I think you would definitely include at least 2 or 3 Starweavers.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you include 3. I think the units with Troop Masters get them, so you can go out, punch, consolidate 6 back because the Troop Master does that for free. Get back in the transport afterwards, and that is worth it. They are very fragile, and I mean very fragile.
And they don't really do much.
They don't really do much. So like 2 or 3, I think is probably where I would start. You could run 6. You could run 6. It's not terrible.
I like 2 or 3.
It's a little hard to hide. I'm gonna be honest with you. But it's not terrible. I've played it a couple times, and it's solid. We are looking at troops. Troops, I think, are like slightly overcosted for how easy they are to blow up.
Yeah, probably.
I think, what is it, 17 points a model is a little high. It's a little steep.
I want to see him at like 15 or 16.
I think 16 would have been fine. 15. I think 15. I think 75 or 90 for 6 or whatever would have been okay. That being said, their damage output's not bad.
No, it's better than it used to be.
Fusion pistols at D6 are pretty good if you're just spamming the ever-loving hell out of them. And then dev wounds in combat means you will get wounds on
They
people.
actually kill stuff now, which is important.
They do.
Yeah.
So I think troops are fine. I think you'll take a bunch of them, and I think that's all right. You definitely take them with Troop Master, who didn't go up. He's 75 points in the back of the book. Troop Masters are great.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they're really good. Void Weavers at 125 are a little unreliable. I would have loved to see 110, but that's okay.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of the stuff is just a little overcosted and a little unreliable.
A little overcosted, a little unreliable, a little fragile.
I think the army works, but not like crazy well.
Yeah, I think it works.
I think it belly flops across the finish line of works competitively. But
which to be fair, I think it's the third best way to play Eldar, probably.
Maybe. It's certainly up there. It's not one of the bad ones.
It's not one of the bad ones.
No, I mean, so I'm saying it belly flops across the line of being a good competitive tournament army. And if you want to play it at tournaments, you will. And in fact, I think Harlequins is the best way to play Eldar into the mirror.
Yes. I'm straight up thinking about just taking it to beat up other Eldar.
So if you are if you're in a teams format, or you are concerned because you're like, man, my meta has 55 Eldar players and 6 Marine players, you just take Harlequins and you will beat all the Eldar
Harlequins
players.
Actually aren't bad into Marines.
Okay, whatever. No,
but they're not, right? Because you can run up on your opponent at the club, and then you're just a bunch of Meltaguns they don't have invulns against, and then because they're gonna all be like vehicle spam. That's what everyone friggin' does now. And then you run up on them with Dev Wound combat, and you have the Void Weavers. You probably want to go a little lighter on Star Weavers for that reason. But even that being said, like, what? They're going to Armor of Contempt against you? Just fire another several Star Weavers at them. You take the dudes that give Ignores cover.
Yeah.
You might take War Walkers to give +1 AP. You might take Lycus to give crit 5s on those things, and then Armor of Contempt is basically irrelevant.
Doesn't matter,
It's not terrible. They will kill your troops and your boats very fast.
You better make sure you kill like 1,500 points of your opponent's army, because if 1,000 points survives, it will just murder you. Yeah.
But you can do some things like getting back in boats and stuff like that. It's like, we'll see. I need to play it, honestly.
So that's our thoughts on the points. As always, if you have any more questions or thoughts, you can tag us in the Eldar section of the Discord. We'll be happy to answer. And we'll be putting out lots of other stuff, lots of games, other interesting things. So any questions, just hit us up. We'll be happy to answer them.
All right.
Next time, have a good day. See you around.